Other brother can handle it with ease. After all, why would he come here to assist us? Indeed, I possess absolute confidence, Yichuan interjected with a smile. Otherwise, I would not dare to venture here. Very well, we shall stay the night. Once the phantom leopard arrives, we will take action early tomorrow morning. Mina decisively concluded. Is the elven divine sword still with you? Of course, Yichuan replied as the sword materialized before him. In that moment, the entire eternal tribe knelt in reverence. Their eyes filled with hope as they gazed at Yichuan. The eternal tribe had wandered for far too long, and everyone awaited the arrival of their savior to lead them back. That day had finally arrived. That evening, the members of the eternal tribe warmly welcomed Yichuan and his companions. Although the feast was not as lavish as the one on the island, it brought them great joy. The next morning, Yichuan awoke early, only to hear the system's voice. Host has not yet checked in. Would you like to sign in? Sign in, Yichuan promptly replied. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have gained 2,000 evolution points and the upgraded flaming feather arrow 36. Upgraded? Yichuan was momentarily taken aback before a smile spread across his face. Was this perhaps to confront the so-called demon tree? The upgraded flaming feather arrow appeared approximately 10 centimeters longer than before, with feathers that shimmered more vibrantly. Holding it in his hand, he could feel the intense fire element within, and he believed that once unleashed, its power would be formidable. This was certainly something to look forward to. Yichuan mused with a smile. This time, not only the phantom leopard but also their chieftain and several hundred strong warriors had come along. The chieftain grasped Yichuan's hand tightly, tears of joy streaming down his face as he exclaimed, "Great savior! You have finally come to help us return to the lost continent. We thought we would have to wait much longer. After hearing your stories, I have been longing for your return," Yichuan replied with a smile. "We are friends, and I cannot bear to watch you suffer. The warriors I brought will accompany you to the undying tribe." The chieftain, wiping his tears, said, "Though their combat skills may be lacking, they can at least protect you while you sever the demon tree and undermine the undying tribe's foundation." "That's unnecessary," Yichuan gently waved his hand. "My 2 brothers suffice. Along with the phantom leopard, the 3 of us, plus 1 leopard, are enough. But no buts. Our elder brother can single-handedly challenge the entire undying tribe. We are merely an embellishment to his might. Do you understand?" Before the chieftain could voice further concerns, the young dragon interrupted. "All right then." As Yichuan and his companions remained steadfast, the clan leader dared not defy the words of the savior. He entrusted the Shadow Panther to Yichuan, uttering a solemn farewell to the great savior. "Shadow Panther, lead the way. Let us proceed." With a slight nod, Yichuan followed the Shadow Panther, and their group swiftly surged forth. The lost continent sprawled across an extensive area, equivalent to 1/10 of the 9 provinces. And the Eternal Clan and the Immortal Clan had long held dominion over this land. However, following the battle between the 2 clans years ago, where the Immortal Clan, bolstered by the demonic tree and 2 SS-class creatures, ultimately vanquished the Eternal Clan, the latter had been driven out. Now, after centuries had elapsed, the day that could alter history had once again arrived. Though the 3 men were relatively unfamiliar with the surroundings, the Shadow Panther was already a well-known entity among the Immortal Clan. As the quartet entered the territory of the Immortal Clan, dozens of their members swiftly mobilized, encircling them entirely. Among them were the 2 SS-class beasts, the rampaging Celestial and the Swift Tiger King, both fixated on the Shadow Panther. It was the Swift Tiger King that had triumphed over the Shadow Panther in their previous encounter, and now, as the 2 beasts faced each other once more, their enmity was palpable. "Who are you to dare intrude upon the domain of the Immortal Clan?" the leading man coldly inquired, his gaze fixed on Yichuan and his companions. Truly, the Immortal Clan was remarkable. Their members appeared to be predominantly in their 20s and 30s. "Wow!" exclaimed the young dragon in astonishment. "But brother, what are they saying?" Under Yichuan's influence, the young dragon and his companions could barely comprehend the language of the Eternal Clan, but they struggled with that of the Immortal Clan. "They are asking who we are," Yichuan replied, shaking his head. "You need not understand their words. Simply focus on defeating them in battle." With a grave tone, Yichuan declared, "I am the savior of the Eternal Clan, here to vanquish you and restore our clan to the lost continent." Laughter erupted among the gathered crowd, their derision palpable. "Huh, this fool claims to be a savior. Why not proclaim himself the creator as well?" mocked one member. "Do they truly believe such absurdities would deceive us? Surely, they underestimate our might. Just the presence of these 2 SS-class warriors ensures their demise. Enough of this chatter, let us engage in battle." Yichuan sighed, raising his hands in a gesture of resignation. "My friends, do you not wonder why we dare to approach with merely 3 men and 1 beast? We do not concern ourselves with your bravado. Prepare for death. The leading man retorted, and with that, his group charged towards Yichuan and his companions. Even after centuries, the old adversaries bore their grudges. The Shadow Panther and the Swift Tiger King clashed fiercely. Meanwhile, Yichuan faced the rampaging Celestial without hesitation. As for the two little dragons, they immediately entered a state of combat, charging towards the members of the ageless tribe like tigers among sheep. With each step of the rampaging elephant, the ground trembled with a thunderous roar. Its towering form, over 10 meters high, had legs as formidable as pillars, obliterating everything in its path. Yichuan, observing the rampaging elephant barreling towards him, instinctively retreated, wielding the forbidden spear which elongated to over 10 meters, aimed directly at the creature's legs, using its forward momentum to send it flying. Chapter 359, Battle against an SS-class terrestrial creature. At the moment the rampaging elephant was about to land, its trunk suddenly extended several meters, stabilizing its descent, and then it swung its trunk fiercely towards Yichuan. Yichuan leaped high, his spear similarly elongating, and collided with the trunk, producing a violent shockwave that shattered all flora within 100 meters radius. The rampaging elephant staggered back a few steps, its small eyes filled with rage, as it charged towards Yichuan, intent on knocking him away. However, contrary to the rampaging elephant's expectations, Yichuan stood his ground, charging directly at it. The absolute gravity was unleashed and combined with Yichuan's post-reflection strength. He delivered a collision force exceeding 5,000 tons, striking the rampaging elephant with tremendous impact. Known for its immense strength as an SS-class terrestrial creature, the rampaging elephant was sent flying several hundred meters away, leaving a deep trench hundreds of meters long in its wake. This only fueled its fury. A terrifying aura erupted from within, and the creature raised its front hooves high, bringing them down forcefully onto the ground. In that instant, the earth began to crack. Dozens of fissures rapidly encroaching towards Yichuan with astonishing speed, almost in the blink of an eye. The forbidden spear struck the ground, unleashing a torrent of violent energy that collided with the fissures, ultimately dissipating them mere meters from Yichuan. Indeed, this was an SS-class creature, unleashing one skill after another, clearly beyond the capabilities of an S-class being. Yichuan chuckled, realizing that he hadn't truly tested his combat prowess since entering the realm. This rampaging elephant provided the perfect opportunity to hone his skills. Meanwhile, the confrontation between the spectral leopard and the Speed King tiger was purely a contest of speed. Both beasts, renowned for their swiftness as SS-class creatures, engaged in a rapid exchange of over 100 strikes in mere moments, leaving the surrounding area of thousands of square meters in utter disarray. The little dragons battled fiercely alongside Zhao Feiyu, engaging in a dominating display of power. Although the members of the Undying clan each possess formidable combat prowess, their strength is largely comparable to that of Class B and Class A beings. In their daily existence, they may be deemed exceedingly powerful, yet when faced with two individuals capable of effortlessly slaying Class S entities, they appear rather diminutive in comparison. Within a mere few minutes, over 10 of them had already perished. The remaining members, increasingly filled with trepidation, yearned to retreat or relay the terrifying tale to their chieftain. Alas, the two assailants had ensnared them thoroughly. Any attempt to flee would result in immediate death. Infuriatingly, after 10 minutes, only 7 or 8 of the Undying clan remained, desperately struggling, though their demise was merely a matter of time. Suddenly, green vines emerged from all directions, stretching towards the trio and the leopard as if animated by a life of their own. The demonic tree? Brother, is that really the demonic tree? Exclaimed the young dragon after severing several of the vines, turning to Yichuan. Do you not think these resemble the vines found along the banks of a great river when searching for lost treasures? Yichuan surveyed the surroundings, temporarily abandoning the rampant celestial phenomenon, and launched several upgraded fire feather arrows towards the vines. In an instant, the vines ignited in a towering inferno, retracting swiftly. Despite many vines striking their bodies, they could not extinguish the flames engulfing them. Within mere seconds, all the vines vanished without a trace. The rampant celestial phenomenon felt a deep insult, having exerted all its might against a human only to see the latter turn his attention to the demonic vines. Was it not a blatant disregard for its existence? In that moment, the rampant celestial phenomenon let out a furious roar, its trunk elongating to several hundred meters, sweeping towards Yichuan. At that moment, the trunk became a fearsome weapon, reducing everything in its path to mere powder until it collided with Yichuan. Unflinching, Yichuan absorbed the blow, retreating 7 or 8 meters before halting the trunk's momentum. The forbidden spear appeared, extending to several dozen meters, pinning the trunk to the ground. The anguished cry of the rampant celestial phenomenon echoed as it struggled futilely against the spear, which had penetrated nearly 10 meters into the earth, its weight rendering even SS-class beings powerless to escape. Having severed your trunk, let us see how you can ensnare anyone further, Yechwan uttered in a low voice. Drawing his blade, the power of the shattered mirror erupted as he struck down fiercely upon the trunk. The rampant celestial phenomenon's pupils constricted, struggling with all its might, even tearing its trunk in a desperate attempt to flee. Yet it was too late. The agony of its trunk being torn apart was swiftly followed by the severing at its base. The once hundreds of meters long trunk was reduced to merely over a meter, and the rampant celestial phenomenon writhed in pain, causing the ground to tremble beneath its frantic movements. It has grown fearful, immediately redirecting its focus towards Zhao Feiyu and Xiao Feilong, charging at the two with fury. What the hell? Is it coming for me? Xiao Feilong, startled by the rampaging beast, nonetheless resolved to give it a shot. He concentrated all his strength into his right fist, sprinted a few steps, and delivered a powerful blow to the beast's head. In the next moment, Xiao Feilong felt an indescribable force collide with him, sending him flying. His entire right arm felt as if it had been shattered, the pain unbearable. Damn it. The disparity between an S-class and an SS-class creature is truly immense. He gritted through his teeth, cradling his injured arm. Yet, this did not satiate the rampaging beast, which charged at Xiao Feilong once more. What the hell is this? Xiao Feilong clenched his teeth, drawing out his long knife, prepared to fight to the death. However, as the beast surged forward several meters, it suddenly found itself unable to advance any further, causing Xiao Feilong to pause in surprise. He then noticed Yechwan had grasped the beast's tail from behind. Good. Xiao Feilong couldn't help but laugh, leaping into the air, his left hand wielding the knife as he aimed a fierce strike at the beast's head. Zhao Feiyu also rushed forward, following the trajectory of Xiao Feilong's attack, bringing down his laser sword with great force. Chapter 360. The Elder of the Immortal Clan, the white-haired matriarch. After being struck twice on the head, the rampaging beast's skull was forcibly driven into the ground with a mournful cry. Wow, its head is tougher than I imagined. We couldn't even split it. Xiao Feilong exclaimed in astonishment. Patience, Yechwan replied calmly. At least we have severely wounded it. Just as he spoke, the beast suddenly rose, catching Zhao Feiyu and Xiao Feilong off guard, forcing them to stagger back. It seemed to have entered another state of frenzy, pivoting to charge at Yechwan once more. This creature can't just focus on one opponent. Is it confused by the number of us fighting it? Xiao Feilong remarked, exasperated, shaking his head slightly. Yechwan gripped his spear with one hand, the power of the forbidden spear beginning to circulate within as he stepped forward deliberately. With another furious roar, the rampaging beast surged forth, intending to crush Yechwan beneath its legs. Yet, the forbidden spear suddenly expanded, glowing faintly, and shot towards the beast's throat. With a sickening thud, the spear pierced its throat, propelled upward by the force of the creature's charge. Immediately afterward, the spear retracted to Yechwan's hand, but blood gushed incessantly from the beast's throat, its mournful cries rendered mute by the piercing wound. This creature is finally finished. The two returned before Yechwan, and the little flying dragon chuckled, giving Yechwan a thumbs up. Brother, you're incredible. You truly managed to slay an SS-level creature. Yechwan shot a disapproving glance at the little flying dragon, responding with annoyance. Do you think this is a joke? After a few minutes of furious roars, the rampaging celestial phenomenon knelt, falling silent. The SS-level guardian of the Undying clan, who had protected them for centuries, had finally met its end. Congratulations, host. On your first kill of an SS-level terrestrial creature, you have been awarded a lucky gift pack. Would you like to open it? The system's voice echoed simultaneously. Open it. Yechwan commanded. Successfully opened. Congratulations, host. You have received 400 kilograms of fertile black soil, 20 units of nutrient solution, 1 SS-level ocean creature's inner pill, 2 experience value packs, 2 resource packs for absolute defenses, and 1 miracle pill. In comparison to slaying an SS-level ocean creature, the rewards for killing an SS-level terrestrial creature had nearly doubled, except for the inner pill and the miracle pill. The inner pill had transformed into that of an SS-level ocean creature, which was acceptable, but why was there not 2 miracle pills? Nevertheless, Yechwan chose not to dwell on this matter, as the situation was far from over. The surviving few, witnessing this scene, wore expressions of utmost horror. They were filled with dread, for in their minds, no one had ever managed to kill an SS-level terrestrial creature unless it was another SS-level being. Yet you still intend to let your swift Tiger King continue battling the Nether Panther? Chuan coldly questioned, observing the two creatures still locked in combat. Tiger King, return. One individual clenched his fist and finally shouted. The swift Tiger King instantly returned to his side, sporting a grievous wound that exposed bone, yet remarkably, there were no other injuries. The Nether Panther, however, appeared to be weakened, with several severe wounds across its body. It was promptly fed 500 milliliters of S-level freshwater by the little flying dragon. Soon, the wounds on the Nether Panther began to visibly heal at an astonishing rate, causing the members of the Undying clan to gasp in astonishment. Divine water? You must realize that our strength far surpasses yours. Perhaps you should concede half of your territory to the Eternal Clan. Chuan stated solemnly. We harbor no intention of annihilating you. This matter is not ours to decide. The man replied coldly. Everything is at the behest of our chieftain, and we are merely executors. However, as for our chieftain, he is not someone you can challenge. Is that so? Chuan laughed. Our chieftain's ally is a demonic tree, whose power surpasses even these two SS-level creatures. The man replied solemnly. If you confront that demonic tree, I can only say your demise is inevitable. Wasn't that just a demonic tree? Chuan retorted. That was merely a small branch of a demonic vine. Lead the way. I am eager to see if your chieftain possesses 3 heads and 6 arms. Chuan let out a cold snort and immediately instructed the few individuals to lead the way, hastening towards the heart of the Immortal Clan. The further they advanced, the more numerous the members of the clan became. However, upon sighting the Nether Panther, their expressions shifted to one of intense hostility. This caused the little flying dragon to furrow his brow and quietly remark, It seems these individuals harbor some animosity towards us. They probably associate us with the Eternal Clan due to the presence of the Nether Panther. Zhao Feiyu elucidated. Yet, most of them are not warriors. If they truly dared to trouble us, we would eliminate them all. Indeed, it is either friends or foes, and foes must be eradicated. Chuan nodded in agreement. He was still troubled by the matter concerning Wang Canrui. After believing he had killed him twice, it turned out the man was remarkably resilient, surviving both attempts. This served as a reminder to Chuan that when one intends to take a life, one must ensure the deed is thoroughly accomplished, otherwise, the roots remain, allowing for a resurgence. After traversing for over half an hour, the group arrived at the Immortal Clan settlement. Upon seeing the Nether Panther, hundreds of warriors dramatically changed their countenance and swiftly surrounded them. This startled the leader, who immediately began to shout frantically, causing the crowd to exchange incredulous glances before reluctantly parting to create a pathway. It was then that the leader escorted the 3 individuals and the panther into the grand stone abode of the clan's chief. Within, they encountered a wizened matriarch, her eyes completely white, who spoke softly. I have awaited your arrival for quite some time, the one chosen by the heavens. You know me? Chuan inquired, his brow furrowing. Years ago, when we expelled the Eternal Clan, I once divined a prophecy for our Immortal Clan, the old woman replied, her voice tranquil. The oracle revealed that an outsider would return with a Nether Panther to sever the demon tree and aid the Eternal Clan in reclaiming the lost continent. Chuan's brow furrowed deeper, regarding the old woman with newfound respect. Her divination skills were indeed impressive. Curiosity piqued. He asked, and what of my fate? Can you divine my destiny? Chapter 361, SS Class Plant, the Demon Tree. The old woman regarded him with a perplexed expression, akin to that of a fool. After all, you are our enemy and have slain our kin, yet you present yourself as one seeking counsel regarding your own fate. Are you jesting? Chuan sensed the impropriety of his question and, getting straight to the point, stated, as I mentioned, we have come to assist the Eternal Clan in their return. Do you have any objections? That is a matter you must discuss with the Demon Tree, the old woman responded without further ado. Since the Demon Tree arrived on this continent, its roots have been expanding relentlessly, now stretching over 100,000 square kilometers. The territories once belonging to the Eternal Clan have become its sustenance. Our expulsion of the Eternal Clan was a result of our collaboration with the Demon Tree. Chuan's brow furrowed once more. It appeared that this matter was indeed intertwined with the Demon Tree, indicating that these individuals held little sway in the final outcome. Take us to the Demon Tree, Leaf Chuan exclaimed, taking a deep breath. Good luck, child, the old woman replied with a smile that revealed a set of dark, menacing teeth. The ambition of the Demon Tree grows ever more insatiable, even we find it bothersome. Should you succeed in slaying the Demon Tree, I shall offer you a prophecy. Without further ado, the group dashed out of the stone hut, guided by their companion towards the location of the Demon Tree. The tree stood at the very heart of the continent. Their guide led the 3 individuals and a leopard onto a craft resembling a flying saucer. Within a short hour, they reached their destination, where the colossal demon tree loomed in the distance, towering over 1,000 meters high and boasting a diameter of over 100 meters. It seemed to anticipate their arrival. As they approached within a few hundred meters, the ground began to tremble violently. Countless roots erupted from the earth, lashing out like whips towards ч11 and his companions. With swift reflexes, the three individuals drew their weapons and severed the roots into fragments, yet the roots appeared endless, continuously emerging from the ground to weave an intricate net that ensnared them all. Ah! A cry of despair escaped the elderly man's lips, his body curling in fear. Before he could utter another word, ч11 unleashed an upgraded fiery arrow, which struck the net. The net ignited as if doused in accelerants, bursting into flames and retreating back into the depths of the earth. How terrifying! How utterly terrifying! Their guide stammered, trembling uncontrollably. Esteemed ones, I shall take my leave here. I do not wish to perish in this cursed place. Very well, ч11 nodded slightly. The three individuals and the leopard leapt from the craft. Their guide hastily turned the vehicle around and sped away, but before he could escape more than 100 meters, several roots shot up from the ground, tearing the craft to shreds. This demon tree has quite the temper, the little dragon remarked, rolling its eyes. It even slaughters its own allies. The demon tree cares not for good or ill. It shows no mercy to those it perceives as threats. Zhao Feiyu responded with a shrug. However, we must remain vigilant and be prepared for its sudden assaults. Let us proceed. ч11 nodded, then stepped forward towards the demon tree. Suddenly, the demon tree began to shake violently, its sparse leaves rustling as if engaged in conversation. The three individuals and the leopard could not comprehend the tree's words and chose to ignore them, advancing resolutely to engage the foe. It seemed the demon tree was indeed attempting to communicate, but before it could articulate its message, the trio initiated their attack, inciting the tree's fury. All its branches began to stir, and the dense network of trunks descended from above, relentlessly striking towards the three individuals and the leopard. Three individuals and a leopard swiftly maneuvered between the trunks and roots of the trees, their sharp weapons effortlessly severing roots with each strike. However, the immense size of the magical tree rendered their assaults seemingly futile. No matter how many branches and roots were cleaved, new ones would immediately emerge to take their place. System, what level of creature is this? ч11 inquired, having severed a dozen branches and now leaping towards the main trunk above. SS-level terrestrial plant, magical tree. Peak adult form, chaotic and formidable combat power. The system promptly responded. ч11 couldn't help but inwardly exclaim in astonishment. No wonder it was so difficult to contend with. It was indeed an SS-level organism. Previously, he felt capable of handling SS-level creatures, but this one was a different story altogether. Let us go, ч11 called out. Now airborne, he wielded his long blade and struck fiercely at a massive branch, but before he made contact, his feet seemed to be ensnared by some unseen force. Turning his head, he discovered two magical vines that had ensnared him with terrifying strength, pulling him back. With a swift motion, ч11 twisted his body, severing the two magical vines with his blade, then lunged forward, grasping the severed vine and violently flinging it. A wave of ethereal blade energy shot forth, striking the end of the vine. He then flicked it upward, wrapping the other end around the trunk several times. In this manner, ч11 found himself propelled onto the branch without ever touching the ground. As dozens of branches lashed out at him, he swiftly countered, severing a particularly thick branch with his blade. The entire magical tree rustled ominously, perhaps in pain from the assault. This provoked the tree's retaliation, as the trunk descended towards the ground, enveloping ч11 within its grasp. Despite his relentless strikes with the long blade, he could not sever all the encasing branches. As countless magical vines began to weave their way towards him, some already climbing up his legs, he realized that if this continued, even with his augmented capabilities, escape would become increasingly impossible. In a moment of desperation, he unleashed 5 upgraded fiery feather arrows, each piercing in various directions. Instantly, the colossal trunk ignited in towering flames, causing it to recoil upwards. Numerous roots were lifted, thrashing against the trunk, and countless leaves cascaded down from above, finally extinguishing the flames atop the canopy. The rustling resumed, and to ч11's astonishment, the magical tree began to shrink rapidly, transforming into a humanoid shape. Wait, is that a person? Exclaimed the little dragon as it approached ч11 in surprise. Chapter 362, The Elven Divine Sword, Defeating the Magical Tree. The magical tree continued to diminish, ultimately becoming a tree-like humanoid standing over 3 meters tall, one of its arms severed but quickly replenished by surrounding branches. How dare you, insufferable humans, disturb my rest and launch an attack upon me? You are utterly despicable. The magic tree growled coldly, glaring at the three individuals and the leopard. We have been commissioned by the Eternal Clan to sever you and assist them in reclaiming the lost continent, replied Yichuan immediately. Magic tree, I am not criticizing you for occupying the nest, but do you not feel shame in driving others out? He continued. This is merely the outcome of a three-way struggle. Since the Eternal Clan has been expelled, they must bear the consequences. How dare they request you to dispense justice? The magic tree scoffed. What are you to presume you have the right to enact justice? Serving others is a matter of loyalty. Yichuan shrugged nonchalantly. In that case, you shall perish. The magic tree sneered coldly as the roots of the earth surged forth, blocking the retreat of the group. Even Yichuan found his limbs ensnared before he could unleash his flame feather arrows. During the exchange between Yichuan and the magic tree, the roots had been strategically deployed, aiming for a decisive strike. What in the world is happening? Exclaimed the little flying dragon, exasperated. The ideal opportunity to slay the magic tree seemed to have slipped away amidst the dialogue. With their limbs bound, how could they possibly continue the fight? Do you think my flame feather arrows are conjured from thin air? Yichuan scoffed, producing 3 upgraded flame feather arrows with a flick of his wrist, launching them at the roots. In an instant, the roots ignited in a raging inferno, retreating swiftly underground, freeing the trio and the leopard. The elven divine sword appeared, and with a decisive slash, all the roots that were about to burrow back into the earth were severed, losing their vitality and collapsing like decayed roots. The elven divine sword. The magic tree's expression changed dramatically. How is this possible? You recognize the elven divine sword. Then you must comprehend its formidable power. Yichuan remarked with a cold smirk. He realized that any roots severed by the elven divine sword would completely detach from the magic tree, forever losing their vitality. This revelation sparked a new idea within him. If he could sever all the roots, the magic tree would be left defenseless, making it far easier to confront. With this thought, Yichuan grinned mischievously and beckoned the magic tree. Come on, let us continue. Despicable. The magic tree ground its teeth in frustration. It had deduced much, yet failed to anticipate that its adversary possessed the elven divine sword. Moreover, it was astonishing that such an item did not need to be pulled from a pocket or hidden place. It could be summoned at will. Attack. Yichuan commanded with a chilling smile, this time dispensing with further dialogue. In that instant, the elven divine sword unleashed its terrifying might. As colorful beams of sword light flashed repeatedly, severing roots with unerring precision, even penetrating beneath the surface. The elven divine sword proved to be the magic tree's nemesis, firmly suppressing it. The enchanted tree, overwhelmed with irritation, erupted into a furious roar. I shall fight you to the bitter end. In an instant, countless trees surrounding the trio and the leopard surged forward, as if every flora within the reach of the tree's roots had fallen under its dominion. You fend off these colossal trees. I shall vanquish the enchanted tree. Yichuan bellowed, charging directly towards the malevolent entity. Anything that dared to obstruct Yichuan was cleaved into fragments, as if under the divine might of the elven sword. All assaults from the enchanted tree had turned to naught. Indeed, the elven sword is formidable. It proves far more effective against the enchanted tree than my long blade. Yichuan mused, arriving before the tree and delivering a diagonal strike towards its trunk. In that moment, all branches and leaves swiftly coalesced into a shield, successfully absorbing the blow. Spare me the theatrics. Even with the elven sword, your desire to utterly annihilate me is but a fanciful delusion. The enchanted tree laughed heartily, declaring, My essence has endured for millennia. Do you truly believe you possess the strength to sever it? Have you perhaps overlooked a crucial detail? Yichuan inquired, his tone laced with mockery. What? As the enchanted tree observed Yichuan's sardonic expression, an ominous sensation began to swell within. It soon realized that 7 upgraded fiery feather arrows had been embedded into its trunk. These arrows unleashed a torrent of fire elements in an instant, igniting a substantial portion of the tree's massive form in a fierce blaze. The enchanted tree roared in fury, thrashing at the flames. However, the arrows had penetrated deeply, rendering its desperate attempts futile. Some branches, too, caught fire, igniting in a furious conflagration. No, the enchanted tree bellowed, as roots deep within the earth erupted from the ground, launching themselves towards its own body. Yet this time, Yichuan was prepared. Almost the moment the roots emerged, he began to slice with the elven sword. Despite the sheer number of roots, akin to an army of thousands, Yichuan's unparalleled speed allowed him to dispatch at least 2/3 of them. At this juncture, The enchanted tree had regained its towering form, but as it grew taller, the flames consumed it with increasing ferocity, soon engulfing the entirety of the tree, even reaching its expansive canopy. In the distance, many members of the eternal race watched this spectacle in hushed awe, filled with profound emotions. He has done what we have long desired, yet dared not attempt. Indeed, for countless years, the enchanted tree had extended its roots into our territory, while we remained silent. Finally, this situation may come to an end. All gratitude belongs to the man summoned by the eternal race. However, it appears that the eternal race may soon return to the lost continent. Brother, this is exhilarating. The little dragon chuckled heartily. This fellow is surely doomed. The divination foretold that I would wield the elven sword while riding the phantom leopard to sever the enchanted tree, ч11 proclaimed gravely. Thus, I believe it is prudent to adhere to the prophecy. Wouldn't you agree, phantom leopard? Roar. The phantom leopard was now brimming with excitement, promptly lowering itself to the ground in anticipation of ч11 mounting it, and then swiftly darting towards the demon tree. Chapter 363. Your destination is the city in the sky. After a rapid sprint, the phantom leopard leaped into the air with ч11 upon its back. As they passed the demon tree, ч11 finally unleashed his attack. The terrifying sword energy erupted with unprecedented force, visible to the naked eye, shooting forth in a dazzling array of colors, extending several hundred meters, and diagonally cleaving into the trunk of the demon tree. The once struggling tree abruptly ceased its movements. Did we really kill it? The little dragon inquired with delight as it approached. Crack! In the next moment, a crisp sound resonated as the trunk of the demon tree suddenly snapped, a significant portion of its upper body crashing to the ground, completely engulfed in raging flames. We truly killed it, haha! Upon witnessing this scene, the little dragon burst into hearty laughter. Big brother, you're amazing. ч11 shrugged slightly and turned to Bello. You peeping onlookers, why aren't you coming out? At his command, several hundred people emerged from various corners, each one regarding ч11 with fear. After all, the ability to slay the rampaging celestial beast indicated his prowess, but the capability to vanquish the demon tree revealed his true terror. Such a person could effortlessly annihilate the Undying clan, could they not? Everyone, uproot the roots of this demon tree and burn them. ч11 commanded solemnly. As the saying goes, wildfire cannot be extinguished completely. It will sprout anew with the spring breeze. Only by uprooting it entirely can one ensure its complete eradication, preventing any possibility of revival. Upon hearing this, the crowd immediately set to work. After all, killing the demon tree had indirect implications for the Undying clan. They dared not be negligent lest the tree seek vengeance upon its revival. Congratulations, host, for your first kill of an SS-level terrestrial creature. Reward, lucky gift pack. Would you like to open it? The system's voice resounded. Open it. ч11 replied with a grin. Opening successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 400 kilograms of fertile black soil, 20 units of nutrient solution, 1 SS-level marine creature's core, 2 experience packs, 2 resource packs for absolute defenses, and 1 miraculous pill. Effortlessly, another miraculous pill was acquired. Indeed, today was a day of bountiful rewards. Let us return. ч11 stretched languidly. Having slain 2 SS-level creatures in succession, which was quite a fruitful endeavor, it was time to see what the Undying clan had to say. With that, ч11 casually selected a member of the Undying clan, boarded their flying vessel, and swiftly returned to the tribe. Naturally, the news of the demon tree's demise spread rapidly, causing all members of the Undying clan to gasp in astonishment. Their gazes filled with trepidation as they looked upon ч11 until they reached the massive stone dwelling. The old woman firmly believed that ч11 could indeed vanquish the demon tree. However, she did not anticipate such swiftness. Within the span of merely 2 hours, he had accomplished the feat in less than 30 minutes. Such a formidable presence could only be befriended, not opposed. Chief, is it now time to fulfill the promise and allow the eternal clan to return? ч11 inquired with a cheerful smile. Certainly. To ч11's surprise, the old woman consented with remarkable decisiveness. He had expected the elder might seek excuses or impose conditions, yet she agreed without so much as a blink, likely intimidated by his prowess. Instantly, ч11 nodded and declared, this matter remains unchanged. The Eternal Clan and the Undying Clan shall each occupy half of the territory, jointly managing the lost continent. We must regard each other not as foes, but as friends. That is acceptable. I will convey this to the children, the old woman affirmed. Still nodding. Then we may pose one final inquiry. Will you assist me with divination? ч11 chuckled as he rubbed his hands together, gazing deeply at ч11. The old woman procured a tortoise shell and 5 copper coins from her robe, saying, "Drip a drop of your blood onto the shell." After he complied, the old woman began to shake the tortoise shell while murmuring incantations. Suddenly, a faint crimson aura emerged from the shell, exuding an enchanting allure. Then, she cast the copper coins onto the table, where they spun in an eerie manner. Suddenly, the old woman's complexion flushed, and she coughed up a mouthful of blood. Concurrently, the 5 copper coins came to an abrupt halt. Your path ahead is shrouded in fog, yet the destination does not lie within the oceanic realm, but rather in the Sky City. Fixating on the coins for a good 10 seconds, the old woman finally spoke. Another mention of the Sky City? Yichuan furrowed his brow and promptly asked, "What exactly is the Sky City, and why have I never heard of it before?" The old woman shook her head solemnly, replying, "It is an ethereal place, accessible only to those formidable enough from the oceanic world who have attained a certain level of mastery. Moreover, the journey to the Sky City is fraught with peril." Though it seemed the old woman spoke in vain, Yichuan refrained from delving deeper, suspecting that more detailed information would be elusive. He then produced 200 milliliters of S-grade freshwater, saying, "This is what you refer to as divine water. It can heal wounds. You possess divine water." Upon seeing the 200 milliliters of S-grade freshwater, the old woman visibly trembled, swiftly taking it and drinking deeply. After a brief moment, she expelled several clots of blackened blood, then exhaled a long sigh of relief. Looking at Yichuan, her gaze softened with newfound warmth. "Young man, thank you for your divine water. I feel that the hidden injuries accumulated over the years have healed by more than half. Is it truly that effective?" Yichuan was taken aback. Due to a previous encounter with an immortal being who referred to it as divine water, Yichuan subsequently dubbed the S-grade freshwater as divine water as well. Little did he anticipate its remarkable efficacy on them. Had he administered 500 milliliters directly, she would have been completely healed. However, Yichuan had no intention of allowing the old woman to fully recover. Her agreement to his terms might be linked to her hidden injuries. If she were to regain her vitality, turning against the Eternal Clan, his assistance would have been in vain. For the old woman, a state of frailty was perhaps the most favorable outcome. Upon exiting the Undying Clan, Yichuan, along with his companions and a leopard, swiftly returned to the hiding place of the Eternal Clan. A group of individuals had been anxiously awaiting their return, and as soon as the trio and the leopard arrived, they rushed to greet them. Among them, Mina, with her small fists clenched, looked expectantly at Yichuan. Only when he smiled and nodded at her did she erupt in excitement, leaping onto him like an octopus and planting a fragrant kiss on his cheek. Chapter 364, the first subquest, completed. "Come down, it's inappropriate," Yichuan advised softly, though he enjoyed the attention. Indeed. It is improper for men and women to be so intimate. Aren't you a bit embarrassed?" Blueberry Jam grumbled, her dissatisfaction evident. However, due to the language barrier, Mina was oblivious to Blueberry Jam's remarks, mistakenly believing she was congratulating her. She promptly descended and offered a friendly smile to Blueberry Jam, saying, "Thank you, brother." "What is she saying?" "She said she understands." "That's more like it." Upon hearing Yichuan's translation, Blueberry Jam finally felt satisfied. Yichuan continued with a smile. "The demon tree has been vanquished, and the Undying Clan has agreed to return to their territory. Henceforth, the Eternal Clan will jointly govern the Lost Continent with the Undying Clan. You may inform the Elder Chief to bring them back." Yes. Mina nodded eagerly, giving Yichuan another embrace. "Brother, please bear with it for now. Rest here a while. My father and the others will likely arrive by tomorrow morning, and we shall together reclaim the territory of the Eternal Clan." "All right," Yichuan replied without hesitation. "Brother, during our battle, I noticed the legs of the rampaging celestial elephant were quite impressive," the little dragon suddenly exclaimed with a grin. "Did you notice?" "Of course. After defeating the rampaging celestial elephant, I immediately gathered its remains to prepare several dishes for Saturday." Yichuan rolled his eyes at the little dragon. This was an SS-grade terrestrial creature, renowned for its exquisite meat and rich nutrients. Yes. Hee. The little dragon's smile widened at this revelation. Tonight was destined to be a night of celebration. Meanwhile, out at sea, a colossal aircraft carrier, accompanied by over 30 warships, had arrived at the location where Yichuan and the others had vanished. On board the carrier stood a woman, approximately 30 years of age, strikingly beautiful and exuding an air of competence. She gazed forward, furrowing her brow as she coldly remarked, "Gone?" "Yes, miss," came the reply. The commander of the nearby team spoke respectfully. "In recent days, we have been tracking the whereabouts of Blueberry Jam, but upon arriving here yesterday, she inexplicably vanished and is no longer in the ocean world." Previously, they had unearthed the tear of the moon. Could it be that they have now discovered that treasure? The woman, her hands behind her back, nervously rubbed her sleeves. Have we only arrived a day late? Indeed, the commander nodded. However, it is rumored that the treasure of the tear of the moon lies within the forbidden sea. They may not have found the treasure, but rather, for some unknown reason, they have journeyed to another dimension. The woman fell silent. Blueberry jam had merely been an internet sensation, yet her fortunes soared upon entering the ocean world, her worth multiplying several times over, and it remained a mystery what powerful allies she had acquired. This time, she had personally entered the ocean world to confront Blueberry jam. Should she fail to obtain what she desired, she would not hesitate to obliterate Blueberry jam. Ultimately, the woman merely nodded slightly. We shall wait here. Since they disappeared from this spot, they are bound to return. Understood, miss. The commander bowed slightly before descending to issue orders. After feasting on sumptuous delicacies and fine wine, the group finally retired for the night. Host has not yet checked in. Would you like to check in? The next morning, as Yichuan was lost in a jumble of dreams, the system's voice chimed in. Check in. Yichuan stretched lazily and yawned. Check-in successful. Congratulations, host, on receiving 2,000 evolution points and an evolution value package. The system's voice echoed again, and Yichuan finally opened his eyes to see a dozen smiling figures not far away, the leader and elders of the Eternal Clan. Leader, you have arrived? Yichuan exclaimed in surprise. Why didn't you call me? Seeing you sleep so soundly, we felt it improper to disturb you, the leader replied courteously. Immediately, the dozen figures knelt on one knee before Yichuan, proclaiming, Great Savior, thank you for aiding us in reclaiming the lost continent. All of us, numbering in the tens of thousands from the Eternal Clan, wish to become your most loyal friends. So many? Yichuan was taken aback. The last time he had visited their isle, there had not been this many people. Indeed, the lost continent is vast. Our clan cannot possibly consist of just a few hundred or thousand, the leader nodded vigorously. Previously, they had been wandering elsewhere, but upon receiving word, everyone has returned. Very well, after breakfast, we shall proceed to reclaim the territory of the Eternal Clan. Yichuan nodded decisively. Thus, after a hearty breakfast, the group set forth in grand procession towards the land once held by the Eternal Clan. Following the events of yesterday, the elder of the Ageless Clan had already informed its members, and they had vacated the territory of the Eternal Clan the previous night. The Eternal Clan's takeover was remarkably seamless. Within half a day, they had reclaimed all the territories that had previously been lost. At that moment, the chieftain and over a dozen elder figures knelt on the ground, unable to contain their tears of joy. For hundreds of years, we have wandered aimlessly. Who could have imagined that one day we would return to this land? All thanks to the great Savior. Meanwhile, the system announced. Detected that the host has assisted the Eternal Clan in defeating the Ageless Clan and reclaiming the lost continent. The instance task has been completed, and a substantial gift package has been acquired. Would you like to open it? The thrill of obtaining a gift package for the first instance task was indeed exhilarating. Yichuan chuckled, rubbing his hands together, and said, Open it. Opening instance gift package. Congratulations, host. You have received Evolution Value Package 2, Resource Package 2, Times Super Defense 2, Super Laser Cannon Blueprint 2, and Special Tree Nutrient Solution 2. The rewards were quite generous, providing 2 units of time defense and a super laser cannon that could be installed not only on warships, but also on large drones, offering great versatility. This was quite satisfactory. One could be stationed on Turtle Island, and the other on the ultimate battleship, boasting a range of 100 nautical miles, capable of launching strikes within seconds, effortlessly penetrating even a meter-thick steel plate. The synergy with heavy artillery was remarkable. One provided aerial strikes, while the other delivered pinpoint attacks. Impressive. Savior, we plan to celebrate tonight, and you will be the guest of honor. You must attend. Suddenly, the chieftain's voice rang out beside him. Chapter 365, Return to the Outer Seas, Encountering Xia Wanxing. Then I shall not impose, Yichuan replied with a smile, planning to stay the night and depart the following morning. With some time left before the evening banquet, Yichuan wandered about. This lost continent was predominantly covered in pristine forests, with humans occupying nearly 1/3 of its expanse, over 300,000 square kilometers of land, yet home to less than 1 million inhabitants, leaving ample room for exploration. Unbeknownst to him, Yichuan had ventured deep into the primordial forest. The air here was remarkably fresh, yet he discovered a plant, as thick as an adult's finger, standing straight and towering 30 meters high, hidden among various trees and appearing quite unremarkable. Yichuan furrowed his brow. Was this not a magical tree? System, are there other magical trees here? Yichuan inquired in astonishment. Who told you that the magical tree was unique? The system retorted directly. The response left Yichuan momentarily speechless. As the system pointed out, he had always believed that there was only one magical tree on Turtle Island, yet there were many more on the lost continent. Though most were only around 10 meters high, with none exhibiting ladder-like protrusions. Do these magical trees not grow taller? Yichuan voiced his curiosity, under the premise of lacking specialized nutrient solutions for particular tree species. The miraculous tree can only reach a height of 30 meters and will not complete its initial growth phase. After the system provided this answer, Yichuan began to grasp certain truths. Thus, it seems that his miraculous tree remains truly unique. In this forlorn continent, why are there so many miraculous trees? Could it have once been a part of the Sky City? Yichuan suddenly pondered. However, this time, the system offered no reply. Big brother, so you are here. At that moment, Mina and several other maidens of the Eternal Clan approached, their faces adorned with cheerful smiles. What is the matter? Yichuan inquired with a smile. Oh, nothing much. It's just that many of our clan's folk wish to make your acquaintance. Mina responded. The maidens gazed at Yichuan with adoring eyes, as if they regarded him as their beloved. Big brother, come quickly, Mina exclaimed joyfully, taking Yichuan's hand and dashing outside. There were indeed quite a number of maidens from the Eternal Clan, at least 50 or 60, who quickly surrounded him, leaving Yichuan in a flurry. Ultimately, it was Liang Hongying and her companions who came to his rescue, allowing him to escape. By evening, the banquet commenced. To Yichuan's surprise, the clan leader had also invited the leader of the Ageless clan along with several elder figures. This was likely in consideration of Yichuan's presence or perhaps an attempt to mend ties with the Eternal Clan. The elder and dozens of individuals from the Ageless clan were remarkably jovial, indulging in copious amounts of drink and meat. The two clan leaders aptly stated that no conflict could withstand the remedy of a feast. If it could, then 2 feasts would suffice. The night of revelry soon came to an end. The following morning, after signing in, Yichuan noticed that everyone had already risen. The Eternal Clan prepared a sumptuous breakfast. While the clan leader, with a grave demeanor, addressed him, Savior, we are aware that you are about to depart. We have no gifts to offer you, but we present you with 100 liters of 100-flower wine as a token of our esteem. Please do accept it. Mina also produced a blood-red feather, saying, Big brother, take this feather with you. If you ever require assistance, simply ignite this feather, and the Eternal Clan will hasten to your side. Thank you. Yichuan affectionately ruffled Mina's hair and handed her the remaining upgraded flame feather arrows used against the demon tree. These arrows played a significant role in our victory over the demon tree. Just one can ignite a raging inferno. Consider it your talisman. Big brother. Mina's eyes glistened with tears. In the vast sea of humanity, encountering such a noble and endearing elder brother who transcended base interests was truly a blessing for the Eternal Clan. Until we meet again. Yichuan smiled at Mina, choosing not to say more. After breakfast, the group bid farewell to the Eternal Clan and slowly set out on a small boat. Yet, as they ventured into the mist, the sound of dolphins' alarms pierced the air. Yichuan furrowed his brow, immediately employing the eye of the same to transmit objects, revealing over 30 warships approaching. Clearly, they bore ill intentions. At this moment, Yichuan immediately relayed the matter to everyone. Big brother, I propose that we activate the ultimate battleship right away, so they understand the gravity of their mistake. Xiao Fei Long said without hesitation, likely tracking down Blueberry Jam, right? It can't always be after me, can it? Blueberry Jam lamented. You were the one who leaked our whereabouts. The remaining 20 battleships of the Dracula family won't come after us anytime soon, Liang Hongying remarked while twisting Blueberry Jam's ear. Tell me, apart from being on your trail, who else could it be? Oh, I admit my fault. Blueberry Jam pouted. I didn't realize those island lords would be so malicious. However, I did gain a following of island lords. When I gather them together, that will be quite a formidable force. We'll discuss this later. Yichuan waved his hand. For now, let's board the ultimate battleship. With that, the group of 7 directly entered the ultimate battleship. Through the radio, Yichuan contacted the opposing battleship. You are waiting for us here, aren't you? I am looking for Blueberry Jam. Upon hearing the sudden voice, a woman replied, I am Xiao Wanqing, and I wish to speak with Blueberry Jam. Xiao Wanqing, what is there for us to discuss? Haven't we resolved what needed to be resolved? Blueberry Jam frowned and responded impatiently. I believe we can renegotiate, Xiao Wanqing said immediately. In addition to paying you a fixed salary of 100 billion each year, I can also offer you 10% of the earnings from each live broadcast. This is a contract that no other internet celebrity could hope to secure. I am being quite generous, aren't I? Sorry, I'm not interested. Blueberry Jam rejected without a second thought. Xiao Wanqing's expression darkened. In her mind, the offer was incredibly tempting, yet this woman had the audacity to refuse? At that moment, Xiao Wanqing gritted her teeth and said, "Blueberry Jam, you should realize that I have brought over 30 battleships to negotiate this contract with you. I hope you do not choose to disrespect my offer." "Oh, is that so impressive?" Blueberry Jam suddenly laughed mockingly. "If you have the ability, then go ahead and make a move." Chapter 366, The Dual Nature of Xiao Wanqing. This exchange left Xiao Wanqing in silence. She could not fathom where this woman's audacity stemmed from, daring to provoke her as if her 30 battleships were mere trifles. "Blueberry Jam, I have already given you a chance," Xiao Wanqing declared before abruptly hanging up. She then coldly commanded, "Fire." "Miss Fire." The commander attempted to persuade her further, but Xiao Wanqing's icy voice rang out again. The commander ceased his words and promptly executed the orders. Blueberry Jam could not help but scoff. "Did you see that? Not only did she threaten me, but now she truly intends to fire. If she cannot have it, then she will destroy it. Isn't that the mentality of many and powerful families?" With a slight shrug, Yichuan casually remarked, "It's no problem. If they wish to destroy it, let them try. It remains to be seen whether they possess the capability." "I'm sorry, brother, for causing you trouble again," Blueberry Jam timidly expressed. "Trouble has already arrived, and it must be resolved," Liang Hongying said with a hint of exasperation. "In the future, you should focus on doing something substantial for your elder brother. If possible, refrain from stirring up any more trouble." Blueberry Jam pouted slightly, lowering her head, too timid to speak further. Boom. Moments later, a cacophony erupted as numerous missiles hurtled toward the ultimate battleship, subjecting its deck to a relentless barrage. By now, they must have either perished or been grievously wounded. Xiao Wanqing mused coldly as she gazed into the fog ahead. "Our firepower has accurately struck their vessel. At the very least, their combat systems are incapacitated," the commander affirmed. "Yet, it is peculiar that they have not retaliated. Are they overconfident, or have they surrendered?" Just as these thoughts crossed his mind, a deafening horn blared from the mist ahead. The crew glimpsed a shadowy figure looming in the fog, imposing in stature, sending a wave of trepidation through them. Xiao Wanqing squinted, and upon beholding the true form of the ultimate battleship, her expression shifted dramatically. "What is that?" "I, too, seek to understand what that is," the commander exclaimed, his astonishment reaching unprecedented levels. It was nearly inconceivable that such a terrifying behemoth could exist in the oceanic realm, far surpassing even the largest aircraft carriers in size. To mobilize such a colossal vessel would undoubtedly require immense energy. "Our attacks have all been rendered ineffective," the commander grimly stated. "This giant's hull must be constructed from some unknown material. Our recent bombardment had no impact whatsoever. No wonder that brazen woman was so confident. She was sheltered within such a formidable mobile fortress." Xiao Wanqing seethed. Regret consumed her as she reflected on her previous actions that had entangled her with Blueberry Jam, leading them to this inevitable confrontation. Yet, the more she regretted, the angrier she became, her face contorted with resentment. "Order all battleships to fire. I will kill her. I will kill her. All battleships, commence attack." The commander commanded without hesitation. The situation had escalated to one of mutual destruction. It was a matter of either their demise or that of the opponent. The captain could only exert every effort to sink this behemoth. However, the ultimate battleship showed no inclination to defend against the fleet's assault. It was only after the barrage subsided that it launched a missile at each battleship. Despite immediate efforts to intercept, the missiles, upon dispersing into dense warheads, rendered even the close-in weaponry powerless in that moment. "What is happening? Why is our battleship so vulnerable?" Xiao Wanqing gazed around in disbelief, her body trembling with anxiety. "I have destroyed so many warships. My father will undoubtedly take my life. Miss, I believe your current concern should not be whether the master will kill you, but rather whether Blueberry Jam will be your demise." The commander gripped the radio tightly, wishing fervently to slap Xiao Wanqing. This wretched girl knows nothing of warfare, yet insists on mobilizing the fleet to chase after an internet celebrity. Has she lost her mind? Each warship costs hundreds of billions, and now countless billions have been obliterated due to this influencer. Such a burden of responsibility is not something just anyone can bear. She wouldn't dare lay a finger on us. Xiao Wanqing inhaled deeply, gritting her teeth. "If she truly kills me, the Xiao family will undoubtedly seek vengeance." "Miss, your head is quite addled." The commander could no longer restrain himself from mocking her. The Xiao family possesses over 50 warships, yet more than 30 have already been rendered useless, leaving fewer than 20. On what grounds does the Xiao family think they can pursue her? Congratulations, miss. You have single-handedly destroyed the Xiao family's hard-earned influence in the maritime world. Xiao Wanqing was left speechless. Under normal circumstances, had the commander dared to speak to her in such a manner, she would have surely retaliated, but he was right. Her selfishness had led to this predicament. After a few moments of contemplation, Xiao Wanqing decisively contacted the ultimate battleship, directly stating, "Jam, I apologize. I was shallow before. Please let this matter rest. And I assure you I will no longer disturb you. I will vanish from your world. Do you truly think that is possible?" Blueberry Jam retorted angrily, believing that if one can overpower us, they threaten us, but if they find themselves at a disadvantage, they beg for mercy. You are truly despicable. You. Xiao Wanqing felt insulted, but, in the face of such gravity, quickly countered, "I am despicable. I should not have provoked you. State your terms. 100 billion. If you transfer 100 billion to my account, I might consider sparing you." Done. With that, Xiao Wanqing immediately hung up the phone and began to act. Within a mere 5 minutes, she had transferred 100 billion to Blueberry Jam's account, and then contacted her again, stating, "Jam, I have sent the 100 billion. Now you can. Of course, I will no longer hold you accountable for your harassment and attacks against us, but whether my elder brothers will pursue this matter is uncertain." Blueberry Jam concluded and promptly ended the transmission. Just as Xiao Wanqing breathed a sigh of relief, intending to express her gratitude, Blueberry Jam's next words chilled her heart. Just as she was about to unleash a tirade, she was horrified to see a dozen missiles simultaneously soaring towards the super aircraft carrier. Chapter 367. The transformation of sea turtles and dolphins as the super aircraft carrier erupted before her eyes. Blueberry Jam's face was alight with glee. With a cheerful smile, she remarked, "If I have an enemy, it is only her. Now that she is gone, I can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Brother, this 100 billion. Consider it the ammunition cost for this loss. I will transfer it to you. These few shells surely do not require 100 billion. Each one chuckled. However, keeping this money serves no purpose for me, so it is best to hand it over to you. Blueberry Jam shrugged, smiling cheerfully. One must always bear the consequences of their own mistakes. Very well. Each one nodded. Elder brother, can we proceed to the Forbidden Sea now? Little Flying Dragon chimed in, grinning. Of course. Each one shrugged. The matters concerning the Eternal Clan have already delayed us considerably. It is time to move forward. With that, Yichuan released the giant sea turtle. After all, such a colossal creature was too conspicuous. It would be prudent to wait until entering the Forbidden Sea before transforming into the ultimate battleship. Upon returning to the island, everyone engaged in their respective activities. Yichuan took out the remaining 2/3 of the berserk celestial phenomenon and called for Saturday to take care of it. He then returned to his room and retrieved 2 miraculous pills, consuming both at once. Previously, he had taken them one at a time. This time, he wondered if consuming 2 would grant him even more delightful abilities. 5 minutes later, the system's voice echoed. Congratulations, host. Speed increased by 100. Is that the only ability? After uttering this, the system fell silent, leaving Yichuan somewhat perplexed. Previously, his agility and reflexes had increased by 50. Now, with the consumption of 2 pills, his speed had surged by 100. After entering the frame, his speed had already seen a significant boost, and now with an additional increase of 100. Wouldn't his movements resemble teleportation? He tested it, opening the door from his room and finding himself outside the villa in the blink of an eye. This left Yichuan quite satisfied. With such ghostly speed, battling SS-level creatures would be an absolute breeze, and he could even contend with them directly. How exhilarating. With no other pressing matters at hand, Yichuan checked his evolution points, which currently stood at 123,500. To elevate them all by 1 level, he would require 110,000 evolution points, which meant he could upgrade them all. With this thought in mind, Yichuan allocated 30,000 evolution points to the sea turtle and then opened its panel. Island Master. Yichuan type. Sea turtle level. 18,040,000. Skills. Water bomb. Advanced. Backflow technique. Advanced. Absolute gravity. 10,000 tons. Absolute claw. Beginner. Talents. Longevity. Rapid healing. Crawling. Floating. 200 centimeters for 20 minutes. Wow. Yichuan was left dumbfounded. The previous intermediate skills had now become advanced. The advanced water bomb had a diameter of approximately 1 meter, capable of striking out to a distance of around 1 kilometer. Even a battleship could be pierced by it, the power equivalent to that of a standard missile. The advanced reverse flow technique has achieved an astonishing cross-sectional width of 100 meters, with a water flow thickness of 10 meters and a velocity of 100 ms, capable of propelling water high into the air by over 100 meters, akin to a water arrow. The absolute gravity has escalated from 4,500 tons to 10,000 tons. Moreover, it now possesses a primary absolute claw, enabling the sea turtle's forelimbs to extend over 10 meters to tear at its adversaries with a force that can reach up to 10,000 tons. It appears that reaching level 18 is indeed a significant milestone. However, it remains a mystery why the hovering capability has not changed, seemingly capped at 2 meters for a duration of no more than 20 minutes. Without dwelling too much on this, Yichuan proceeded to allocate 20,000 evolution points to the dolphin. The dolphin began to grow gradually, prompting Yichuan to access its information panel immediately. Name: Dolphin level, 18 evolution points, 03000 skills. Sonic interference, advanced. Absolute impact, advanced. Shared vision, 1 minute. Fate's horn, anesthesia duration, tens. Talent, deep dive, 10,000 meters. Note: absolute impact allows the dolphin to attack using its head, with a medium impact equivalent to a collision force of 10 tons. Sonic interference can launch sonic attacks on all entities within a 500-meter radius, disrupting their movements. Previously intermediate skills have now been upgraded to advanced, though the friendliness factor has diminished. Nevertheless, Yichuan suspects that absolute impact may pave the way for Fate's horn. After all, a force of 10 tons is unlikely to significantly affect band-level creatures, yet it could facilitate the piercing of Fate's horn into the bodies of most band-level beings, incapacitating the enemy. Both the sea turtle and the dolphin have not frequently engaged in combat. Indeed, the dolphin's combat prowess pales in comparison to those fearsome band-level creatures, while the sea turtle, burdened by its island, is unable to unleash its full fighting potential. The dolphin's upgrade is complete. Congratulations, host. Your contracted beast has reached level 18 and has received an upgrade gift package. Would you like to open it? As he pondered, the system's voice resonated. Open it. Yichuan replied, shaking off his thoughts. Opening upgrade gift package, please wait. Congratulations, host. You have received 2,000 growth points, 30 kilograms of fresh lamb, 20 liters of chilled beer, and 1 piece of flame armor. The rest of the rewards were similar to the previous ones, but this time included a piece of armor. Its fiery red hue appeared particularly striking, albeit seemingly more suited for female use. Its power, however, remained uncertain. Subsequently, Yichuan allocated another 20,000 evolution points across the 3 little ones. Then opened their information panels. Name: Albatross level, 18, mature phase, evolution points, 03000 skills. Diving claw, capable of grasping 2 tons, flame feather arrows, 18 units, manned launch. Talents: diving, fishing, flying, long-distance navigation. In comparison to the other two, the transformation of the trio seemed rather insignificant. It is likely that, akin to the others, a substantial change would only occur upon reaching level 19 or perhaps level 20. Congratulations, the albatross has completed its upgrade, and the pet has ascended to level 18. You have received an upgrade gift package. Would you like to open it? Congratulations, the albatross has completed its upgrade, and the pet has ascended to level 18. You have received an upgrade gift package. Would you like to open it? Yichuan then declared, open all. Congratulations, you have gained 2,000 growth points, 233 wooden planks, 116 metal sheets, and 1 lucky blind box. Congratulations, you have gained 2,000 growth points, 211 stones, 123 plastics, and 1 temporal defense. Congratulations, you have gained 2,000 growth points, 267 wooden planks, 111 glass pieces, and 1 armor key. What brought joy was the acquisition of yet another temporal defense, a truly life-saving item. Moreover, Yichuan discovered that it could be utilized not only on Turtle Island, but also aboard the ultimate battleship. He pondered whether the lucky blind box would bestow upon him some fortuitous reward. With these thoughts in mind, Yichuan spoke directly, open the blind box. Chapter 368, The Flame Armor and a Piece of News. Opening blind box. Congratulations, you have received a double amplification for 1 day, pinning use. Delightful. After such a long time, the double amplification had finally reappeared. However, Yichuan had no intention of using it immediately. He preferred to wait for an opportune moment. As he gazed at the flame armor, Yichuan promptly summoned everyone and unveiled the armor. In an instant, all were left astounded. Blueberry Jam exclaimed joyfully, "Oh my, brother! Is this for me? This armor is simply magnificent. I adore it. I will give you an even more beautiful one in the future." "This armor is for Hongying first," Yichuan responded. "Really?" Upon hearing this, Liang Hongying's eyes sparkled with excitement. The moment the armor came into her view, She had already been captivated, and now, upon hearing Yichuan's words, she nearly lost control and rushed to kiss him. This is the armor key. With that, Yichuan tossed the armor key to Liang Hongying. She immediately donned the armor and activated it with the key. Liang Hongying felt a sharp pain in her fingertip, followed by a voice announcing, "Armor identification system activated. User, Liang Hongying, armor initialization in progress. Armor has been activated." As the words fell, a faint glow of fire appeared on the flame armor. With a crisp sound, a long blade emerged in her hand, engulfed in a soft red flame, creating a stunning display. How dazzling! Even the little dragon was somewhat taken aback. After all, the men's armor did not seem to match the beauty of the women's armor. The question remained as to its power. With a gentle smile, Liang Hongying gripped her blade with one hand and soared into the air. She then unleashed a powerful slash, cleaving the sea surface and creating a gap over 10 centimeters wide that extended for several meters. "Truly sharp," exclaimed the little flying dragon, giving Liang Hongying a thumbs up. "With this battle armor, I am convinced your combat prowess will at least double, making you more than capable of facing S-class creatures. I feel as though I could take on an SS-class beast myself." Liang Hongying, twirling her long knife, sheathed it and expressed her gratitude. "Big brother, thank you for bestowing upon me such powerful and magnificent armor. I am immensely grateful. It rightfully belongs to a warrior maiden," Yichuan replied. "Only in your hands can it unleash its utmost power." "Indeed," Liang Hongying nodded emphatically. To celebrate Liang Hongying's acquisition of her armor, they prepared a feast with the meat of the rampant celestial phenomenon and brought out 10 liters of exquisite floral wine, resulting in a delightful revelry. Liang Hongying alone consumed 2 liters, becoming thoroughly intoxicated for the first time, and was carried back to her room by Yichuan. With no pressing matters in the afternoon, Yichuan called Little Flying Dragon and others to stroll through the woods, as the scenery would transform after tonight. Suddenly, Yichuan's expression shifted, prompting him to inquire of the system, "Is there any way for the Banshee giant ape to remain in the woods? Not only to avoid vanishing tomorrow, but also to evolve into an SS or SS-level creature?" The system remained silent. Yichuan couldn't help but pout slightly, muttering in exasperation, "Oh system, you truly reveal nothing of the secrets to wealth." "There's no way," the system finally responded, seemingly provoked by his words. Yichuan felt his inquiry was in vain and chose not to press further. Meanwhile, Blueberry Jam and Lu Yue gathered some lychee mushrooms, intending to prepare a soup that evening, believing it would be exceptionally delicious when combined with the meat of the rampant celestial phenomenon. Fortunately, Liang Hongying awoke from her stupor by evening and partook in the sumptuous soup made from SS-level elephant meat and lychee mushrooms, savoring a delightful feast. Late at night, before retiring, Yichuan glanced at the messages in the public chat room. "Have you received the news? The Sea Raiders seem to be gathering in force, but their intentions remain unclear. It appears one of their commanders has lost his son, and they are likely seeking revenge, even mobilizing their most formidable sea beast. Seriously? Where is the island lord they are after? Should we join the fray? Are you trying to get yourself killed? There's no fun to be had in this." Observing these messages, Yichuan furrowed his brow. If they spoke of a commander mourning a lost son, it must refer to Wang Sanrui's father, Wang Zhongyang. Logically, Wang Sanrui wouldn't have had the opportunity to inform his father of his killer before his demise. However, given the circumstances, Yichuan chose not to dwell on it further. When faced with challenges, one must simply stand firm and persist. Those individuals are akin to marauders of the sea. Should they dare to approach, one might as well retaliate and allow them to experience the taste of plunder themselves. Yet, one cannot help but wonder about the caliber of the sea beasts they possess, perhaps of the SS or even SS level, which would be manageable. However, should they possess SSS level creatures, the situation could become quite dire. Overthinking only breeds unnecessary distress. Ultimately, Yichuan decided to close the public chat room and retire for the night. The crowing of roosters had not disturbed Yichuan from his slumber for quite some time. Upon realizing it was only a little past 4 in the morning, he immediately activated his double amplification and drifted back into a deep sleep. Having consumed a fair amount of alcohol the previous night, he did not awaken until after 8 o'clock, indulging in a refreshing stretch. Gazing at the sun rising high in the sky, he shook his head slightly and declared, "Sign in. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have gained 2,000 evolution points and an evolution value package." The system's voice chimed in. With the double amplification, all rewards were doubled. This was quite satisfactory, as the need for evolution points was growing. Acquiring 24,000 points at once was indeed commendable. After enjoying the breakfast prepared for him by Saturday, Yichuan finally departed from the villa. Observing the lush greenery in the distance, he nodded in approval. The forest now spanned an impressive 6,000 square meters, appearing much more vibrant. The small hill had also gained an additional 20 to 30 meters in height, adorned with extensive greenery. Though its summit remained bare, likely a concession made by the system for heavy artillery and similar weaponry. Island upgrade complete. Congratulations, host. Your island has reached level 18. You have received an upgrade package. Would you like to open it? The system's voice suddenly resonated. Yichuan smiled and replied, open it. Chapter 369, Island Stabilization Device. Opening. Congratulations, host. You have received 2,000 evolution points, absolute defense 5, 1 lucky blind box, 1 island stabilization device, 1 evolution value package, and 1 basic materials package. The system's voice followed suit. Under the double amplification, all rewards were indeed doubled. What exactly is this island stabilization device? Yichuan inquired with curiosity, eyeing the reward. The island stabilization device ensures that regardless of the turtle's actions, the island remains perfectly stable. The system promptly responded. Wonderful. Yichuan exclaimed with delight. It seemed that his thoughts had manifested just as he pondered the turtle's increasing strength, which might render it incapable of engaging in battle. Now, with the island stabilization device, the turtle could indeed unleash its full potential. Moreover, possessing 2 such devices meant the turtle could act twice. How exhilarating. Additionally, the reappearance of the lucky blind box brought Yichuan further joy. Yichuan, without hesitation, exclaimed, open the blind box. Blind box opening. Congratulations, host. You have obtained the manufacturing blueprint for an SS-level seawater purifier. Congratulations, host. You have acquired 5 exclusive nutrient solutions for special tree species. To his astonishment, an SS-level seawater purifier had emerged. Did this mean he would soon be able to drink SS-level freshwater? Yichuan's expression shifted, but he promptly inquired, system. Now that I possess 2 SS-level seawater purifiers, does that imply they can be upgraded immediately? Upgrading is not possible. You can only increase the purification capacity. The system replied once more. Yichuan slightly pursed his lips. Previously, the seawater purifiers had been upgraded step by step, with the S-level purifier having evolved from an A-level one through the use of an upgrade card. To his surprise, the SS level could only be manufactured, which, in a way, simplified the process. Yichuan immediately examined the SS-level seawater purifier. Materials required for the manufacturing of the S-level seawater purifier: 1,000 fabric pieces for 100 metal sheets, and 100 plastic pieces. Note: the S-level seawater purifier can be synthesized. Each unit can purify 200 milliliters of seawater into 10 milliliters of S-level freshwater per hour. With a maximum capacity of 2,000 milliliters, synthesis doubles the output. SS-level freshwater is exclusive drinking water for the viewer, capable of enhancing the viewer's strength. Yichuan couldn't help but nod slightly, promptly manufacturing the SS-level seawater purifier. After adding 4,000 milliliters of seawater, he informed everyone about this development. In an instant, the crowd was filled with emotion. Indeed, the stronger one became, the more one could continue to grow stronger. Just like the SS-level freshwater. Though it was right before them, they were unable to partake. It seemed the only path forward was to diligently cultivate, striving to enter the realm of the viewer as soon as possible. System: given the current purification rate, I can consume 480 milliliters of SS-level freshwater daily. Does that mean the oceanic creature's inner elixirs I previously obtained are now rendered useless? Yichuan suddenly pondered. The S-level inner elixirs of oceanic creatures and S-level freshwater are no longer beneficial to the host. The system succinctly responded. Indeed, although he had grown more powerful, the number of effective items had diminished, which was somewhat disheartening. Gazing at the 3 S-level oceanic creature inner elixirs in his hand, Yichuan directly offered them to Blueberry Jam, Lu Yiwei, and Lu Shuai. These are the inner elixirs of S-level oceanic creatures, each equivalent to 20 L of S-level freshwater. Consume them quickly and strive to elevate yourselves. Brother Yu, please train these 3 in combat during your free time, ensuring they surpass others. This way, I believe I can truly liberate myself. Absolutely. Zhao Feiyu and the others nodded in agreement without hesitation. They said no more and promptly returned to their rooms to consume the inner elixirs. Yichuan then turned his gaze toward the forest, smiling as he remarked, I believe we can now venture into the woods to see what formidable creatures may have appeared within. According to the pattern, we should now be facing an SS-level terrestrial creature, right? Liang Hongying inquired. Indeed, replied the little flying dragon, nodding. However, the last time we encountered an S-level human-faced spider in the woods, we subsequently faced an S-level dark knight. thus introducing a degree of uncertainty this time as well. We shall discover the truth upon entering, Zhao Feiyu declared decisively. Yes, yes, big brother. The little flying dragon nodded repeatedly, grinning at Yichuan. At Yichuan's command, the four of them ventured deep into the woods together. The forest was enveloped in an eerie silence, as if no living beings existed within, instilling an indescribable sense of oppression among the four. After advancing over 200 meters, they caught a whiff of a peculiar odor, prompting them to hasten towards its source. However, upon witnessing the scene before them, they could not help but gasp in astonishment. Before them lay a colossal egg, now split in two, and a creature over 2 meters tall, covered in black fur, was panting heavily, seemingly having emerged from this gigantic egg. The creature sensed their presence, slowly rising to its feet and turning to glare coldly at the four, leaving them in utter disbelief. A Bup's giant ape? This being bore an uncanny resemblance to the Bup's giant ape, the only distinction being its completely black fur, which exuded an even more sinister aura, as if it had been bred through the slaughter of countless beings. Could this creature truly be Old Bu? The little flying dragon remarked, astonished. After all, they had yet to spot the original Bup's giant ape today, yet a mutated version appeared here. Who could believe there was no connection between them? Are you Old Bu? Yichuan echoed this sentiment, unable to suppress his curiosity. Roar! The Bup's giant ape sprang to its feet, crimson eyes fixed on Yichuan and the others, bellowing fiercely while pounding its chest, seemingly attempting to intimidate them. System, is this truly the Bup's giant ape? Yichuan questioned, uncertainty lacing his voice. Blackened version of the Bup's giant ape, SS-level terrestrial creature, temperamental and immensely powerful, skill, ape roar. The system promptly responded. Yichuan was taken aback. It indeed was the Bup's giant ape. He immediately retrieved a gourd containing 1 liter of 100-flower wine, waved it at the Bup's giant ape, and tossed it over. The Bup's giant ape caught it effortlessly, casting a curious glance. Yichuan took out another gourd, uncapped it, took a sip, and waved it at the Bup's giant ape again. Mimicking Yichuan, the Bup's giant ape twisted the cap off, intending to take a drink. But the taste caused its expression to change dramatically. With a resounding crunch, it crushed the gourd and, once more, pounded its chest in anger, charging towards Yichuan. Let us engage in battle. Zhao Feiyu slightly shook his head as the three donned their battle armor, bracing themselves to confront the Bup's giant ape. Chapter 370, Unyielding? I shall make you submit. After Liang Hongying donned the flame battle armor, her combat power surged to double its previous level. Only 3 individuals joined forces, yet they were immediately sent flying in the first round. This SS-level terrestrial creature had already been capable of contending with Yichuan's absolute gravity at A level, not to mention its current state. However, in the moment they were propelled away, they swiftly regrouped, surrounding the Bu clan's giant ape in a pincer formation, and then launched their assault. Yichuan observed from the sidelines, suddenly recalling that the Bu clan's giant ape had consumed a significant amount yesterday, and rather than heading to the warehouse, it returned directly to the forest. Yet, since reaching level 13 on the island, the giant ape had not participated in the forest's evolution, bypassing 5 levels to ascend to level 18. To the forest, the Bu clan's giant ape had become an anomaly. Therefore, it was not merely eliminated through evolution but had instead mutated. It remained uncertain whether this mutated giant ape could still be subdued. Having followed him for so long, Yichuan was reluctant to destroy the creature. If it could be tamed, that would be preferable. The battle among the 3 and the ape was exceptionally fierce, with dozens of towering trees already shattered. The little dragon, growing impatient, unleashed its longsword, striking fiercely at the giant ape's chest. Yet, the blade merely produced a piercing metallic clang upon contact, inflicting no harm whatsoever. Goodness, so resilient. The little dragon exclaimed in disbelief. Yichuan frowned. With its ascension to SS level, the giant ape's defenses had evidently increased more than tenfold. You go. Yichuan called out. Zhao Feiyu understood the cue, and his laser sword was instantaneously unleashed, targeting the giant ape's right arm. Despite employing only 70% of his strength, which was capable of severing a square meter of steel, it left only a faint scar on the ape's right arm. Thus, it could be inferred that even at full strength, inflicting significant damage on the giant ape would be nearly impossible. Now, after the two had created an opportunity for Liang Hongying, she shouted, her flaming long sword raised high, descending forcefully towards the giant ape's head. Unlike her companions, Liang Hongying unleashed her full strength, intending to execute the giant ape on the spot. The Bu clan's giant ape, having withstood the little dragon's strike, recognized the terrifying power contained in the flaming longsword. Rather than risking a direct clash with its head, it raised both arms, allowing the sword to strike against its forearm. The sheer force tore through its limb, and the additional fiery effect rendered it agonizingly painful. In the next moment, the giant ape seemed to go berserk, pounding its chest and roaring in fury, charging recklessly at the three. Once again, the battle resumed with fervor. Each one, watching the fray, couldn't help but feel a twinge of concern. While the trio could contend with S-level creatures, facing an SS-level being was still a daunting task. Even with Liang Hongying's inclusion, their efforts felt overly strained, and continuing the fight could very well lead to mutual destruction. It was evident that the three could not overpower the Bu clan's giant ape with absolute certainty. The notion of retreating into the shadows, merely to observe their battle, appears rather naive. Step aside, I shall take the lead. With a shake of his head, Yichuan commanded in a low voice. Upon hearing this, the trio promptly withdrew to the side. However, Yichuan suddenly vanished, only to reappear with a thunderous punch that struck the Bu clan giant ape, propelling it backwards by 5 or 6 meters. The Bu clan giant ape, having just engaged in combat with the three, had never faced such humiliation before. Being forced to retreat by a single individual was an affront to its pride. Gritting its teeth in anger, the giant ape charged once more at Yichuan. After enhancing his speed by 100, Yichuan moved at nearly the speed of sound. The giant ape could hardly perceive his approach, and as soon as the initial attack concluded, Yichuan had already positioned himself elsewhere to continue his assault. After enduring a series of blows, the Bu clan giant ape failed to locate Yichuan's whereabouts, which only fueled its rage further. Yet, this anger proved futile, as it could not track Yichuan's movements. Are you conceding? Yichuan coldly inquired after delivering another punch to the creature's chin. With its eyes reddened from fury, the Bu clan giant ape inhaled deeply and unleashed a thunderous roar, the terrifying sound waves startling even Yichuan. Ape roar technique. Instantly, Yichuan employed the reverse flow technique along with air blast to mitigate much of the attack's impact, yet the force still pushed him back several steps, creating a wide gap of over a meter in width and nearly 100 meters in length behind him. Such is the power of an SS-level creature's skill. It's formidable, exclaimed the little flying dragon, realizing that had the roar been directed at them, they might have found it exceedingly difficult to withstand. Most S-level creatures possess skills, let alone an SS-level one, Zhao Feiyu remarked, noting the technique resembled a shockwave, concentrating sound waves into a point and unleashing them in a linear explosion, truly terrifying. But my brother endured it, and he did not evade, Liang Hongying stated solemnly. Even the Bu clan giant ape was taken aback. Its mighty ape roar had failed to inflict any harm on this human, a notion that seemed impossible. Are you conceding? Yichuan reiterated. This was akin to pouring salt into the wound, igniting a sense of indignation within the Bu clan giant ape, which charged forward once more with a mighty roar. Yichuan shook his head slightly and immediately enacted absolute gravity. Combining half of the power of the sea turtle with his own strength, he unleashed over 7,000 tons of gravitational force toward the approaching giant ape. Despite being an SS-level terrestrial creature, the Bu clan giant ape could not muster the strength to counter such overwhelming force and was sent flying over 10 meters away, crashing to the ground and creating a significant crater upon impact. The Busi giant ape felt a dizzying sensation, and the indescribable force between its front and rear was excruciating. After much effort, it finally managed to crawl out of the pit. Gazing at the approaching Yichuan, its face still bore the marks of resentment, undiminished. Unyielding, Yichuan glanced at it with mild interest and remarked, "This entire island is my domain. You were once my subordinate, and now you dare defy my authority? I shall ensure you submit." With that, Yichuan charged once more. Chapter 371. Subduing the giant ape. The sea marauders arrived. The Busi giant ape, already dazed from the earlier impact, now faced Yichuan's relentless assault. Unfortunately, it could withstand the onslaught for less than 3 minutes before collapsing to its knees. Its originally reddened eyes regained clarity, and the pitch black fur showed signs of change. Is it giving in? The little dragon asked with delight. It seems not much different from last time. Zhao Feiyu nodded in agreement, recognizing that subduing an SS-level terrestrial creature would undoubtedly bolster their combat strength significantly. As Yichuan prepared to strike again, the Busi giant ape suddenly extended a hand. Yichuan's expression shifted. Mirroring the previous encounter, he traced a line across its palm. The giant ape slowly rose. Its hostility completely vanished despite its injuries, though it still appeared quite fearsome. Is this it for subjugation? The little dragon inquired, grinning. Perhaps. Yichuan replied uncertainly, as the system had yet to respond. Congratulations, host, for subduing an SS-level terrestrial creature. Reward, lucky gift pack. Would you like to open it? Just as he pondered, the system's reward arrived. Open. Yichuan exclaimed immediately. He had been somewhat apprehensive since he had received a gift pack after defeating the rampaging celestial phenomenon, and now, facing another SS-level terrestrial creature. He feared the system might not reward him again. Perhaps his lack of complaints had improved the system's mood? Successfully opened. Congratulations, host, for receiving 200 kilograms of fertile black soil, 10 units of nutrient solution, 1 inner core of an SS-level marine creature, 1 experience pack, and 1 resource pack. However, the quantity of rewards was halved compared to the last time, and he received no absolute defense or miraculous pills. Nonetheless, with the doubled enhancement, it was still acceptable. Furthermore, the crux of the matter lay in the mutated Busi giant ape. An SS-level terrestrial creature undoubtedly boasted immense combat power. Would it not allow him to fight freely in the future? Yet, before he could relish the moment, the system's voice echoed. Warning, the mutated version of the Busi giant ape cannot leave Turtle Island and can only battle within its confines. What? Yichuan was taken aback. He had not anticipated that such power would be confined to the island. The poor Busi giant ape surely yearned to showcase its might beyond these shores. However, it can still be considered acceptable, as an SS-level terrestrial creature guards the island, providing a measure of protection for Turtle Island and all of its inhabitants. Leaving the bushy giant ape in the woods, the 4 of them wandered about. Aside from the bushy giant ape, they also encountered several D and C-level small creatures. Yet, under the looming presence of the bushy giant ape, these creatures trembled in fear, posing no threat, and thus they chose not to eliminate them, allowing them to be. However, Yichuan suddenly felt a sense of anticipation. With the emergence of the SS-level creature, it was evident that the forest also hosted these lower-tier creatures. As the island continued its progression, apart from the singular most formidable creature, there might also be a level or even S-level beings, potentially forming a terrestrial biological legion. When that time comes, the island would undoubtedly become an impregnable fortress. Even if everyone were engaged in battles outside, leaving the island's defenses seemingly vulnerable, it would surely withstand any assault. The thought alone was exhilarating. Emerging from the woods, it was already nearing noon, and Xiangwu had begun preparations for lunch. Yichuan glanced at the map. They were still over 10,000 nautical miles away from the Forbidden Sea. After the sea turtle reached level 18, its speed had increased to 75 nautical miles per hour, and if all went smoothly, it would likely take about 7 days to reach their destination. Of course, one could only hope that everything would proceed without a hitch. After lunch, the group began to rest their eyes. Yichuan, for the first time in a long while, felt an overwhelming sense of comfort as he reclined on a beach chair, facing the ocean, with coconut juice by his side. Listening to the gentle lapping of the waves, he found himself drifting into slumber. When he finally opened his eyes, it was already evening, and he was jolted awake by Blueberry Jam's voice, which startled him. Unbeknownst to him, he had slept through the entire afternoon, and the depth of his slumber was truly astonishing. If someone had intended him harm at that moment, would he not have been utterly defenseless? System, what is the situation? Has my sensitivity vanished while I slept? Yichuan inquired with a serious tone. The system remained silent. If this happens again, I shall no longer indulge you. He threatened the system before returning to join Blueberry Jam for dinner. The others paid little heed to the incident. Merely assuming Yichuan sought solitude, he chose not to discuss the matter, quickly reintegrating into the camaraderie of the group as they indulged in drinks and songs until past 10 in the evening, when they began to prepare for bed. However, at that very moment, the super radar downstairs suddenly blared an alarm. The entire group rushed downstairs, only to see several hundred bombers and fighter jets encroaching within 1,000 nautical miles, their target being Turtle Island. Strange, why would so many aircraft suddenly appear targeting us? Lu Yue questioned, perplexed. Sea Raiders. Liang Hongying replied solemnly. I saw in the public chat room that the Sea Raiders are gathering to exact revenge for a commander's son. It must be the father of Wang Sanrui. I had anticipated that they would pursue us into the Forbidden Sea, yet I am surprised that they have commenced their assault so soon. Yichuan remarked with a smile. It appears they believe they cannot catch up with us in the immediate future, hence their declaration of war in this manner. Shall we retaliate? No. Xiao Feilong countered. We shall endure their attacks. Once they draw nearer, we can strike back, and perhaps seize their spoils once more. Yichuan shook his head, promptly commanding the sea turtle to reduce its speed by half, patiently awaiting this wave of attacks. Blueberry Jam, with a twinkle in her eye, spontaneously initiated a live stream. As viewers flocked into the room, she sweetly announced, Dear ones, Today you are in for a treat. Shortly, we will be under assault from hundreds of fighter jets and bombers. I shall broadcast this live, so you can witness a stunning display of fireworks. Jam. Isn't it late for an attack? Aren't you afraid? Another viewer chimed in. You seem even more beautiful lately. Your skin looks radiant. What skincare products are you using? I was just about to sleep when my brother called to say the goddess was live. I almost missed it. The number of viewers in the live stream quickly surged to several 100,000, with the chat filled with excitement and small gifs flashing across the screen. Chapter 372, Withstanding Bombardment, Encountering a Mermaid. Blueberry Jam engaged enthusiastically with her audience, occasionally bursting into peals of laughter. This left many wondering, was she truly unafraid of the impending aerial assault? With hundreds of bombers poised to strike simultaneously, the devastation could easily level a small island. Despite numerous concerned inquiries from her viewers, Blueberry Jam playfully withheld her answer, creating an air of suspense. Minutes later, even those in the live chat could hear the thunderous roar of the aircraft. Blueberry Jam quickly found a spot, reclining and directing the camera towards the sky. Under the gaze of all, the leading fighter jets simultaneously unleashed hundreds of missiles towards Turtle Island. Miraculously, the projectiles detonated just 100 meters from the island, illuminating the sky with a breathtaking display of fireworks. Though deafening, it was a sight to behold. In the fleeting moment when the absolute defense evaporated, Yichuan had already deployed another layer of protection. Once the fighter jets completed their assault, they began their return flight. Next, nearly 300 bombers approached, releasing a torrential downpour of bombs, yet all were effectively intercepted by the absolute defense. As the bombers turned back, Yichuan had utilized a total of 3 absolute defenses. During this period, he had amassed a considerable reservoir of absolute defenses. Deploying 3 at once was merely a trifling matter. The viewers in the live stream were utterly astonished. My heavens, it felt as if countless bombs were exploding around me. I nearly lost control of myself. It was no wonder the goddess exhibited no fear. She was shielded by such an extraordinary protective barrier. Goddess, what manner of protective shield is this? How is it so formidable that even a barrage of nearly 100 missiles fails to shatter it? Meanwhile, the gifts have been incessantly flooding the screen. A veritable deluge of rockets and carnivals, nearly obscuring the entirety of Blueberry Jam. By the time she concluded her broadcast, she had amassed a staggering 70 to 80 million in a mere half hour. Wang Zhongyang, observing the calmness in our vicinity, could only wonder at the sentiments it might evoke. As the bombers receded into the distance, Liang Hongying remarked softly, they must already have Blueberry Jam's fans who, having witnessed the livestream, would be aware of the outcome. Xiao Feilong, with a grave demeanor, asserted, let us see if they dare to return. Yichuan, with a smile, responded, should they choose to come. It would indicate a lack of respect for the protective shield. If they do not dare, then we shall take the initiative. These maritime marauders are indeed a lingering threat. If we do not eliminate them, they may jeopardize our grand designs in the future. However, since all is tranquil for now, let us retire for the night. With Yichuan's words, everyone dispersed to rest. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, aboard the flagship of the aircraft carrier group, Wang Zhongyang remained inscrutable as he listened to his team's reports. He had already witnessed the unfolding events on Turtle Island through the live stream of a nearby associate. Brother, do you see? The commander murmured. Wang Zhongyang sneered, I truly did not anticipate this outcome. A mobile sea island, along with a social media sensation that everyone covets. I wonder what manner of being resides on that island. The one who took my son. What do you mean? The commander inquired softly. For now, we shall refrain from attack. We will pursue and encircle this island, Wang Zhongyang coldly declared. Eliminate the island's master and capture Blueberry Jam, claiming the island for ourselves. Understood, the commander responded, his expression shifting as he grasped Wang Zhongyang's intent. Host has not yet checked in. Would you like to sign in? The following morning, the system's voice echoed. Sign in, Yichuan replied, still in bed. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host, you have received 2,000 evolution points, absolute defense 2, and 1 evolution value gift pack. The system's voice followed. Unfortunately, the double amplification had vanished. Nonetheless, the system had provided 2 items, marking a progression beyond previous gains. The turtle continued its journey at a speed of 40 nautical miles per hour. On this Saturday, preparations for breakfast were underway, while everyone engaged in their respective routines. Yichuan took the opportunity to cycle around Turtle Island. Presently, Turtle Island spans an area of 18,000 square meters, a considerable size, boasting all the necessary amenities. Effectively a miniature ecosystem. It remains to be seen how large and powerful it will grow in the future. The day swiftly drew to a close. and everyone enjoyed a pleasant and fulfilling day. On a Saturday evening, a bonfire blazed brightly, surrounded by a gathering of people who reveled in the melodies of blueberry jam and the graceful dance of willow leaves, creating an atmosphere of warmth and joy. However, as the night deepened, an ethereal song wafted through the air, leaving everyone puzzled. With an impenetrable defense in place, no one could enter Turtle Island. Thus, the haunting melody must have originated from beyond its shores. Yet, the super radar had not sounded any alarms, indicating no ships or war vessels were approaching. What then could this mysterious song signify? A midnight serenade surely heralded ill intent. With a dismissive snort, the little dragon resolved to investigate the source of the sound. Immediately, the group followed the enchanting melody. They soon encountered a stunning beauty with long hair, her bare upper body gliding gracefully through the waters of Turtle Island, the song emanating from her lips. This revelation stirred a reaction in the little dragon, a foreign beauty, indeed. You only see her beauty and fail to sense the peculiarity? Liang Hongying remarked, exasperated at the little dragon's obliviousness. Are all men merely driven by base instincts? One must not generalize. Yi Chuan interjected. What I mean is, what foreign maiden would venture to our island at such an hour to sing, and her speed matches that of a turtle? Liang Hongying felt a moment of awkwardness and quickly clarified, System, what is this creature? The system responded promptly, a mermaid, a spirit of the night. A monster in the eyes of humans, an SS-class communal being, known for its blood-sucking abilities, skill, siren song. Mermaid? Yi Chuan questioned, perplexed. Wasn't there a race of merfolk before? How can there now be communal mermaids? Aren't they a single species? Indeed, while mermaids are communal, they are predominantly female. With only a few males existing, classified as marine creatures, the system explained. Stop speculating. This is indeed a mermaid, Yi Chuan stated, unable to contain his exasperation as the others continued their conjectures. Chapter 373, Fierce Battle with the Mermaids and Their Hidden Agenda. Mermaids. The revelation stunned the group into silence. Precisely, they are not the same as the previous merfolk, Yi Chuan confirmed. They deliberately produce enchanting sounds to lure humans from the shore or vessels into the water, only to drain their blood. Goodness, how ruthless! The little dragon exclaimed in astonishment. So, you might as well seek your mermaid sister now, Liang Hongying teased, gesturing towards him. Hee, I was merely appreciating them as art. Why take it so seriously? The little dragon chuckled. Be advised, this is not a solitary mermaid, but a congregation, forming an SS-class marine organism, Yi Chuan reiterated. At those words, the little dragon's smile faded immediately. Concurrently, dozens of beautiful mermaids emerged from the sea, their harmonious voices weaving a spell of enchantment. Even Lu Shuai, whose combat prowess was somewhat lacking, began to wear a dazed expression, slowly making his way toward the shore. Is there truly such an overwhelming allure? Exclaimed the blueberry jam, astonished. Why can't we be tempted? The notion of women tempting women. Wouldn't that lead to a romantic entanglement? Xiao Feilong chuckled, but after uttering those words, his body involuntarily swayed slightly, and he vigorously shook his head. How vexing. The melody grew increasingly loud. I nearly succumbed to its enchantment just moments ago. Zhao Feiyu swiftly pulled Lu Shuai back. Meanwhile, Yi Chuan employed the technique of shared perception, observing that the dolphin was currently situated directly beneath Turtle Island, which was encircled by a multitude of massive fish tails. There were no fewer than 100 mermaids, each possessing strength at either the A or S rank, thereby forming this SS-level assembly of marine creatures. Without hesitation, Yi Chuan commanded the dolphin to unleash a sonic assault. In an instant, the dolphin surged forth, and the terrifying sound waves immediately struck the mermaids, shattering their harmonious song and eliciting anguished cries from them. The dolphin then raced toward Turtle Island, fortunate to have a master-servant bond with Yi Chuan, which granted it the ability to breach the island's defenses unimpeded. A sonic wave attack revealed the true nature of these once enchanting mermaids, transforming their appearance to a faint blue hue, as if cloaked in a delicate layer of azure armor. With grotesque features and gaping maws, they howled toward Turtle Island, instilling dread. Damn it! These so-called mermaids are nothing but monstrous creatures. Xiao Feilong nearly soiled himself. Brother, I strongly recommend we eliminate them all. They are utterly repulsive. After the meal, the activity turned to slaying mermaids. Yi Chuan shrugged, readying the forbidden spear. Xiao Feilong laughed heartily as the four of them exited the protective barrier. Hundreds of mermaids had gathered, but upon revealing their true forms, they should more aptly be called ugly fish women, especially with their toothy snarls, which made them appear even more hideous than the legendary beasts of the steppes. A horde of abominations, come forth, Xiao Feilong bellowed, donning his battle armor and brandishing his sword as he charged into the throng of mermaids, commencing a brutal slaughter. Yet, there were simply too many. After dispatching only a few, he found himself overwhelmed by the sheer number of mermaids. Although his armor shielded him from their assaults, being encumbered by several of them rendered him incapable of fighting back. Without hesitation, the other three joined the fray, swiftly extricating Xiao Feilong from the clutches of the mermaids. He sprang back to his feet, spinning and dispatching 6 of them in rapid succession. The mermaids' claws elongated, particularly those of the S-rank mermaids, whose defenses appeared significantly enhanced, allowing them to thrive in the water as they relentlessly attacked the quartet. The 3 were quickly embroiled in a fierce battle, with only Yichuan's forbidden spear unleashing devastating power, piercing through the mermaids surrounding them one by one. After all, it is only when all mermaids unite that they can be considered an SS-level marine creature. Individually, they are merely a collection of A and S-level beings. Currently, Yichuan handles them with the ease of slicing vegetables. Suddenly, a massive water sphere surged forth, signaling the entrance of a sea turtle into the fray. This single water projectile swiftly claimed the lives of over 10 mermaids, scattering those who had gathered together. Wow! The young dragon exclaimed, bursting into laughter, utterly astonished by the formidable power of the sea turtle, which seemed to pose no challenge against SS-level creatures. The dolphin, having leapt from Turtle Island, observed the clustered mermaids and unleashed a sonic wave attack. This assault appeared to inflict severe damage upon the mermaids, many of which instinctively covered their ears in agony. This provided the young dragon and his companions with an opportunity to strike, and in the blink of an eye, over 20 more mermaids lost their precious lives. In mere minutes, the once numerous mermaids dwindled to just over 20. At that moment, a profoundly oppressive voice resonated from the depths of the ocean. Upon hearing this sound, the remaining mermaids hastily retreated to deeper waters, vanishing without a trace. What could have summoned them? Liang Hongying pondered aloud. These are all A and S-level marine creatures. Thus whatever summoned them must surely be an SS-level being, Zhao Feiyu analyzed gravely. It seems there is indeed an SS-level creature lurking in the shadows, observing us. After the mermaids departed, the dolphin continued to follow closely, now having ventured over 100 nautical miles into a depth of over 3,000 meters. Upon the dolphin's warning, Yichuan immediately employed the technique of shared vision. Before him stood a male mermaid, towering over 10 meters with 8 arms, possessing a fearsome and grotesque visage. It quickly spotted the dolphin and surged after it. The dolphin turned to flee, simultaneously executing a sonic attack. However, this sonic assault had no effect on the 8-armed mermaid, which relentlessly pursued the dolphin, outpacing it significantly. There is another male mermaid below. It is likely an SS-level marine creature, Yichuan declared, plunging swiftly towards the direction of the dolphin. 10 minutes later, just as the 8-armed mermaid was about to seize the dolphin, Yichuan finally arrived, his forbidden lance pointing fiercely ahead. Instantly, a powerful gust of energy surged towards the 8-armed mermaid. The mermaid brandished a large blade, cleaving through the energy with fierce determination, rendering it null. Chapter 374, a weapon crafted by the dwarven race. Yichuan paused in astonishment at this sight. This creature is indeed impressive. It wields a weapon. He couldn't help but give a thumbs up to the 8-armed mermaid before launching himself into battle against it. Even submerged in water, Yichuan's speed reached its zenith, seemingly unaffected by the aqueous resistance. However, the 8-armed mermaid, with her 8 appendages, deftly grasped the long spear to counter Yichuan's thrusts, momentarily surpassing his velocity. Meanwhile, a dolphin had arrived nearby, silently poised to strike when the moment was ripe. Fortunately, the 20 or so mermaids did not pursue, or the dolphin might have had to make a hasty retreat. After exchanging numerous blows, Yichuan aimed his spear at the mermaid's throat, only for her to seize the spear's tip with 4 of her hands, while another hand advanced to strike him. Gripping the forbidden spear with his left hand, Yichuan evaded by sidestepping, brandishing a long knife that he wielded with fierce intent. The mermaid's expression shifted dramatically. She had not anticipated that Yichuan possessed another weapon, and the surprise was overwhelming. Before she could retract the hand gripping the knife, it was severed by Yichuan's blade. The mermaid shuddered, searing pain coursing through her as blood gushed forth. Despite the agony, she attempted to retrieve the large knife, only to have Yichuan dispatch it into his system's inventory before delivering a powerful kick that sent her sprawling several meters away. Enraged, the mermaid twisted, her colossal fishtail arcing menacingly toward Yichuan. Unfazed, Yichuan unleashed absolute gravity, a force exceeding 7,000 tons colliding with her tail. which nonetheless sent him staggering back several meters, his body racked with intense pain as if he had endured the blows of 5 or 6 assailants. The tail was lined with countless minute barbs that injected neurotoxic substances directly into Yichuan. A cold smirk graced the mermaid's face, having fallen victim to her venom. Even an SS-class creature would lament its fate, let alone a mere human. Yet, she underestimated Yichuan. The liver of the tiger he had consumed, along with the miraculous pills he had later acquired, were potent antidotes. Although the mermaid's toxin was formidable, for Yichuan, it was merely a trifling nuisance. After a few initial moments of discomfort, its effects dissipated entirely. Believing Yichuan to be mortally afflicted, the mermaid charged at him with a fierce roar, intending to deliver a lethal blow. Crack! As 7 of her arms coalesced into 2 massive hands reaching for him, Yichuan's knife flashed, severing those gigantic limbs in an instant. The once 8-armed mermaid was now bereft of arms, blood gushing from the stumps, an unsettling sight. I neglected to mention, my dear, that I am impervious to poisons. Do you truly believe you can fell me with your feeble toxins? Yichuan disdainfully regarded the mermaid, declaring, "You are still far too inexperienced." Roar. As the conversation unfolded, the 8-armed mermaid let out a piercing scream. For the dolphin had taken advantage of its momentary distraction and thrust its fateful horn forcefully into its side. The 8-armed mermaid spun around, intending to strike the dolphin, only to be struck by a sudden realization. Its arms were already gone. It was a great pity for the 8-armed mermaid, which had relied so heavily on its arms, for it had entirely forgotten that its most formidable weapon was its mighty tail. Alas, it would never wield that tail again. In the very moment it was impaled, it succumbed to unconsciousness. Yichuan showed no mercy, swiftly piercing its throat with a shot, sending it on its final journey. Let us go. As Yichuan watched the 8-armed mermaid sink toward the ocean depths, he grasped the dolphin and swiftly swam back. Congratulations, host. On your first kill of an SS-level marine creature, you are awarded a lucky gift package. Would you like to open it? The system's voice echoed at that moment. Open it. Yichuan replied without hesitation. Opening successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 200 kilograms of fertile black soil, 10 nutrient solutions, 1 SS-level marine creature core, 1 experience value package, 1 resource package, 1 absolute defense, and 1 miraculous pill. The miraculous pill was indeed a delightful surprise. Zhao Feiyu and the others had been waiting in the water for Yichuan, guarding against any potential retaliation from the mermaid. Upon Yichuan's return, they immediately made their way back to Turtle Island. Little Flying Dragon could not help but inquire, "Brother, have you truly slain that male mermaid?" "Indeed," Yichuan replied with a smile, producing the large blade. This caused Yichuan to furrow his brow slightly, for this blade appeared nearly identical to the one he wielded, and the juncture between the blade and the hilt bore a small, yet distinct character for Earth. Had both blades been crafted by the same hand? Yichuan shook his head. It seemed likely that these 2 blades originated from the same clan or lineage, a clan primarily devoted to weapon forging. After all, how could mere nameless soldiers be bestowed with 2 blades? "Brother, is this the weapon of that creature?" Little Flying Dragon asked, astonished. "Precisely," Yichuan affirmed, tossing the weapon to Lu Shuai. "From now on, you shall wield this weapon. It shares the same lineage as my great blade and is exceedingly sharp." The character for Earth? Lu Shuai noticed the inscription, taken aback. Could it have been forged by the dwarves? Dwarves? Yichuan's interest was piqued. "Do you know the origin of this weapon?" "I recognize the character for Earth. The dwarves have a penchant for marking their weapons with it. However, the dwarves, as natives of the ocean realm, are known for their hostility, frequently attacking nearby islands and vessels. How could they have crafted a weapon for that mermaid? Could it be that the 8-armed mermaid seized this weapon from them?" Yichuan speculated. Perhaps the dwarves attempted to ambush the 8-armed mermaid, only to be turned against and slain, resulting in the loss of this blade? "That is indeed a plausible scenario," Lu Shuai nodded. "Weapons forged by the dwarves are typically reserved for their own use. They do not bestow them upon outsiders." "How do you know so much about the dwarves?" Yichuan inquired, bewildered. In the past, the Lu family encountered the dwarves, whose weaponry was not inferior to that of humanity. In some aspects, it even surpassed ours. Lu Shuai explained gravely that out of a dozen warships, only 1 submarine managed to return, resulting in a colossal loss of at least 10 trillion for the Lu family. "System, what exactly are these dwarves?" Yichuan furrowed his brow and inquired of the system. Chapter 375. Encounter with a mining ship. Must capture it as a rogue traversing the oceanic realm. A solitary wanderer belonging to an SS-class race residing on the floating continent of the Forbidden Sea, the system promptly provided an introduction. This left Yichuan somewhat speechless. Setting aside the implications of their rogue nature, it was evident that this group was far from benevolent. Encountering them would likely lead to a fierce battle. Aren't dwarves supposed to be kind? Blueberry Jam asked, puzzled. Fairy tales are deceptive. Haven't you heard a singer proclaim that? Liang Hongying gently tapped Blueberry Jam's forehead. All right. The crisis is averted. Let's head to bed. Sleep, sleep, the group chimed as they dispersed. Yet Yichuan paused, suddenly hearing the system's voice. Side quest detected. What the heck? Yichuan grimaced, astonished that before the first side quest had even been established, another was already queued. He queried, what is the side quest? Side quest. The host must venture to the floating continent and obtain the dwarves' treasured artifact, the Spring of the Firmament. A generous reward awaits upon completion. Do you accept? The system responded. Incredible. Yichuan was at a loss for words. Just when he thought to avoid provoking these beings, the system presented him with such a task. Seemingly a summons to his demise. It was stated to be their cherished treasure. How could he dare to seize it? However, this side quest was likely without a time limit, allowing him to wait until his strength had grown. With this thought, Yichuan promptly declared, I accept. Detection shows the host has accepted the side quest. Please complete it promptly. The system replied immediately. The 2 accepted side quests should, like the previous ones, be completed in any order, with rewards granted accordingly. After all, the merfolk's enemy was an existence beyond Super S-Class, certainly more formidable than the SS-Class dwarves, indicating that the merfolk's quest would indeed require a considerable amount of time to complete. With no further thoughts, Yichuan washed up and returned to bed. Glancing at the public chatroom messages before sleeping, what kind of wealthy benefactor is Blueberry Jam associated with to be so powerful? This is unrelated to us. I must share something peculiar. I am currently on the edge of the Forbidden Sea and have discovered a massive whirlpool capable of devouring everything. What's so strange about that? The Forbidden Sea is many times more perilous than the open sea. As long as we keep our distance from the whirlpool, we should be fine. The issue at hand is that this whirlpool appears to be in constant motion, almost as if it possesses a life of its own. There was a moment when I narrowly avoided a surprise attack, nearly being drawn into its depths. In any case, I have no intention of venturing into the Forbidden Sea. After your warning, I think it best to remain in the open waters. It seems there is no further useful information to be gleaned, and with that thought, Yichuan quickly succumbed to slumber. After a restless night, Yichuan awoke the next day just past 8 o'clock, stretching languidly and gazing at the clear blue sky. After having breakfast, he stepped out of his room. Little Flying Dragon chuckled and shouted, Brother, look! Ahead are several massive mining vessels engaged in resource extraction, merely a few kilometers from Turtle Island. Those fellows have likely trained their weapons on us. If we approach, they may very well launch an assault. Yichuan beamed with delight. Since we have encountered them, it would seem remiss not to indulge in a bit of plunder, wouldn't it? Indeed, when the moment calls for action, we must act. The 2 were in perfect accord, and Turtle Island hastened toward the mining ships. Could it be that this mobile sea island is truly charging toward us? On the mining ship, the captain coldly observed Turtle Island and promptly issued commands to engage in an attack. They brought this upon themselves. With a single command, dozens of heavy cannonballs were fired from the mining vessels toward Turtle Island. In the next moment, the captain's expression turned to one of astonishment. He had not anticipated that the barrage would have no effect on Turtle Island, and while he was momentarily lost in thought, the island had already positioned itself between the mining ships. The mining vessels continued their operations uninterrupted, with resources steadily flowing into their holds. Little Flying Dragon exclaimed in surprise. Though I have seen this on television, I had never witnessed mining up close. I had no idea it was conducted in such a manner. There must be numerous workers underwater. Most of the work is performed by mining robots, Zhao Feiyu explained. Few venture into the deep waters. After all, this is the open sea where anything can happen. Avoiding casualties is paramount. Let us board, Yichuan commanded, and the 3 immediately followed him toward the outermost mining vessel. Dozens of crew members aboard had long been on high alert and swiftly aimed their weapons at Yichuan and his companions. What do you intend to do? We're merely passing through and noticed your mining operation, so we thought we would take a look, Little Flying Dragon replied with a smile. What type of ore are you extracting? That is of no concern to you, the captain retorted mercilessly. I advise you to scram, or you will taste the sting of gunfire. Given your age, your temper is rather volatile, Little Flying Dragon sighed, somewhat helpless. We genuinely do not wish to resort to violence. Open fire. At the sight of Little Flying Dragon's demeanor, the captain could no longer restrain himself and issued the order to fire. In an instant, a barrage of bullets rained down upon the 4. The 3 individuals swiftly assumed their armored forms. Yichuan positioned himself behind them. as bullets incessantly struck the trio's armor, proving to be less effective than mere mud balls. Even when one of them fired a rocket from a launcher, it was effortlessly cleaved in two by the blade of the little flying dragon, reducing it to a pile of scrap metal. "Cease this at once," the captain exclaimed through gritted teeth. The trio donned the most formidable armor from the oceanic realms, and persisting in this futile endeavor would yield no results. The captain coldly inquired, "Who are you, and what do you intend to achieve?" "Did I not just mention it?" "We wish to ascertain the type of ore you are extracting," replied the little flying dragon with a nonchalant shrug. "Simply provide us with an answer. Why must you resist?" "Metallic slime." The captain clenched his fists tightly, then gradually relaxed them as he spoke softly. "This appears to be quite a valuable substance." The little flying dragon's expression shifted, followed by a mischievous grin. "How much do you have in total across 5 mining vessels?" "We would like it all." Chapter 376. The Abduction of Ore. An encounter with the wind god pterosaur. Metallic slime, also known as hydrothermal deposits, is a type of sulfide rich in various metals, formed from the cooling and deposition of high-temperature magma expelled from underwater rifts, containing numerous rare metals of great worth. Upon hearing this final statement, the captain's expression darkened, and he scoffed. "I suspected you had no good intentions. You are indeed here to rob us, you scoundrels." "You cannot blame us," retorted the little flying dragon. "You have this treasure laid out before us, with such vast reserves. It would be unreasonable for us not to take it, wouldn't you agree? You now face 2 choices. Either surrender the ore or your lives." "This mining site belongs to the Een family," the captain replied coldly. "If we simply hand it over, we may as well sign our own death warrants." With that, the captain activated the intercom, declaring, "All crew members on the mining vessels, converge here at once. We are under attack." "You truly are averse to reason," Liang Hongying sighed. As if summoned, hundreds of individuals emerged from the various ships, encircling the 4. A few even brought along B-class ghost hounds, baring their teeth and glaring menacingly at the intruders. "How dare you 4 attempt to rob our mining site? We possess over 100,000 tons of metallic slime. Do you think you can seize it?" "Captain, give the order to eliminate them." The crew glared at the 4 as though they were mere lambs awaiting slaughter. Zhao Feiyu chuckled. "We do not wish to kill anyone. We simply wish to take what is ours. How about this? Allow these pets to attack us first, and let us see if we possess the strength to eliminate you." All at once, the captain issued his final command. In an instant, several B-class ghost hounds and hundreds of crew members charged toward the 4. "Kill them." Having already shown absolute goodwill, and seeing that these individuals chose not to live, each one hesitated no longer. After uttering this command, he directed the next move. The 4 individuals unleashed their fury almost simultaneously, commencing a gruesome slaughter. The formidable creatures, regarded as terrifying by them, fell as easily as vegetables under a knife, all succumbing to their demise in a matter of moments. These were merely ordinary crew members, devoid of any combat prowess, and their firearms became nothing more than ornamental as they were effortlessly hurled away. Within a mere 3 minutes, the dead lay scattered and the wounded moaned in agony, leaving only the captain, rendered as stiff as a statue, standing amidst the chaos. "What now?" inquired the small dragon, a grin adorning his face as he placed a hand upon the captain's shoulder. Bang! The captain slowly turned his head, casting a glance at the small dragon before delivering a punch in retaliation. The small dragon frowned slightly, seizing the captain by his collar and casting him into the ocean hundreds of meters away. "Well, it seems we have thoroughly offended the Een family," Liang Hongying remarked, raising her hands in resignation. "By appropriating this high-tech intelligent battle armor, we have already made ourselves mortal enemies of the Een family," Zhao Feiyu stated solemnly. "Since we are now adversaries, we do not mind deepening our enmity further. The Een fleet is positioned at the periphery of the Forbidden Sea. We may indeed encounter them," Yichuan stated nonchalantly. "As one of the 4 great financial conglomerates of the Jiuzhou, I wonder what their fleet strength is like. It's rather intriguing. However, we should hasten to retrieve our belongings," he continued, descending into the storage compartment below and collecting all the minerals into the system's inventory. The 5 mining vessels had amassed over 100,000 tons. The oceanic world's metallic silt content is exceedingly high. This quantity could potentially fetch over 10 billion. Zhao Feiyu promptly proposed 100 billion for the military to acquire these minerals, as many of the metals held significant value for military applications. Yichuan was more than pleased to entrust Zhao Feiyu with this task, as it was not only convenient, but also served to enhance the military strength, which was paramount. Upon returning to Turtle Island, over an hour had elapsed. Blueberry Jam, filled with anticipation, asked, "Brother, what was that?" "It was merely a mining site. It's all been dealt with," Yichuan replied bluntly. Although seizing minerals was a customary operation in the oceanic realm, one that anyone would undertake, Yichuan wished to prevent Blueberry Jam from inadvertently mentioning it during a live chat. After all, it lacked a certain nobility, did it not? The day quickly drew to a close. As evening approached, the sun dipped below the horizon, and the group awaited dinner while enjoying the splendid view of the sun sinking into the sea. Blueberry Jam eagerly took out her phone to capture the moment. "Why do I see so many birds?" she asked, her brow furrowed in confusion as she zoomed in on the screen. "Seabirds?" Liang Hongying said, her voice tinged with suspicion as her eyes widened in surprise. Indeed, in the distance, a few large birds were approaching, among which 3 small ones led the way. Meanwhile, Yichuan received an alarming notification and immediately declared in a deep voice, "Little flying dragon, quickly activate the heavy artillery. These creatures are here to pursue the 3 little ones." As he spoke, the imposing figures of the colossal birds came into sharp focus before everyone's eyes. "Why do they resemble dinosaurs?" Blueberry Jam queried in astonishment. "Pterosaur," Liu Yue promptly responded. "During the Cretaceous period, they were the largest aerial creatures, possessing formidable combat capabilities. Even a Tyrannosaurus weighing less than 300 pounds could fall prey to them." Yichuan was taken aback, unable to suppress a slight grimace. Where on earth have the 3 little ones wandered off to, that they would provoke such beings? "Come on." As the 3 little ones entered the protective shield, Little Flying Dragon erupted into laughter while maneuvering the heavy artillery. In an instant, a barrage of shells was unleashed, striking the pterosaurs directly. 7 or 8 of these magnificent creatures were sent hurtling away, accompanied by terrifying explosions, yet they landed on the protective shield unscathed and began attacking it instead. The combat prowess of each pterosaur was not to be underestimated. They emitted sonic waves akin to dolphins for offensive measures, capable of breaching the protective shield at close range, rivaling the impact of dozens of missiles launched simultaneously. "How infuriating and chaotic," Little Flying Dragon exclaimed. "Not only can they withstand artillery fire, but they can also breach the shield. Their combat strength is astonishing. Could it be that we are dealing with an SS-level group?" Yichuan murmured softly. Roar. As if sensing a threat, the Bu Clan giant ape suddenly soared into the sky, its fist striking fiercely at one of the pterosaurs. Chapter 377, Contract Quota. Subduing the pterosaur. Observing the sudden appearance of the diminutive figure, the pterosaur dismissed it entirely, its elongated claws swiping at the Bu Clan giant ape. However, the ape grasped the sharp claws with both hands, executing a swift maneuver that sent it spinning in midair for several revolutions before landing on the pterosaur's back. With fists like hammers, it unleashed thousands of tons of force upon the pterosaur. The unfortunate pterosaur had not anticipated such terrifying strength from this small creature, and it was sent crashing down from the sky, utterly disoriented and struggling to rise. Did you see that? Each pterosaur should be classified as S, or perhaps S-level entities, and cannot contend with an SS-level Bu Clan giant ape alone, Yichuan stated solemnly. Thus, there should be no major issues. You 3 shall team up against one, while old Bu and I will handle another. With the roles assigned, Yichuan leapt into the air, his spear striking forcefully at one of the pterosaurs. The pterosaur initially regarded these small beings with disdain, but upon witnessing the fate of its companion, it ceased to underestimate them and unleashed a sonic attack. Yichuan's counter technique and air blast proved immensely effective, neutralizing the sonic assault. Yet, seeing its initial strike fail, the pterosaur swiftly turned and took flight in another direction. Yichuan let out a low growl, directly employing the art of levitation in midair, causing his body to float a meter upward. The short hook on his spear deftly caught the foot of the wind god pterosaur, granting him the leverage he needed. With a powerful yank of the forbidden spear, he surged upward onto the creature's back. The wind god pterosaur, sensing the intrusion, immediately twisted its body to flip downward. As it spun, Yichuan took a few steps forward and leapt, striking the beast's head with his spear, forcing it downwards towards the ground. Meanwhile, Zhao Feiyu and his companions, having fixated on another wind god pterosaur, donned their battle armor and leapt into the sky. Their armor allowed them to ascend to heights of 50 to 60 meters. Concurrently, both Xiao Feilong and Zhao Feiyu grasped one of the pterosaur's feet, prompting the creature to lower its head and unleash a sonic attack against them. "Hongying!" Zhao Feiyu shouted, prompting Liang Hongying to jump into action. As the sonic wave approached, Xiao Feilong slashed his long knife at the creature's abdomen, but its belly was as tough as steel, only severing a few feathers without inflicting any real damage. Zhao Feiyu countered the sonic assault with his laser sword, managing to deflect the attack. However, the loss of support caused him to plummet back to the ground. Liang Hongying leapt high, grabbing Xiao Feilong's hand just as the pterosaur's other claw lunged at him, sending her onto its back. Ultimately, Xiao Feilong could no longer withstand the force of the sharp claw and followed Zhao Feiyu's fate. Come on, Liang Hongying cried, plunging her fiery red blade deep into the wind god pterosaur's back. In an instant, blood sprayed forth, and the creature let out a horrific scream, spinning helplessly in the air. Yet, Liang Hongying held on tightly, refusing to be dislodged despite the creature's frantic movements. As it completed its spin, she suddenly withdrew her long knife and stepped forward, delivering a fierce blow to its neck, severing its head. The wind god pterosaur plummeted to the ground, lifeless. Above in the sky, several other wind god pterosaurs remained. The trio of small ones continued to besiege one, which appeared to be an S-class aerial creature, on par with them. Although the small ones had yet to fully mature, they were more than capable of overcoming it in a 3-on-1 engagement. Observing two of the pterosaurs, nearly unconscious and under control on the ground, Yichuan growled once more, again. With that, he launched into action once more. 10 minutes later, they had successfully slain 3 wind god pterosaurs, injured 3 others, and 2 had fled, marking a resounding victory. The system's voice then announced, "Congratulations, host. For your first kill of an SS-class aerial creature, you are awarded a lucky gift pack. Would you like to open it?" Yichuan paused for a moment, then exclaimed, "Open it." Having successfully activated the system, the host received a bounty of 200 kilograms of fertile black soil, 10 units of medium nutrient solution, and an experience point package, along with 10 slots for S-class biological contracts. It seemed that due to only having defeated 3 creatures, 2 of which had fled, the rewards were halved. However, the S-class biological contract slots were likely akin to those for dolphins, allowing for a master-servant pact. Yet, was the restriction on the S-class too stringent? The thought of simply eliminating these 3 creatures crossed his mind. At that moment, the voice of the little dragon chimed in. No. Rather than consuming them, wouldn't it be better to subdue them? Yichuan immediately interjected with a wave of his hand. What? The statement left everyone momentarily stunned. These creatures might not be easily subdued, right? Whether or not they could be subdued was merely a matter of words, Yichuan replied with a smile, directly allocating the 3 slots to Zhao Feiyu and the others, regardless of whether in the air, sea, or on land. He already possessed creatures of immense potential and thus had no need for these so-called contract slots. Keeping them would be a waste. So he chose to bestow them upon the 3. Brother, this is Liang Hongying's expression shifted dramatically as she gazed incredulously at Yichuan. Yichuan shrugged and nodded with a smile. As you surmise, utilizing these slots, you can establish a master-servant contract with the respective creatures. Of course, you may choose to forego it temporarily and use them later upon discovering other S-class creatures. The wind god pterosaur was indeed a dominion of the skies. Possessing formidable combat prowess and the ability to fly, what could be more fitting than this? The little dragon chuckled and, without further hesitation, entered into the master-servant contract. As a faint glow enveloped the two, the wind god pterosaur's form began to shrink, ultimately transforming into a more diminutive and handsome version measuring just over 2 meters in length. Is this even possible? The little dragon exclaimed with delight. Brother, with such a transformation, it resembles the 3 little ones closely, and it carries an air of confidence. It appeared that Turtle Island was about to gain 3 new members. Yichuan nodded, his smile fading. Zhao Feiyu and Liang Hongying had little to say, each opting to utilize their contracts, resulting in 2 more flashes of light, as the other 2 wind god pterosaurs also morphed into miniatures. How enviable! Gazing at the trio of dashing wind god pterosaurs, Blueberry Jam could barely contain her drool, clasping her hands beneath her chin, her eyes sparkling with desire. When will I have such a stylish pet? Chapter 378. The true combat power of the sea turtle. There will be bread, and there will be pets, Yichuan remarked nonchalantly. But for now, we need to eat. Dinner was ready by Saturday, and in celebration of the trio acquiring their pets, everyone partook in a grand feast. The festivities continued well into the night before they finally retired for the evening. Zhao Feiyu and the others arranged the 3 large creatures into the warehouse, planning to create nests for them the following morning. The night passed without incident, and by dawn the next day, the system's voice awakened Yichuan. Detection indicates that the host has yet to sign in. Would you like to sign in? Sign in. As Yichuan gazed through the window at the trio skillfully navigating the skies atop the wind god pterosaur, he remarked, "Sign in successful. Congratulations, host, you have received 2,000 evolution points and 2 blue steel crystals." The system's voice echoed in his mind. Excellent. That makes 4 blue steel crystals. Once I accumulate 10, I can enhance the Forbidden Lance with them. At this moment, the three had been soaring through the air for nearly half an hour, perfectly harmonized with the wind god pterosaur. The little dragon, brimming with excitement, exclaimed, "Big brother, this is exhilarating. I feel as though I could merge with the wind itself. Honestly, I believe I could defeat any SS-class aerial creature I encounter. Indeed, this represents a significant boost to our combat capabilities." Zhao Feiyu nodded in agreement. "Brother, your assistance has been invaluable. I hardly know how to express my gratitude. We are comrades bonded by battle. There is no need for such formalities." Yichuan waved his hand dismissively, not letting the matter weigh on his mind. In the oceanic realm, relationships were clear-cut, either allies or foes. Enemies were to be vanquished. Friends deserved support. When friends grew stronger, it was akin to enhancing one's own power, making the confrontation with formidable adversaries much more manageable. After breakfast, the trio began preparing nests for the three larger creatures, positioning them adjacent to the smaller ones. Once the larger creatures were tamed, their hostility towards the smaller ones dissipated, and they played together harmoniously. However, in the afternoon, the sea turtle unexpectedly performed a levitation spell, which puzzled everyone and drew their attention to a massive whirlpool on the ocean's surface. This whirlpool, with a diameter of nearly 100 meters and plunging deep into the sea, emitted a deafening roar, as if it could consume everything in its path. I once saw a description of this whirlpool in a public chat room. It was said to be located at the edge of the Forbidden Sea, Yichuan stated gravely. Yet, we are over 3,000 nautical miles from the Forbidden Sea. This shouldn't be considered its periphery, should it? Given the vastness of the oceanic world, perhaps it could be. Zhao Feiyu replied solemnly. However, I must admit, this is the first whirlpool of this nature I have encountered. I suspect that even if the sea turtle were to fall into it, it would be engulfed. But I find it odd. The sea turtle is currently moving at a speed of 40 nautical miles per hour. How is it that after several minutes, the whirlpool remains directly beneath it? The little dragon questioned, puzzled. Is this whirlpool somehow sentient, moving towards us? Zhao Feiyu's expression shifted with concern. Little dragon, fire a ground-to-ground missile at it. Yichuan commanded immediately. Understood. The little dragon nodded and hurried to comply. 3 minutes later, a missile was launched directly into the whirlpool. Within mere seconds, a tremendous explosion erupted from its depths, sending towering waves surging upward. Before the waves could reach the sea turtle, they cascaded back down, and the whirlpool returned to its original state. No reaction? The little dragon stared at the whirlpool, bewildered. However, it appears that this entity is not in contact with the seabed, nor is it linked to anything else. Judging by the distance of the recent missile explosion, it is merely about a kilometer from the ocean's surface. Zhao Feiyu spoke solemnly. I shall descend to investigate. That is far too perilous. Yichuan immediately interjected. At present, we are unaware of what this object is, yet it has been shadowing us. Should the sea turtle lose its ability to float and descend, the consequences could be dire. Zhao Feiyu remarked with gravity. Perhaps we should allow the sea turtle to venture down directly. Yichuan promptly suggested. The sea turtle possesses both temporal defensive capabilities and an island stabilization mechanism, which are fully capable of supporting a confrontation. Given its considerable size and formidable combat strength, it is time to engage. Previously, circumstances did not permit, but now we have the means. We must proceed. With that, Yichuan activated the temporal defense and island stabilization systems. The sea turtle then ascended slowly by a meter before plunging forcefully into the whirlpool. The tremendous absolute gravity erupted, flattening the vortex entirely. The sea turtle swiftly dove into the depths, spinning twice before it finally encountered the source of the disturbance, another yellow sea turtle, nearly identical in size. The whirlpool had formed because this creature had been circling beneath the surface, stirring up the massive vortex. Its persistent gaze upon the sea turtle likely stemmed from perceiving the turtle as a threat to its dominion in these waters, prompting its intent to eliminate it. System. What manner of creature is this? Yichuan inquired. Golden armored Xian turtle, SS-grade marine creature, possessing a strong sense of jealousy, capable of launching water arrows. Skill, death spin. The system promptly replied. To discover it was an SS-grade marine organism left Yichuan enlightened. Indeed, venturing further into the Forbidden Sea revealed an increasing presence of formidable beings. As this transpired, the sea turtle faced the golden armored Xian turtle. The latter, momentarily stunned by the collision, now regarded the sea turtle with a fiery vengeance. It spun its body, conjuring a massive vortex that surged toward the sea turtle. The sea turtle immediately employed the reverse flow technique along with water bullets to counteract the rotational force of the vortex. Subsequently, a colossal claw extended, and struck the golden armored Xian turtle on the head. This action ignited the golden armored Xian turtle's fury, prompting it to open its jaws and fiercely bite at the sea turtle. Unexpectedly, the sea turtle's forelimbs transformed into razor-sharp claws, which seized the Xian turtle's mouth, causing it to emit a pained shriek as it struggled to break free. Yet, the sea turtle's grip was terrifyingly strong, despite the Xian turtle exerting all its might. It could not escape. In a fit of rage, the golden armored Xian turtle began to spin again, intending to wrench the sea turtle's claws apart. However, it underestimated the sea turtle's strength, ultimately resulting in its own head being twisted off, sinking towards the seabed. Is this truly the end? Witnessing this scene, everyone stood in stunned silence. Chapter 379. The anomaly of the Forbidden Sea. SS-level marine creatures can conclude a battle with a mere glance, rendering their opponents unable to even utilize a water arrow. Yichuan was astounded. Such was the prowess of an ultra-SS-level entity. Although not yet fully matured, it could effortlessly contend against SS-level marine beings. Perhaps a significant factor in this was the golden armored Xian turtle's underestimation of its adversary. Yet one could not deny the formidable strength of the sea turtle. Upon resurfacing, Yichuan retrieved the golden armored Xian turtle's body and presented it to Saturday. This turtle was a bountiful treasure, and consuming it would undoubtedly enhance everyone's capabilities. Congratulations, host, for your first successful defeat of an SS-level marine creature. You are awarded a lucky gift pack. Would you like to open it? At that moment, the system chimed in. Open it. Yichuan responded without hesitation. Opening successful. Congratulations, host, for acquiring 400 kilograms of fertile black soil, 20 units of nutrient solution, 1 inner core of an SS-level marine creature, 2 experience packs, 2 resource packs, 4 absolute defenses, and 100 kilograms of turtle feed. Goodness. The rewards are astonishingly similar to those received from defeating an SS-level terrestrial creature. However, the miraculous pill has been replaced with turtle feed, presumably to reward the turtle for its valiant effort in battle. Yichuan promptly approached the turtle's head and offered it 20 kilograms of turtle feed, eliciting a wave of excitement as the turtle turned to Yichuan and opened its mouth. For such a colossal creature, 20 kilograms of feed was merely a snack, yet for the turtle consuming turtle feed for the first time, it was a delightful treat. Brother, there are already so many supply boxes stacked here, at least over 100. Why haven't we opened them yet? At that moment, Lu Yuwei and Blueberry Jam wandered over, their curiosity piqued. I plan to accumulate them before opening, Yichuan replied with a smile. However, this admission left him somewhat embarrassed. It wasn't so much a strategy of accumulation as it was a lapse in memory during the last double reward event. Intending to wait for the next opportunity. How wonderful. We don't even need to gather them ourselves. The 3 little ones, the dolphins, and the turtle can collect so much. You must be the easiest island master. Blueberry Jam clapped her hands in delight. Not quite so easy, Yichuan smirked and shrugged. That said, we have been accumulating an unusual amount of ash on us lately, and the odor is rather unpleasant. Could it be that we are on the brink of entering the Forbidden Sea, and our bodies are undergoing changes? Lu Yuwei inquired, pondering how long such a situation might persist. Yichuan's expression shifted. This had nothing to do with the Forbidden Sea. It was clearly a case of refining the essence and marrow. Consuming 100 liters of S-level liquid would trigger this process, and it was evident they were nearing that threshold. At this moment, Yichuan promptly elucidated the reasons that had been troubling the two of them, leaving Lu Yuwei utterly astounded. However, upon reflection, she realized that goat milk was classified as S-grade, and she consumed it daily, complemented by S-grade freshwater and even S-grade and SS-grade food, which together must have amounted to nearly 100 liters. It is worth noting that S-grade liquids are the aspiration of all island lords. Even a prominent family might produce only 20 to 30 liters in a year. Yet, she had managed to drink 100 liters all by herself within a mere 2 to 3 months. If this were to be revealed, it would surely send shockwaves through the community. Looking at Yichuan, admiration welled up in Lu Yuwei's eyes. It was because of this young man that her fate had undergone a remarkable transformation. She pondered the possibility of not referring to him as brother. But as this thought crossed her mind, she instinctively lowered her head. After all, she was surrounded by the exceptional Blueberry Jam, Liang Hongying, and Lu Yi from that island. She was merely a small, inconspicuous presence amidst them. How could she entertain such notions? All right, let us return. As she was lost in her musings, Yichuan's voice reached her, and she could already smell the enticing aroma of the dishes prepared on Saturday. This time, they would be feasting on the golden armored mystic tortoise, which would likely exacerbate their current state, but would also expedite their transformation. Yes, I wish to undergo a metamorphosis and assist my brother in battle. Blueberry Jam exclaimed cheerfully. Hearing this, Yichuan couldn't help but chuckle and began walking back. One must admit, the flavor of the golden-armored mystic tortoise was indeed exquisite. With a rich gelatinous texture, a testament to Saturday's culinary skills. Everyone agreed that if they attempted to recreate such a dish, they could never achieve the same remarkable taste. She wondered how the relatives of the sea turtles felt about their kind being consumed in such a manner. Upon returning to bed, it was already past 10 o'clock. Yichuan reclined and glanced at the messages in the public chatroom. This time, the novice area chatroom was relatively quiet, while the ocean world chatroom buzzed with activity. What is happening lately? I've noticed many veteran island lords are leaving the Forbidden Sea. Is there some terrifying creature that has emerged? Our leader has received word that an SSS-grade marine creature has come to the Forbidden Sea seeking vengeance. Everyone is afraid of being caught in the crossfire, so they are temporarily vacating. The notion of an SSS-grade marine creature seeking retribution was indeed astonishing. One could only wonder whether it was the marine creature or the island lords who had offended it. This matter does not concern us. When gods clash, mortals suffer. Hence, the farther one can flee, the better. This exchange left Yichuan somewhat bewildered. Just as they were about to enter the Forbidden Sea, encountering such a predicament was clearly complicating matters. His old nemesis, the SSS-grade cursed tentacled octopus, resided within the Forbidden Sea. If that creature were to join the fray, it would surely spell trouble. Before entering the realm of life and death, I hope to possess more hidden cards, Yichuan murmured softly. With one more super shockwave at my disposal, along with the super laser cannon, I currently hold only these two formidable weapons, which seems woefully inadequate. Never mind. I shall not dwell on it. It's time for sleep. Host has not yet checked in. Would you like to sign in? Unbeknownst to him, while dreaming of battling a sinister octopus, Yichuan heard the voice of the system. Sign in, he replied slowly, yawning. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have obtained 2,000 evolution points, an evolution value gift pack, and a super missile set. The system's voice followed. What? Yichuan's expression shifted. Although the super missiles may not be sufficient to vanquish SSS-class marine creatures, they will undoubtedly inflict significant discomfort. This can certainly be considered one of my trump cards. Squeak. Squeak, squeak. Meanwhile, the alarm from the super radar sounded. Chapter 380, a 10-sided ambush, a clash of strength. The group hastily descended the stairs, only to discover that Wang Zhongyang's fleet had already entered within 1,000 nautical miles. Wow, they are pursuing us at an astonishing speed. Lu Shuai exclaimed in surprise. After all, our speed has been halved, Little Flying Dragon remarked, shrugging. If they are this slow in their pursuit, we would truly have nothing to say. However, judging by their current pace, it seems they will require another 7 to 8 hours to catch up with us. Zhao Feiyu calculated, then spoke up. We should have finished lunch by then, just in time for battle. All right, let's maintain our current speed and prepare accordingly, Yichuan said, rubbing his hands together, grinning. After all, this is the main force of the sea marauders. There might be powerful entities among them, and it could very well lead to a fierce confrontation. We are all prepared, just waiting for them to arrive. Little Flying Dragon said, cracking his knuckles. As time passed, the lunch hour swiftly came to a close. On the radar, the distance to the fleet diminished, and Yichuan had readied over 100 ground-to-ground missiles, poised for combat. When the fleet approached within a kilometer of Turtle Island, Yichuan immediately activated the time-sensitive defenses. The speed of Turtle Island gradually decreased until it was completely surrounded by the fleet. There were approximately over 100 warships in total, including 7 super aircraft carriers, effectively encircling Turtle Island. Wang Zhongyang stood at the bow of the aircraft carrier, coldly gazing at Turtle Island, and could not help but scoff. I never expected your island to rest upon the back of a turtle. This is rather surprising. However, once you are all dead, Turtle Island will rightfully belong to me. Tell me, do you have no shame? Over 100 warships assaulting us is one thing, but to think you could lay claim to my Turtle Island? Yichuan stood atop a small hill, disdainfully retorted. Truly, you live up to your reputation as sea marauders. Ha ha, I appreciate your graciousness. Wang Zhongyang erupted into laughter, but his expression swiftly darkened, transforming into one of fierce malevolence as he declared, You wretched boy, you have slain my son. Do you believe you still possess the right to jest with me? Indeed, was your son not deserving of death? Yichuan replied coolly. This singular retort left Wang Zhongyang momentarily speechless. He had not anticipated Yichuan's candid admission, nor the audacity of his counter-question. This prompted another cold chuckle from Wang Zhongyang as he waved his hand, commanding, Eliminate everyone except for the blueberry jam. With that command, Dozens of men aboard each warship fixated their predatory gazes upon the inhabitants of Turtle Island. On the colossal aircraft carrier where Wang Zhongyang stood, an immense lion rose majestically at the bow, releasing a thunderous roar before leaping toward Turtle Island. This lion appeared remarkably formidable. Observing this beast, Yichuan summoned the Bu family's giant ape. The giant ape grasped the massive bone that Yichuan had once gifted to old Bu, coldly regarding the approaching lion before letting out a resounding roar and sprinting a few steps to leap into the sky. The clash of ape and lion transpired beyond the protective barrier, with the giant ape smashing the lion's head with the bone. Despite the lion's fierce assault, the giant ape, being an SS-level terrestrial creature and fighting on its home turf, seemed to have the upper hand. In any case, the two creatures engaged in a fierce battle against the shield. Meanwhile, the little flying dragon had activated its heavy artillery, targeting those preparing to charge. Despite the adversaries numbering over 100 warships, the inferno ignited by the heavy artillery became a nightmare for those on deck. Regardless of whether they genuinely intended to storm Turtle Island or merely sought to intimidate Yichuan and his allies, at that moment, they were all engulfed in flames. The terrifying blaze raged for several seconds, accompanied by explosions that inflicted catastrophic damage on the thousands present on the decks of the warships. Damn it! Wang Zhongyang and his comrades had already retreated to the bridge, and upon witnessing this scene, their faces fell into expressions of utter dismay. This diminutive Turtle Island had been completely encircled, yet they dared to launch an attack. Was this not a blatant invitation to demise? Brother, I believe we should simply obliterate this island. A burly man declared without hesitation. While capturing the island would indeed be advantageous, the loss of over 1,000 brothers in just a single encounter was unacceptable. If we do not retaliate, we risk demoralizing our comrades. Wang Zhongyang's face grew somber as he stood in silence, grappling with the gravity of the situation. After a lengthy pause, he finally resolved, prepare all heavy machine guns for a devastating strike on Turtle Island. I will forego the blueberry jam, eliminate everyone. Our only objective is the island. Understood. The countenance of his comrades shifted, and they immediately relayed orders to all warships. In the next moment, every warship surrounding Turtle Island aimed their heavy machine guns directly at it and commenced their assault. Goodness, they truly dare to challenge us, exclaimed the young dragon. A monkey and a lion continued their fierce battle atop the protective shield, while the shield itself was under siege. Surprisingly, this seemingly transparent barrier withstood all assaults. This shield is remarkably formidable. Witnessing this spectacle, everyone was left in awe, unable to comprehend the situation. Having navigated the oceanic realms for decades, they had encountered shields before, yet none so powerful as this. However, a lingering question remained. Could it withstand a missile attack? Wang Zhongyang scoffed, stating that even if it could withstand a single missile, could it endure a barrage of 10 or even dozens? What do you mean? The others immediately grasped Wang Zhongyang's implication, yet they realized their proximity posed a significant risk. A missile strike could potentially jeopardize their own warships. Fear not, our vessels can withstand such impacts, Wang Zhongyang reassured, waving his hand. Upon receiving the command, the crew promptly began their preparations. Yichuan had already ordered the young dragon and others. To them, we are mere lambs awaiting slaughter, but they too are vulnerable. Let us not squander time. Deploy ground-to-ground missiles to disable their power and attack systems, and then we shall board and plunder. The prospect of robbing the marauders excited the young dragon, who chuckled and called Lu Shuai and Liang Hongying to operate the controls. As 18 ground-to-ground missiles launched, the warships simultaneously initiated their missile assault. Chapter 381. The fleet disabled, enemies face-to-face. Dozens of missiles targeted Turtle Island, while the 18 ground-to-ground missiles soared into the sky, swiftly diverging to strike the outermost warships. They split into 10 warheads, each aimed at various vulnerable points on the enemy vessels. With thunderous detonations, the protective shield transformed into a chaotic haven of explosions. The view from Turtle Island was engulfed in shockwaves and flames, obscuring all external visibility. The 18 targeted warships unleashed their close-range defenses at maximum capacity, engaging in a 360-degree assault. Alas, the proximity of the two sides rendered their efforts futile. The 10 warheads, having surpassed the speed of sound, overwhelmed the defenses. Despite their valiant attempts, only 3 or 4 were intercepted, while the remainder struck the warships, incapacitating all systems and leaving a gaping hole in the hull, initiating a countdown to their descent into the depths. Moments later, the chaos subsided. The protective shield returned to its prior transparency, leaving Turtle Island unscathed. Yichuan raised a thumbs up towards the aircraft carrier. Brother, All 18 of our warships have been incapacitated, one of his subordinates reported, casting a glance at the audacious Yichuan. Crack. As these words left his lips, Wang Zhongyang's handpiece was crushed to powder. His teeth clenched in fury as he glared at Yichuan. This scoundrel is utterly insufferable. His subordinates, filled with exasperation, remarked, "It seems we are utterly powerless against them. Bring out the laser-heavy artillery." Wang Zhongyang growled, his visage contorted with rage. "Concentrate all the energy from the 18 warships into one point to bombard the protective shield. I refuse to believe we cannot breach this tortoise shell." Understood. His subordinate, incredulous, cast a glance at Wang Zhongyang before hastening to execute the command. "Little flying dragon, press on." Yichuan shouted exuberantly, "Let us resolve this swiftly. It has grown rather tedious." "Absolutely." Little flying dragon laughed heartily. Thus, the 18 warships, having valiantly resisted, completed their mission. However, Wang Zhongyang remained unconcerned. As long as the warships were incapacitated, their energy would be harnessed to nourish the laser-heavy artillery. In mere minutes, over 100 warships, including the super aircraft carrier, had dwindled to just the flagship on which Wang Zhongyang stood. Finally, the laser-heavy artillery was fully charged and unleashed a fierce assault upon the protective shield. Crack! With a resounding snap, the once indomitable protective barrier shattered into fragments, sending the battling beastman and lion tumbling to the ground, landing amidst the foliage below. Yet, the beastman, realizing this was his domain, swiftly led the lion towards the beach. On board the aircraft carrier, at the moment the protective shield disintegrated, all cannons aimed at Turtle Island, intent on a decisive strike. "Damn it!" Yichuan cursed vehemently, immediately reinforcing another protective shield while calling out to Little Flying Dragon. Little Flying Dragon, responding with a shrill cry, unleashed a volley of 6 missiles, all targeting the aircraft carrier, nearly dismantling it. "Why, despite the shield being shattered, are our attacks still being repelled?" Wang Zhongyang seized a nearby man, forcefully pinning him against a pillar, his voice booming with fury. "Brother, how could my subordinates possibly know what is happening?" The man, visibly shaken by Wang Zhongyang's fury, pleaded. "We must flee. Our weapon systems are completely incapacitated." "Flee." Wang Zhongyang replied coldly with a smirk. "Our warship has thousands of brothers on board. Do you truly think this number is insufficient to eradicate the inhabitants of the island? Do you think they have reduced our warships to this state without intent? They surely plan to board us. Now, everyone, prepare your weapons and be ready to fight." As he spoke, the battle between the lion and the beastman drew to a close. Despite both being SS-class terrestrial creatures, the lion was at a disadvantage. In an attempt to sever the beastman's throat, the lion opened its maw wide, but the beastman seized the moment, stepping forward to grip the lion's jaw tightly. Roar! The lion struggled valiantly, its body retreating as it faced the terrifying force of the giant ape's jaws, which threatened to crush its hands. However, in the end, the giant ape proved superior, and with a mighty roar, it forcefully dislocated the lion's jaw. The lion's mouth, its means of survival, was rendered useless. A profound humiliation and torment, rendering its attempts to roar a mere fantasy. Gathering all its strength, it charged at the giant ape. The ape, seizing the moment, advanced confidently, executing a fierce move aimed at the lion's heart, its sharp claws plunging into the lion's abdomen. The collision of their powers unleashed a force of thousands of tons, allowing the ape's claws to penetrate effortlessly into the lion's gut. With a sudden pull, it extracted the lion's core and devoured it ravenously. The unfortunate lion could only watch helplessly as its life force ebbed away. Subsequently, the giant ape returned to Yichuan and the others. "Brother, I suspect Wang Zhongyang is already waiting for us," Xiao Feilong remarked with a smile, recognizing the exceptional qualities that had made him one of the leaders of the sea marauders. "We should proceed with caution. You 3, each board a carrier and subdue them. Once accomplished, trade the goods back. As for me, I shall go meet Wang Zhongyang." Yichuan commanded decisively. "No problem." The trio immediately transformed into their battle armor and leaped onto the carrier. Yichuan ascended to the flagship, observing over 200 armed individuals on the deck, their eyes fixed on him with predatory intent. He chuckled and said, "I am only seeking Wang Zhongyang. I believe none of you wish to meet an untimely end, so kindly step aside. These brothers are my comrades. If I could settle this with a mere word, we wouldn't be known as sea marauders." Wang Zhongyang scoffed from atop a disabled heavy cannon. "If you wish to challenge me, you must first get past them. You truly regard your brothers as mere pawns." Yichuan sighed, drawing a long knife whose tip struck the ground with a resounding crash. "Very well, I shall slay them all, and then come for you." Chapter 382. Eradicating the Roots. waiting for your demise? Laughter erupted from all present at his words. Here stood over 200 individuals, many having consumed A-grade liquids, their powers significantly enhanced, not to mention Wang Zhongyang, who had undergone profound transformation, making his combat prowess terrifying. Against such a formidable collective, how could one individual withstand the simultaneous onslaught? Wang Zhongyang let out a slight sigh and waved his hand. Attack! In an instant, the more than 200 surged toward Yichuan. He merely smiled coldly, his form shimmering before vanishing. Soon, anguished cries filled the air as one by one, they fell. Yet none could discern Yichuan's figure. Upon entering the scene, the speed escalated to an astonishing 100%, having already surpassed the speed of sound. Even if the number of adversaries doubled, they would merely be treated as fodder for slaughter. Brother, this doesn't seem right. One of his subordinates remarked in a hushed tone. Observing the unfolding events, Wang Zhongyang remained silent, fixated on the front. Such combat prowess had nearly transcended that of SS-class beings. In any case, it was more than sufficient to confront the fallen lion. Yet this individual was evidently a novice island master. How could he possibly possess such terrifying combat strength? It was utterly inconceivable. Retreat. With each brother falling one by one, Wang Zhongyang could no longer contain his fury and shouted. In an instant, the remaining 60 or so men hastily withdrew, their hearts nearly seized with terror at the sight of severed limbs strewn across the deck. Wang Zhongyang's gaze turned icy as he fixed his stare on Yichuan, demanding in a low voice, "Who on earth are you? You've been hunting me for so long and still don't know who I am? That seems a bit absurd, doesn't it?" Yichuan scoffed, replying nonchalantly, "I am Yichuan, your nemesis, the one who seeks vengeance for the death of your child, though my strength exceeds your expectations." Wang Zhongyang snorted disdainfully, a long sword, as slender as an iron rod, materializing in his grasp. In a flash, he lunged forward to strike. After refining his essence and marrow, his power had reached an unfathomable level, and he was confident in his ability to vanquish the opponent swiftly. Wang Zhongyang's speed was already considerable, clocking in at around 20 meters per second. However, to Yichuan, he appeared as sluggish as a snail. Yichuan, disinterested in engaging in a duel, merely kicked him away with a single blow. In that fleeting moment, Wang Zhongyang envisioned Yichuan being sent flying by his own strike, only to find that, in a mere exchange, he had failed to discern Yichuan's movements and was struck squarely in the chest. In that instant, it felt as though every bone in his body had shattered, engulfing him in excruciating pain. His subordinates stood in stunned silence. Wang Zhongyang was acutely aware of his own formidable strength. He couldn't claim to face 100 foes alone, but at the very least, 60 to 70 men should have been able to close in. Yet here he was, unable to comprehend how he had been defeated so effortlessly. Damn it! Wang Zhongyang's eyes widened in fury as he struggled to rise, coldly stating, "Kid, I have found the lost treasure, and I have entered the realm." Yichuan replied with a casual tone, "That's merely a matter of fact." His understated words sent a shiver through the crowd, as if struck by lightning. They could scarcely believe their ears. Countless island masters yearned for entry into this realm, yet only a select few had truly succeeded. The notion of such a young child having achieved this was akin to a fairy tale. Enough of this nonsense, hand over the goods. Yichuan's smile was chilling. "If you surrender everything to me, I shall grant you a chance to live. Otherwise, you shall all meet your demise." "What do you want?" Wang Zhongyang asked, his voice trembling like a withered plant after a frost, after a prolonged silence of several seconds. "Everything." Yichuan raised his hands in a gesture of mockery and inquired, "You marauders of the sea, over these many years, surely possess a plethora of treasures. I believe it is only fitting that you present them. All the valuables are aboard this aircraft carrier. If you truly desire them, then trade for this vessel." Wang Zhongyang replied without hesitation, asserting that the multitude of items could surely bargain for their lives. "Very well, the rest may head to other warships. You shall remain to negotiate with me." Yichuan shrugged. "If the elder brother does not depart, we shall not leave either." One of his subordinates proclaimed loudly, "If we leave, we shall do so together. If we stay, we shall stay together. That is acceptable." Yichuan harbored no concerns regarding any deceit from these individuals, for in the face of absolute power, all schemes and intrigues are rendered futile. Consequently, Yichuan promptly followed Wang Zhongyang into the bridge and directly acquired the aircraft carrier. "All right, you may leave now," Yichuan stated, extending his hands. "You truly will not kill me?" Wang Zhongyang asked, somewhat incredulous. "I am a man of my word," Yichuan replied with a shrug. Wang Zhongyang narrowed his eyes, gazing deeply at Yichuan before clutching his chest and leading his comrades towards the other warships. Yichuan swiftly leapt towards Turtle Island. simultaneously retrieving the nearly dismantled super aircraft carrier into the system's inventory, and then let out a roar to summon Xiao Feilong and the others back. Elder brother, how did it go? Xiao Feilong, covered in blood, asked with a grin. It is all taken care of. And you? Yichuan shrugged. We have traded many items to Lu Shuai and the others, but we did not thoroughly loot all the warships, Liang Hongying replied. Good. Then unleash all ground-to-ground strikes and eliminate them here. Yichuan commanded immediately. Kill them all, Xiao Feilong exclaimed in astonishment. To leave the roots intact allows for regrowth with the spring breeze. Yichuan retorted irritably, recalling how Wang Canrui had ultimately failed to recognize the resilience of life, requiring 3 attempts to extinguish it. Understood. Xiao Feilong nodded vigorously, gazing at the few remaining operational warships before rushing to commence the assault, targeting those vessels first. With a series of thunderous explosions, those warships sank in rapid succession, and the remaining vessels met a similar fate as missiles rained down upon them. Damn it! Wang Zhongyang's expression shifted dramatically upon witnessing this scene. These scoundrels had blatantly broken their word, claiming they would spare them, yet turned against them instead. Elder brother, what shall we do? His subordinates panicked. The submarines. We must escape in the submarines. Wang Zhongyang clenched his fists tightly. All the submarines have been destroyed. One man rushed over to report. That turtle of ours appears to be of SSS rank, having annihilated more than a dozen of our submarines underwater. What? Wang Zhongyang gasped in shock, watching the 10 incoming warheads, only to suddenly relax. Chapter 383. The hope of the Yin family ultimately perishing in the world of the sea. Perhaps this was simply one's fate. As the inevitability of death loomed, Wang Zhongyang found himself unperturbed in that moment, slowly turning towards the projectile and extending his arms wide. In a mere 15 minutes, every ship sank beneath the waves, taking with them the island lords into eternal slumber. Blueberry Jam couldn't help but sigh, pondering the estimated death toll, likely in the tens of thousands. Such is the world of the ocean, a realm where beauty conceals a brutal reality. Liang Hongying remarked gravely, if we do not eliminate them, we become their victims. They have taken from you as well. Do you comprehend the sequence of events? At her words, Blueberry Jam shuddered in fright, then grimaced in distaste. The speed of the sea turtle quickened once more. The group began to examine the peculiar spoils they had acquired, which included an array of bizarre items alongside a wealth of gold, silver, and antique coins, presumably plundered from a hidden treasure trove. Yet, lacking any collectible value, they resolved to sell them for cash. At that moment, the little flying dragon chuckled and rubbed his hands together. Brother, let us peruse Wang Zhongyang's belongings. Indeed, Yichuan nodded decisively, promptly retrieving the dilapidated aircraft carrier and solemnly inquiring, System, could you assist in extracting all the contents from within and merge this super aircraft carrier with the ultimate battleship? The system's voice responded, the host must perform the operation. Once merged with the ultimate battleship, all items will be transferred to its deck. Without hesitation, Yichuan proceeded with the merging upgrade. As the super aircraft carrier vanished, the ultimate battleship appeared largely unchanged, and the group swiftly boarded, temporarily sealing the sea turtle within a containment vessel. The expansive deck was soon filled with a myriad of items, including various weapons and even some classical texts and jade artifacts. My goodness, Wang Zhongyang was a literary enthusiast. Many of these ancient books are unique editions, likely worth a considerable sum. Lu Shuai exclaimed, astonished by the treasures. Brother, look at these wines, over 200 bottles. The little flying dragon shouted with excitement. These are champagnes and red wines, each aged over 300 years, with some reds exceeding 500. Each bottle is worth a fortune. Moreover, countless treasures of gold and silver were discovered. However, Yichuan also uncovered 7 fragmented treasure maps, a promising find indeed, with just 3 more. A complete map could be assembled. Aside from the wines and ancient texts, along with several valuable items, Yichuan entrusted the remaining goods to the little flying dragon, instructing him to package and sell them, anticipating a substantial profit of several hundred billion. Without a doubt, this would allow for the acquisition of more explosives for future reserves. In the world of the ocean, while other supplies may be limited, an ample stock of weapons and ammunition must be ensured. At dinner, a group indulged in 3 bottles of red wine and 2 bottles of champagne. On Saturday, they processed lion meat, which, despite its coarse muscle fibers, was quite delectable due to its classification as an SS-grade organism. Particularly, the red wine and champagne, aged for over 3 centuries, could undoubtedly be regarded as exquisite vintages. After consuming 5 bottles of wine, everyone became quite inebriated and fell asleep directly on the ultimate battleship. The following morning, Yichuan awoke to find it was already past 10 o'clock. The others were playing on the deck, and breakfast had long been prepared. Upon seeing Yichuan rise, they hurried to warm up the meal. "Sign in," Yichuan announced as he stepped onto the deck. The system's voice followed. "Sign in successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 2,000 evolution points and an evolution value gift pack." Another evolution value gift pack. Was the system intending for the turtle to reach the next level before entering the Forbidden Sea? "Brother, the Forbidden Sea lies just ahead." At that moment, the little dragon chimed in, noting there were still nearly 1,000 nautical miles to go. Finally arrived, Yichuan couldn't help but press his lips together and said solemnly, "I hope all goes smoothly and that we encounter no vendettas. Let us take a good rest before we venture into the Forbidden Sea. It will surely be fine." The little dragon replied with a grin. "Then let us proceed at full speed." Yichuan nodded slightly and strode to the front of the battleship, speaking loudly. Hundreds of nautical miles away, within a super battleship nearly twice the size of an ordinary aircraft carrier, a beeping sound suddenly emerged. This perplexed everyone as they gazed at a radar displaying a flashing red dot, and the group immediately furrowed their brows. "Our high-tech intelligent battle armor." Initially, the Blood Phoenix Mercenary Corps had discarded their battle armor, and it was thought that the Een family's years of research would go to waste. However, it seemed that a day of discovery had finally arrived. An elder, filled with excitement, exclaimed, "Heaven has not forsaken the Een family. Grandfather, what should we do?" A young man, equally exhilarated, stepped forward with a flushed face, suppressing his excitement as he inquired. He had entered the oceanic world as a novice island lord 3 years ago, and the Een family had devoted all the S-grade and A-grade liquids collected by their island lords to his training, enabling him to complete a profound transformation in just 2 years, now boasting formidable combat prowess. Originally, the high-tech intelligent battle armor was intended for him, and based on his previous strength, it was anticipated that donning the armor would elevate his combat capabilities to match those of an elite warrior. Alas, the prior despair had morphed into hope, and he felt as though he had been reborn. However, reclaiming the battle armor was imperative. "Now that we have identified the culprit, we must hasten forward and pursue them," the elder declared coldly. "Tianzi, you are the hope of the Een family. With the battle armor soon to be retrieved, we can enter the Forbidden Sea without any reservations. May I utilize the annihilation cannon armor?" Een Tianzi nodded vigorously, then solemnly inquired. "Since our adversary was capable of seizing our battle armor, their strength must not be underestimated. I believe we should exercise caution to avoid any unforeseen mishaps." "Indeed," the elder replied with a smile, "you have matured, developing your own ideas. I cannot always be by your side. Often, it is essential for you to deliberate on your own. However, this time, with the destruction cannon armor and the SS-class held Golden Python at your disposal, reclaiming the battle armor should be a mere formality, perhaps even yielding a substantial fortune." Een Tianzi inhaled deeply, gazing towards the location of the battle armor, his expression a blend of malice and hope. Chapter 384. If you wish to buy your life, first present 30 trillion. After lunch, with over 500 nautical miles to the Forbidden Sea, the radar alarm sounded once more, and the trio of small and large companions detected the enemy, issuing warnings in unison. Each one furrowed his brow. Through the shared vision of their minds, he observed a super battleship, half the size of the ultimate battleship, swiftly advancing towards them, its target being the ultimate vessel. "Unbelievable. Why are they still pursuing us?" the small dragon remarked solemnly. "Do they truly wish for their demise? It will take them approximately 2 more hours to catch up. We might as well head directly towards them to ascertain their circumstances." Yichuan decisively declared, "Let us forego the artillery exchange. No matter how formidable they may be, they cannot rival our strength. Capturing them alive is preferable to destroying this super battleship." Agreed. The others concurred without hesitation. Thus, the 3 large companions carried the trio, while they rode on Wonkai, swiftly making their way towards the super battleship, landing on its deck in just over half an hour. In that moment, alarms blared throughout the battleship, and a throng of personnel surged onto the deck, surrounding the 4. The elder scrutinized the group and remarked gravely, "Gentlemen, have you taken a wrong turn? How did you arrive on my Een family's battleship?" His words instantly clarified the situation. No wonder these individuals had targeted the ultimate battleship. They were in pursuit of high-tech intelligent battle armor. Een Tianzi, with a predatory gaze, moved forward to fixate on the 4, whispering, "Grandfather, the high-tech intelligent battle armor is indeed upon them. The radar has confirmed it without doubt." "You have pilfered my Een family's high-tech intelligent battle armor?" the elder inquired coldly upon hearing this. In response, Zhao Feiyu immediately donned the battle armor, exclaiming, "Is this what you refer to? A provocation?" Everyone's countenance shifted dramatically. This individual had not only activated the high-tech intelligent battle armor, but had also donned it. To add insult to injury, he dared to challenge them. This was utterly outrageous. The elder scoffed, "To have stolen my Yin family's armor and still dare to provoke us. I truly admire your audacity. Return the armor, and perhaps I may spare your lives." "Old man, are you living in a dream?" The young dragon disdainfully remarked that others had donned the attire and had even engaged in numerous battles while their synergy had long been established. How could one have the audacity to suggest returning it? Even if it were returned, it would be of no use to them. It would be better to extend a gesture of goodwill, fostering friendship, thereby ensuring mutual tranquility. Would you not agree? Nonsense. At this proclamation, the Yin Emperor erupted in fury. Standing up immediately, "This was a product of my family's billion-dollar research. Why should we relinquish it to you? Who do you think you are? Since you refuse to yield, we shall settle this through strength." With a thunderous roar, a massive battle armor, towering at 7 or 8 meters, materialized between the two factions. The Yin Emperor leapt high and entered the armor, coldly declaring, "If you do not hand it over, then I shall compel you to do so through force. Let us put that to the test." Zhao Feiyu responded, taking the initiative to attack, his entire body colliding with the cumbersome destruction armor, sending it sprawling backward by several meters. The impact stabilized it, and it readied itself to charge at Zhao Feiyu once more. Zhao Feiyu, agile and fortified with impenetrable defenses, coupled with his innate combat prowess, completely overpowered the destruction armor. The young dragon turned to the elderly man and the others, coolly stating, "I initially hoped to resolve this amicably, but since you choose to be adversaries, we are no longer friends but foes. Do you comprehend the fate that befalls enemies? Are you aware of the strength of my Yin family?" The elder, undaunted, retorted, and as he spoke, a colossal golden python slithered from the shadows, flicking its tongue menacingly, its head towering over 3 meters in height. "This is an SS-class creature of my Yin family, the Hell Golden Python," the elder sneered. "You fool. Daring to oppose my family, prepare to be annihilated." With a resounding howl, 3 formidable beings descended from the heavens, landing before the assembly. Upon their arrival, the Hell Golden Python hesitated, retreating a few meters. These 3 were all SS-class aerial beings, the wind god pterosaurs. The young dragon remarked with ease, 3 against 1 hardly constitutes a case of overwhelming numbers." The elder's expression shifted dramatically. "You 3, eliminate that Hell Golden Python," commanded the young dragon. In an instant, the 3 pterosaurs surged towards the Hell Golden Python, and a fierce battle ensued among the 4 SS-class creatures. The elder, extending his hand, proposed, "Friends, let us speak candidly. How much would it cost to spare our lives?" There was no way for them to continue fighting. To subdue 3 SS-class wind god pterosaurs was beyond their capacity. Even deploying a super battleship against them would likely prove futile. To survive, they had to swallow their pride. 30 trillion. Yichuan interjected. As one of the 4 major conglomerates of the 9 provinces, the Yin family publicly claims assets amounting to 70 trillion. However, even ordinary families possess assets in the tens of trillions. Thus, being one of the 4 major conglomerates, the Yin family's wealth is likely to exceed a conservative estimate of 700 trillion. Demanding 30 trillion from them is merely a trifling matter. 30 trillion? How dare you ask for such a sum? Shouted a bystander. With such a colossal warship and the lives of over 1,000 individuals at stake, particularly the old man and the young man's lives, is 30 trillion truly excessive? Yichuan shrugged, remarking, "It would be quite generous of me not to demand 70 trillion. How infuriating." The old man clenched his fists tightly, suppressing his anger, and forced a smile as he retorted, 30 trillion, in reality, is quite reasonable. Then let us proceed with the transfer. Yichuan replied nonchalantly, tossing an account number to the elder. Despite his reluctance, the old man made a call, instructing someone to transfer 30 trillion into the account. Moments later, Yichuan checked his phone to find the funds had been credited. In an instant, he summoned the forbidden spear and struck down upon the annihilation armor with great force. Tianzi, who was fiercely engaged in battle with Zhao Feiyu, furrowed his brow at the sight and charged forward, attempting to withstand the blow with sheer strength. Chapter 385. You have received your payment, yet you still wish to kill us. With a resounding crash, the annihilation armor was shattered into 2 pieces, sending Tianzi crashing to the ground. The armor had absorbed a significant portion of the impact, sparing him from severe injury, though he was left writhing in agony. In the distance, 4 powerful creatures battled fiercely. With a roar from a wind god wyvern, Its sharp claws struck the 7-inch mark of the hell golden python, swiftly extracting a vital core. My python! The old man trembled and cried out in rage. All right, we can leave now, ч11 said with a smile. Congratulations, you are free. Then why are you still here? Hurry and leave. The elder rushed forward, embracing the hell golden python. This python was their assurance of a safe return from the Forbidden Sea. Yet now, without further words, ч11 and his companions turned and mounted their flying creatures to depart. Along the way, the little dragon, still discontent, asked, Brother, are we really just going to let this go? Have you forgotten what I said? ч11 replied with a smile, countering with, removing the grass does not eradicate the roots. The spring breeze may cause them to sprout anew. The little dragon chuckled, understanding that as one of the 4 major conglomerates, the Yin family's strength was certainly more formidable than this. By letting them off this time, they would not simply relent. When we destroyed their war armor and SS-level creature, the enmity between us was already established, ч11 said calmly. Let us descend. With that, the 4 of them dove down, temporarily releasing Turtle Island. Ground to ground. Launch 3 rounds of 54. ч11 decisively ordered, commence operations immediately. Ensure that their super battleship has no chance to retaliate. Little Flying Dragon chuckled, and the 3 swiftly proceeded with their tasks. With ample ammunition at their disposal, within 5 minutes, 54 ground-to-ground missiles were launched towards the super battleship. Only then did ч11 retract Turtle Island, and the 4 of them advanced once more towards the ultimate battleship. I shall not rest until I avenge this wrong. ч11, having been assisted to his feet, clenched his fists and declared, in my lifetime, I will kill these 4 individuals to avenge Jean Mang, the destruction cannon, and the disgrace brought upon the Yin family. He promptly ordered a report to the Yin family headquarters, mobilizing all forces within the oceanic realm. Grandfather, look! Just as he finished speaking, ч11 shouted. High above, a dense swarm of warheads descended upon the super battleship, prompting the nearby anti-aircraft artillery to unleash a comprehensive barrage. The entire weapon system was activated, employing nearly every defensive measure available. Damn it! The elder seethed. They've gone back on their word and are attacking us with the intent to annihilate us. It seems this assault isn't coming from that direction. Could we have other enemies? ч11 pondered suspiciously. Returned to the bridge. Observing the increasing number of warheads, the elder decisively commanded. In an instant, the group hurried towards the bridge. Initially, the warheads were repelled, but soon, they began to overwhelm the defenses, one after another striking the super battleship. Within a brief span, a multitude of warheads rendered the entire weapon system, communication system, and defense system inoperable. Quickly relay this information. We are in grave peril, the elder shouted, unable to contain his voice. Our communication system has been compromised. A staff member replied gravely. Aside from the power system, everything else is, before he could finish. The super battleship shook violently, and the display screens all malfunctioned. The frantic personnel collapsed in despair as the bridge became entirely incapacitated. At least 10 warheads had struck the hull, and it was certain that the super battleship would sink within 10 minutes. What of the backup submarines and vessels? The elder demanded, seizing one person in anger. They have been destroyed. We can only await our fate, the staff member replied despondently. Elder, it's hopeless. We have no chance left. Grandfather. ч11 grasped the elder's hand firmly. No matter what, we shall face this together. Together. The elder inhaled deeply. The grandfather and grandson took a deep breath and stepped out onto the bridge, gazing into the distance, only to be met by another wave of warheads striking the super battleship. This vessel, which had traversed the edges of the Forbidden Sea for over a decade, slowly sank beneath the waves, taking with it thousands of souls. Meanwhile, ч11 and the others had returned to the ultimate battleship. The small dots on the super radar had vanished, and ч11 nodded, realizing that the super battleship had indeed sunk. ч11 was not concerned that ч11 and his companions would escape this time. The missiles had all been dispersed, totaling 540 warheads, and the initial barrage would extinguish any thoughts of flight. After that, the only option left for him would be to await his demise, unless, of course, he possessed another set of battle armor. Brother, what do you think? The 3 immediately gathered around him. Not only had they completely dismantled their enemies, but they had also acquired a staggering 30 trillion. Little Flying Dragon burst into laughter, almost boasting. Now, brother is a wealthy man. Ha! Impressive. In response, the others promptly gave ч11 a thumbs up. This time, it was the nearly overwhelming artillery strike that had obliterated a super battleship. ч11 remarked with a smile. However, from the last time we secured 100,000 tons of explosives, only 10,000 tons were usable after compression. given the consumption over this period. It seems we can only afford to engage in one more grand battle. We definitely need to stock up more. I can help you with that, Zhao Feiyu quickly offered. Our military-grade explosives are quite exceptional. I have an assistant who specializes in liaising with Blue Star, Yichuan replied with a chuckle, shaking his head before requesting a video call with Zhang Haixia. When the video connected, Zhang Haixia was at a construction site, beaming as she said, Yichuan, this is the new location chosen by our director for the orphanage in this city. Soon, we will erect the largest orphanage in the province, covering an area of 10,000 square meters and 3 stories high. We have also begun site selection for other orphanages in different locations. The director is quite prompt in his actions. Yichuan smiled with appreciation. By the way, did you reach out to me for assistance? Zhang Haixia inquired. I still need your help in procuring high-alum explosives. Yichuan nodded eagerly. This time, I'm offering you 500 billion. That is quite a sum. How much are you intending to purchase? Zhang Haixia asked, astonished. 100 billion equates to 10,000 tons, so this time, it amounts to 50,000 tons. Yichuan explained with a smile. Though 50,000 tons may seem substantial, it will be quickly depleted with usage. Alright, I'll check with the previous supplier to see if they have that much available and then get back to you, Zhang Haixia readily agreed. Just then, a group of 10 or so 17 or 18-year-olds approached the screen, all smiling widely at Yichuan. Brother Chuan, thank you for the funding you provided to the director. We are now working on-site, helping to build the orphanage and earning our own living. When can we visit the ocean world? We also want to make big money. Make sure to return to the orphanage sometime, brother. Everyone misses you. Hearing their earnest greetings, Yichuan felt a surge of emotion and nodded, saying, rest assured, everyone. I will come to see you when I have the time. For those who wish to enter the ocean world, you can sign up in 3 years. And Brother Chuan will look out for you. After chatting for a while longer, they finally ended the video call. At this moment, the group could discern the edge of the Forbidden Sea. The Forbidden Sea bore a striking resemblance to the open ocean. However, its waters were remarkably clearer, allowing glimpses of fish swimming over 100 meters below, including a swiftly gliding A-grade great white shark that plunged into its depths. In a realm teeming with S-grade marine life and abundant SS-grade creatures, the A-grade great white shark appeared merely as a minor player. Yet, as they approached the Forbidden Sea, the sea turtle came to an unexpected halt. The atmosphere grew serious among the group. In the open ocean, they were nearly invincible. But within the confines of the Forbidden Sea, both the island's denizens and marine creatures seemed inscrutable. Their only recourse was to proceed with utmost caution. We are approximately 10,000 nautical miles from the location of the Moon S-Tear treasure, which would take us about 6 days of sailing, Yichuan stated. During this journey, let us refrain from concerning ourselves with any distractions and focus solely on our path forward. Indeed, if others provoke us, we shall retaliate. If they leave us be, we shall not instigate any conflict, Zhao Feiyu concurred. The group reached a consensus, and the sea turtle resumed its journey. Though dolphins were not ranked and were merely insignificant players in the Forbidden Sea, they circled the periphery for a moment before swiftly pursuing the group. The surface of the Forbidden Sea appeared deceptively tranquil. There were no towering waves, and the sky was devoid of avian life, enveloped in an eerie silence that belied any imminent danger. Yet, gazing into the depths revealed relentless battles, particularly among A-grade and S-grade marine creatures, with skirmishes erupting at nearly every turn. Initially, the waters of the Forbidden Sea were crystal clear, but as they ventured deeper, the clarity diminished, becoming increasingly murky and tainted with a sanguine hue, the very scent of the seawater turning foul and acrid. Suddenly, a thunderous roar shattered the calm, rousing everyone from their rest after lunch. A colossal octopus was engaged in a fierce struggle with a gigantic dinosaur-like creature, even from several nautical miles away. The shock waves reached them, as waves surged one after another, and they could faintly perceive the gusts generated by the combatants' movements. Is that the enigmatic hand octopus? Little Flying Dragon frowned. That's not the enigmatic hand octopus. It resides in the SSS grade late stage, even at its peak, Yichuan replied, shaking his head. This octopus is at best in the early SSS grade, and the dinosaur-like creature is not particularly formidable either. Wow, to witness such a fierce battle is exhilarating, Little Flying Dragon exclaimed. Blueberry Jam, you should capture this moment. It will undoubtedly attract a legion of fans. Absolutely. Blueberry Jam nodded vigorously, promptly retrieving her phone to film the spectacle. System, what manner of beings are these? Yichuan inquired, a look of skepticism crossing his face. The mutated Songlong, an SSS-grade marine creature at the pinnacle of maturity, boasts the skill of invincible sonic boom. The cold-faced octopus, also an SSS-grade marine entity, but in its early maturity phase, possesses the lethal ability of water arrow. The system promptly provided an answer. A regular Songlong is merely an A-grade marine creature. Thus, the mutated version's ascension to SSS grade is astonishing, surpassing even the mutated beasts of the Boo family. Why do they engage in battle? Yichuan inquired once more. The system remained silent, and Yichuan had no intention of provoking either of these formidable beings. The sea turtle continued its rapid advance, confident that as long as it evaded the combat zone of these creatures, it would remain unharmed. However, one of the octopus's tentacles reached out toward the turtle, attempting to provoke it. The turtle did not yield. Its sharp claws slashed fiercely at the tentacle. Despite its length and girth, the tentacle was nearly severed under the turtle's claws, significantly affecting the conflict between the octopus and the mutated Songlong. Seizing the opportunity created by the octopus's injury, the mutated Songlong lunged towards the cold-faced octopus, opening its massive maw wide. A thunderous boom erupted as the invincible sonic boom struck the octopus's head, creating a large cavity in an instant. The octopus writhed in agony, its tentacles thrashing violently against the water's surface, generating towering waves that soared several meters high. Having successfully landed a blow, the Songlong prepared to launch another attack. The octopus's 4 tentacles twisted together, and with a powerful strike, it unleashed another water arrow aimed directly at the Songlong's gaping maw. Another sonic explosion resounded as the water arrow collided with it, resulting in a colossal wave rising hundreds of meters into the sky, leaving a massive pit in the ocean's surface. With a resounding crash, the 4 tentacles descended simultaneously, striking the Songlong, which was unprepared and was forcefully shoved beneath the waves. A piercing shriek echoed as the Songlong resurfaced, viciously biting down on the octopus's 4 tentacles. In pain, the colossal octopus slammed its body against the Songlong, only to be met with another sonic blast targeting the same spot. Chapter 387. A struggle for survival in the Songlong's maw. Danger approaches. After being struck twice in the same vulnerable area, the cold-faced octopus found itself grievously wounded, its entire form quaking in agony as all its tentacles began to thrash wildly. The 8 appendages extended outward, transforming the surrounding area into a lethal arena for the octopus, capable of shredding even SS-grade marine creatures into mere fragments should they wander into its vicinity. The sea turtle, shielded by a protective barrier, skillfully evaded the octopus's onslaught, remaining unscathed amidst the chaos. Little Flying Dragon, filled with suspicion, inquired, "Is it true that even among the SSS ranks, there exists a myriad of strength levels? Although this octopus is indeed formidable, it appears to pale in comparison to the spectral hand octopus. I recall that the spectral hand octopus possesses truly formidable prowess, with tentacles capable of extending over 10,000 nautical miles." Indeed, Yichuan nodded in agreement, to say nothing of other factors. This cold-faced octopus could easily be vanquished by a super missile, whereas the super missile only inflicted minor injuries upon the spectral hand octopus. It almost seems as if this creature is a mere offspring of the latter. "The battle is nearing its conclusion," Zhao Feiyu remarked solemnly. "This octopus will ultimately be defeated. But I believe we should seize this cold-faced octopus. It is a prime culinary delicacy." Naturally, Yichuan chuckled. An SSS-grade ingredient promises an unparalleled flavor. I still vividly recall the taste of the tentacle from the spectral hand octopus. What are we waiting for? Let us get to it. Little Flying Dragon exclaimed with excitement. "Lu Shuai, prepare the harpoon," Yichuan commanded decisively. Lu Shuai promptly rushed to operate the harpoon, launching it as the sea turtle swiftly approached the cold-faced octopus. In that instant, the harpoon pierced the octopus's body, and upon the emergence of barbs, it began to retract with force. This was originally intended as sustenance for the mutated Songlong, which was preparing to relish its meal when it witnessed its food being snatched away. Enraged, the mutated Songlong unleashed an overwhelming sound wave, momentarily cleaving the ocean's surface in two. The sea turtle opened its mouth wide, unleashing a torrent of reverse flow that collided with the invincible sound wave, creating a towering wave several hundred meters high, instantly neutralizing the opposing forces. The sea turtle then released a massive water projectile, striking the mutated Songlong just as it had completed its sound wave attack. The tremendous force flipping the Songlong over in the water. Whether due to fear of the sea turtle's might or fatigue from its recent battle, the mutated Songlong, seizing the opportunity of its overturned position, made a hasty retreat. Remarkable. The sea turtle has actually frightened away the mutated Songlong. Little Flying Dragon snapped his fingers, exclaiming in excitement. It turns out that among us, the sea turtle is the most formidable presence. That Sunglong is indeed powerful, but it likely has little strength left after its prior battle, Yichuan analyzed quietly. As he spoke, the harpoon was reeled back, and the immense cold-faced octopus was retrieved. This creature appeared to weigh around 50 to 60 tons, and was now thoroughly lifeless, dragged up by Friday and Saturday with sheer strength. Saturday could not contain his excitement, saying, "Brother Chuan, with this octopus, even if we were to eat octopus every day, it would last us 2 months. Then it will be your responsibility to handle it well," Yichuan replied with a smile. "Let us plan to enjoy octopus once a day, ideally at noon. SSS-grade meat is simply delightful and never tiresome. Moreover, please assist me in slicing 4 octopus limbs, each weighing 20 pounds, and deliver them to Brother Yu, Liu Yu Weiwei, Hong Ying, and Xiao Feilong, so they may present these offerings to the family as a token of goodwill." Upon hearing this, "Brother," the moment those words escaped, Xiao Feilong and the others were deeply moved. Zhao Feiyu inhaled deeply and clasped his hands towards Yichuan, expressing, "Brother, thank you." This was merely a fleeting episode on their journey, and the group continued onward. Aside from Saturday and Friday, who were preoccupied with the octopus, the others took a moment to appreciate the breathtaking scenery of the Forbidden Sea. It was likely a sight unlike any other throughout history. Had others known that someone ventured to the Forbidden Sea merely to admire its beauty, they would surely be left astounded. As night fell, Saturday's grilled octopus was served. Although its flavor did not rival the exquisite tenderness of the tentacled octopus, it was undoubtedly a unique delicacy, melting in the mouth. Even the modest consumption of blueberry jam exceeded a pound, complemented by a generous bowl of lychee mushroom soup, leaving one utterly satiated and ready for slumber. In the deep of night, Yichuan had returned to his bed, glancing at the public chat room. He noted the abundance of messages regarding the oceanic realm. The two titans have been in the Forbidden Sea for 2 days now. Why have they not yet engaged in battle? Could it be that both have faltered in courage? If they had, they would not have emerged from the life forbidden zone. For those who have escaped the life forbidden zone, there are few who are not formidable. Those who remain should hasten to flee. No later than 3 days. A titanic clash is inevitable, one that will reverberate throughout the entire Forbidden Sea. The discourse continued to revolve around the impending confrontation between the two colossal beings, leaving Yichuan somewhat bewildered, as the Forbidden Sea remained eerily tranquil. Although the Forbidden Sea may not be as vast as the open ocean, it spans several tens of millions of nautical miles. What kind of terrifying entity could threaten the entirety of the Forbidden Sea? Surely, it would be more fearsome than the tentacled octopus. Yet, on the other hand, the force capable of compelling marine creatures to emerge from the life forbidden zone seeking vengeance must be extraordinary, perhaps even more terrifying than the tentacled octopus itself. One could only hope that their conflict would not extend to their vicinity. Contemplating this matter, Yichuan soon drifted into slumber. Detection indicates that the host has not yet checked in. Would you like to check in? The following morning, the system's voice resonated. "Check in." Yichuan replied lazily as he rose. "Check-in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 2,000 evolution points and super defense 2 with a time limit." The system's voice followed, causing Yichuan's expression to shift. Yet another 2 time-limited defenses. This check-in was quite gratifying. With that thought, Yichuan stepped out of the villa, gazing at the still, tranquil sea, which now exuded an eerie calm. The gently undulating surface seemed to harbor something that continuously generated ripples, their collisions producing a rhythmically resonant sound across the ocean's expanse. Dozens of nautical miles away, a colossal black mountain suddenly emerged from the surface of the Forbidden Sea, its very presence seemingly giving rise to ripples. Chapter 388. The Lone Reef Bull Emperor, the final trump card. What could that be? At this moment, several individuals approached, gazing at the immense entity in the distance, their astonishment evident as they inquired. I recall witnessing discussions in the chat room about an impending battle between 2 SSS-level marine creatures. Could this be one of them? The little flying dragon whispered. "It is possible." Zhao Feiyu nodded, though he found it peculiar that such a creature would be here, rather than in the depths of the Forbidden Sea. "Is it hiding here?" Blueberry Jam tentatively asked. "System, what is this creature?" At last, Yichuan posed the question. The Lone Reef Bull Emperor, an SSS-level marine organism. At the pinnacle of its maturity, capable of becoming a human island, with terrifying combat prowess and extraordinary strength. The system promptly provided an answer. Terrifying combat prowess, extraordinary strength. Yichuan frowned slightly and declared in a serious tone, "Let us circumvent it, avoiding any confrontation, for our objective is the treasure, not this creature." With that, the sea turtle immediately veered to the side. However, while they sought to avoid this being, It seemed intent on targeting the sea turtle, slowly moving towards it. The recent disturbance on the water's surface was, in fact, the creature's heartbeat transmitting through the sea, causing the ripples. Liang Hongying finally grasped the peculiar phenomenon on the surface and exclaimed loudly, "This creature is likely exceptionally formidable. We must exercise caution." Upon hearing this, Yichuan activated the temporal super defense and the island stabilization device, allowing the sea turtle to unleash its full potential. Yet, gazing at the lone reef bull emperor, which was still 3 to 4 kilometers away, he swiftly retrieved a super missile. "Let us demonstrate our strength with a strike." With that, Yichuan quickly maneuvered, launching an attack on the lone reef bull emperor. The massive super missile soared into the sky, then executed a somersault as it plummeted towards the creature's body. It soon made a close contact with the back of the lone reef bull emperor, resulting in a deafening explosion that reverberated through the air. Despite the sea turtle being equipped with the stabilization device, everyone still felt the upheaval. A gigantic mushroom cloud ascended into the heavens, followed by a shockwave radiating outward, with Turtle Island being the first to bear the brunt, thrusting it outwards by dozens of nautical miles. Meanwhile, the lone reef bull emperor was driven deep into the water, creating a profound pit on the surface, utterly astonished by the fierce combat capabilities of its adversary. This, however, ignited the creature's ferocity, and it let out an enraged bellow. Surging forward towards Turtle Island, the sea turtle stabilized its form, also accelerating to full speed, hovering in the air while augmenting its forward momentum and deploying absolute gravity, unleashing a force of tens of thousands of tons that struck the lone reef bull emperor with the impact of a mighty hammer. The solitary reef bull king did not underestimate this strike. It lowered its immense horn and collided directly with the sea turtle. The tremendous sound reverberated across thousands of nautical miles, and the surface of the sea erupted once more, sending water soaring into the sky for nearly 1,000 nautical miles, causing various marine creatures that had not yet perished to flee in panic. Following this, 2 low roars echoed as both parties retreated. However, the solitary reef bull king seemingly had no intention of surrendering easily. After retreating several dozen nautical miles, it prepared to charge once more. Could this bull possess no other abilities than relentless collisions? The little dragon questioned skeptically. Given that it is an SSS-level mature entity at its peak, it cannot merely have such limited capabilities, Yichuan remarked pessimistically. We must not underestimate a being that dares to provoke the forbidden zone of life. Little dragon, unleash the super laser cannon and test its defensive capabilities. Certainly. Upon hearing this, the little dragon hurriedly ascended a small hill to operate the super laser cannon. Thankfully, the sea turtle's absolute gravity could be used an unlimited number of times. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to continue clashing with this creature after just one strike. With the second collision between them, the little dragon finally fired the laser cannon. A white beam of laser, with a diameter of almost a meter, erupted instantaneously, striking the solitary reef bull king's head as they collided. Moo! The solitary reef bull king recoiled, emitting a low growl, its massive body leaping out of the water, towering hundreds of meters high and stretching thousands of meters long, descending heavily upon Turtle Island. In that moment, Turtle Island appeared diminutive. Yet the sea turtle dove deep into the water, immediately unleashing an absolute gravity strike that collided fiercely with the solitary reef bull king. However, the sheer force, weighing tens of thousands of tons, still drove the sea turtle deep into nearly 1,000 meters of water. Even with a temporal protective shield, faint cracks began to appear, astonishing everyone present. It was remembered that the attack of the enigmatic octopus had not even caused cracks in the shield. This creature's brute strength seemed to have reached the pinnacle of the forbidden sea. Yichuan narrowed his eyes, contemplating the use of a super shockwave system. Can the super shockwave's wide-range attack be concentrated on a single point? However, Yichuan still felt uneasy and immediately inquired of the system. It can focus the power on one side. The system replied accurately. Then let us concentrate it on one side, Yichuan coldly stated, throwing the forbidden spear forward, which elongated to nearly 100 meters. Just as it was about to plunge into the water, the super shockwave erupted, forcefully striking the solitary reef bull king, which had just entered the sea. A terrifying sound echoed throughout the forbidden sea as the super shockwave collided with the solitary reef bull king, pushing it backward. Even the forbidden spear breached the bull king's defenses, penetrating at least 7 to 8 meters into its body. Immediately following the shockwave, a relentless twisting characteristic began to distort the form of the solitary reef bull, manifesting numerous minute wounds across its surface. The excruciating pain ignited a fury within it, one that it could scarcely fathom, having long been untouched by injury. In that fleeting moment of anguish, the solitary reef bull roared in rage, stabilizing its form after being propelled nearly 100 nautical miles away. Its belly swelled ominously, and then a surge of yellow energy erupted from its maw, striking fiercely towards Turtle Island. The super radar instantly activated a frantic alarm, with the alerts from the 3 smaller creatures and the 3 larger ones resonating throughout. Even Yichuan, through his shared vision, beheld the terrifying assault. This was undoubtedly the solitary reef bull's ultimate weapon, striking with such speed that it could reach its target in mere seconds. Chapter 389, with the might of one bull, challenged the entire island. Little flying dragon, Yichuan shouted. At once, the turtle's reverse flow technique and water bomb were unleashed simultaneously, colliding forcefully with the oncoming energy. The little flying dragon also activated its super laser cannon, aiming directly at the point of impact. Yet, this energy seemed to embody the solitary reef bull's utmost strength. Both the water bomb and the reverse flow technique appeared feeble in its presence, swiftly succumbing before merging with the laser beam. Goodness, this move is exceedingly formidable. Liang Hongying exclaimed in disbelief, her mouth agape. It was astonishing. The two had once seemed evenly matched, but with this display, the turtle was clearly outclassed. Boom. A tremendous sound erupted as the super laser cannon held out for mere seconds before being completely penetrated. Ultimately, the energy struck the protective shield with a force that exacerbated the already existing cracks, threatening its very integrity. I never imagined this blow could be deflected, Lu Shuai exclaimed with delight, though he soon surmised that the shield could likely endure just one more assault. As the solitary reef bull charged once more, Yichuan's brow furrowed in concern. The SSS-class marine creature exceeded all expectations. Its exhibited power rivaled that of the elusive hand octopus, with an estimated energy wave capable of traversing thousands of nautical miles. However, it was regrettable that neither its combat prowess nor defenses could be matched by Turtle Island. The little flying dragon unleashed its laser cannon again, but it inflicted minimal damage upon the solitary reef bull, merely singeing its hide. Yichuan solemnly declared, "I will take the lead. You Gu, prepare the missiles. Let's aim to fire them into its mouth. Since we cannot harm its exterior, we shall strike at its interior." "That is an excellent idea," Zhao Feiyu responded, his expression shifting as he turned to Liang Hongying, who nodded in agreement. The two immediately rushed off to prepare the missiles. Yichuan uttered a low growl, wielding a long knife. After a brief sprint, he leaped forward, gripping the blade tightly. In an instant of absolute gravity, he struck fiercely at the head of the solitary reef bull king. The blade crashed against the creature's body, accompanied by a furious roar. The bull king's head was violently tossed aside, sending Yichuan soaring into the air. In mid-flight, he executed a somersault, landing a foot upon the back of Wang Kai, before diving once more towards the bull king. Despite its tough hide, the bull king could not withstand the pain from the deep gash on its head, a small stream of blood flowing forth. As Yichuan returned, anger filled the bull king's eyes, and it charged directly at him. With a cold smirk, Yichuan shifted from offense to defense, pushing off from the bull's nose and propelling himself toward the bull king. At that moment, Zhao Feiyu and Liang Hongying arrived riding the wind god pterosaur. Seizing the opportunity created by the bull king's roar, they hurled a missile directly into its mouth. The bull king's brows furrowed deeply, and it bit down hard. The missile detonated within, unleashing a burst of explosive force that made the bull king's body shudder violently. Blood erupted from its mouth, and the once mighty head of the bull was grievously injured, sinking toward the depths of the sea. "Is it dead?" Lu Yawai and the others gazed at the bull king, questioning its demise. "It shouldn't fall so easily. After all, it is an SSS-level marine creature," Lu Shuai replied solemnly. In the next instant, another furious roar erupted as the bull king launched itself skyward, gracefully flicking its tail. The tail, extending hundreds of meters, unexpectedly ensnared Liang Hongying and a wind god pterosaur, before violently crashing them into the surface of the sea. Should this attack land, even those clad in armor would find it unbearable. Damn it! Liang Hongying's brows knitted tightly. She unleashed her long knife, striking fiercely at the bull's tail. Yet the tail, akin to a steel whip, remained unscathed despite the terrifying flames entwined with her blade. Yichuan could not help but shout, descending upon Wang Kai. With both hands gripping his knife, he summoned all his strength to deliver a powerful strike at the base of the tail. In that moment, the tail, over 2 meters thick, was severed nearly in half, eliciting a pained scream from the bull king. Its tail weakened, releasing the wind god pterosaur and Liang Hongying. The pterosaur, just a few feet above the water's surface, flapped its wings once more, soaring into the sky and evading the battle. In that instant, the Bull King unleashed all its fury upon Yichuan. As he plummeted toward the ocean, the Bull King bore down with its entire body, intent on inflicting severe injury upon him. Meanwhile, a dolphin, having observed the battle from the shadows, rushed to Yichuan's aid like an arrow released from a bow. Grabbing hold of its tail fin, Yichuan was propelled forward at a speed of 100 nautical miles per hour, narrowly escaping the Bull King's assault just as it plunged into the sea. However, in that fleeting moment, the tremendous wave it stirred surged forth, propelling both the dolphin and the man several nautical miles away. With vigor, Wang Kai took the baton, lifting Yichuan into the sky. The dolphin, however, had already noticed the wound at the tail of the solitary reef bull. It was astute and had calculated that its 10-ton forceful collision could not pierce the thick skin of the solitary reef bull, yet an opportunity had arisen. The solitary reef bull was now in a frenzy, roaring incessantly, and soon targeted a distant sea turtle to vent its fury, charging violently toward it. The sea turtle was no pushover, having regained its strength. It was enraged by the bull's intent to unleash its anger upon it, and unleashed a tremendous gravitational force upon the solitary reef bull. The dolphin's speed surpassed that of the solitary reef bull by at least a factor of 2, and just as the two titans were about to collide, the fateful horn plunged fiercely into the bull's severed tail. Moo! The sensation was akin to a sharp needle piercing the backside, painfully thrusting in, causing the solitary reef bull to bellow in agony, its crashing force intensifying in that instant. With a resounding boom, the two titans collided, both exerting their full power, unleashing a colossal wave that soared hundreds of meters into the air, the resultant shockwave rippling across thousands of nautical miles. The dolphin bore the brunt of it, bewildered and sent hurtling away, nearly 100 nautical miles from the impact, feeling dizzy and in excruciating pain, left gravely injured. The sea turtle, too, began to retreat hastily. This clash ultimately concluded with the sea turtle sustaining injuries. Chapter 390, Slaying the Old Bull, the Giant Carp Escapes. Look! Lu Shuai suddenly exclaimed, pointing at the solitary reef bull. After its collision with the sea turtle, the bull's body began to languish, its once blood-red eyes now dull and lifeless. Could it be that the sea turtle dealt a fatal blow? Blueberry Jam inquired with delight. Unlikely, Lu Yue analyzed. Such a formidable creature could not easily be vanquished. Yet it appears on the verge of fainting. It can only remain unconscious for 10 seconds at most. Yichuan suddenly shouted. Immediately, the little flying dragon summoned the wind god pterodactyl. Liang Hongying and Zhao Feiyu approached the bull's head as it began to sink into the ocean, prying its jaws open. The little flying dragon arrived in haste, clutching a missile, and as the jaws were forced apart, the missile was thrust into its mouth. In that instant, the solitary reef bull's eyes began to clear, letting out a mighty moo that startled the two and sent them fleeing. Sensing the foreign object in its throat, the solitary reef bull constricted its throat, preparing to expel the missile. However, as it squeezed, the missile detonated within its throat. In that fleeting moment, the neck of the solitary reef bull was violently ruptured, leaving a gaping wound, causing its entire body to topple backward. Subsequently, it began to thrash about intensely. With its throat torn open and trachea obliterated, the pitiful solitary reef bull, despite having the audacity to encroach upon the realm of death, now commenced its agonizing wait for demise. The indescribable pain and the gradual ebbing of life proclaimed the impending obliteration of this SSS-grade creature. Meanwhile, the others had returned to Turtle Island, shaking their heads subtly as they observed the bull's relentless struggles. Lu Shuai readied his harpoon gun, stating that once the creature ceased its convulsions, he would haul it onto the island. Yichuan interjected, "This is an SSS-grade bull, delicious and highly nourishing. Indeed. Let us all join forces to secure it." Little Flying Dragon nodded vigorously, laughing heartily. Thus, the 6 of them, along with Saturday and his partner, hurriedly proceeded with the task at hand. At that moment, the system's voice echoed, "Congratulations, host, on your first successful kill of an SSS-grade marine creature. You have been rewarded with a lucky gift pack. Would you like to open it?" "Open it," Yichuan replied. "Successfully opened. Congratulations, host. You have received 400 kilograms of fertile black soil, 30 units of nutrient solution, 1 inner core of an SSS-grade marine creature, 2 experience gift packs, 2 resource gift packs, 2 time-limited super defenses, and 1 miraculous pill." This bounty was significantly greater than that obtained from slaying an SSS-grade marine creature, particularly the transformation of absolute defense into a time-limited form, which was exceptionally gratifying. Currently, he possessed 2 miraculous pills, and while the others busied themselves, he consumed both. 5 minutes later, the system announced once more, "Congratulations, host. Your hearing has increased by 100. Just as with the previous occasion, the consumption of 2 miraculous pills had doubled his abilities. His hearing had amplified to such a degree that even from hundreds of meters away, Yichuan could discern the jubilant voices of Zhao Feiyu and the others, reveling in the bounty of hundreds of tons of meat from the slain solitary reef bull. Indeed, enhanced hearing is quite a valuable ability. At least now I can ascertain if anyone speaks ill of me, he mused. However, an unsettling sensation of trepidation washed over him, prompting him to ascend into the skies aboard Wonkai. Soon, he spotted a red carp, over 300 meters in length, floating upon the ocean's surface, seemingly fixated on the recent skirmish. Could this be the SSS-grade marine creature that had emerged from the realm of death? Yichuan pondered aloud, inquiring of the system. Golden-eyed giant carp, SSS-grade mature pinnacle, gentle in nature but vengeful, skills, skyward tail, death scales, nightmare's kiss. The system promptly provided its response. Indeed, it was that SSS-grade creature, possessing 3 skills, 2 of which were entirely unfamiliar to him. Yichuan exclaimed in astonishment, only to witness the golden-eyed giant carp turn and vanish in the blink of an eye. Although it is said that he holds a grudge, his temperament is gentle. Perhaps he has seen his enemies vanquished, and thus has no intention of lingering in the Forbidden Sea, opting instead to return to the realm of life. Without further ado, Yichuan promptly made his way back to Turtle Island. At that moment, a group of individuals had already dragged most of the body of the solitary reef bull to the beach. Even the weapons wielded by Liang Hongying and the others had transformed into cleavers for dismembering the reef bull. Xiao Feilong remarked with a smirk, "Brother, this bull is far too large. We cannot haul it up entirely. Thus, we must first dismantle it before placing the pieces in the warehouse, converting it into a freezer to store alongside that octopus." He entrusted this task to them. Yichuan nodded, adding, "However, I believe we could prepare a beef stew for our lunch. With potatoes simmered in, it will be utterly delightful. Additionally, I shall set aside 100 pounds of meat for each of you 4 to take back to your families, so they can savor the delicacy." Really? Upon hearing this, Xiao Feilong and the others' expressions shifted. The last octopus had yet to be delivered, and now another 25 pounds of beef had arrived. Xiao Feilong excitedly embraced Yichuan before rushing off to cut the beef. The Zhan family is regarded as a first-rate clan throughout the 9 provinces. Li Mingtong, the matriarch of the Zhan family and Xiao Feilong's mother, rarely had the opportunity to video call her son, giving him a thorough once-over. Xiao Feilong directly traded the octopus and beef with Li Mingtong, who looked at him in bewilderment. "Son, we have plenty of these items here. Why are you suddenly sending me this?" "Mother, this is SSS-grade octopus and meat from the bull. Consuming it can not only cure ailments, but also prolong life." Xiao Feilong laughed heartily. "I fought hard for this, securing it from my elder brother. SSS-grade." Li Mingtong's expression changed dramatically. It is well known that SSS-grade creatures are beings that even a dozen warships would struggle to subdue. Yet here was Xiao Feilong, possessing 2 of them. Who exactly is this elder brother of his, capable of slaying 2 SSS-grade marine creatures in succession? "Mother, keep 5 pounds for yourself and give the rest to the family." Xiao Feilong chuckled. "We are currently in the Forbidden Sea, and there will surely be more to come. Do not be stingy. You ventured into the Forbidden Sea." Li Mingtong's expression shifted yet again. The Forbidden Sea is a realm only the seasoned island lords dare to enter. How could these novice island lords have ventured there, risking their lives? Chapter 391. Who leaked the information? Indeed, the Forbidden Sea is unlike anything I could have imagined. Xiao Feilong animatedly recounted. Here, A-grade creatures are as numerous as fish, and S-grade beings swim throughout. Occasionally, we encounter SS-grade creatures. This time, the SSS-grade creature was seeking vengeance from a foe in the realm of life, venting its wrath upon us, which forced us to slay it. We originally intended to circumvent it. "Son, you must exercise greater caution." Li Mingtong let out a sigh, expressing her concern. "You are my only son. You mustn't come to harm, or how will your mother survive?" "Do not worry, mother. With my elder brother by my side, even an SSS-class marine creature would stand no chance against us." Xiao Feilong replied with a hearty laugh. "Enough of this. I must go and prepare the beef." Without waiting for Li Mingtong to impart further advice, he dashed away. At noon on Saturday, Yichuan's wishes were fulfilled as a delectable beef stew was prepared. Its flavor surpassed even that of octopus, devoid of any fibrous texture, and it was so rich that even the blueberry jam refused to budge. After lunch, the group resumed their task of dismantling the solitary reef bull. Yichuan retrieved ice cubes and began converting the warehouse into a refrigeration room, continuously placing the beef inside until, by 8 in the evening, every last piece had been processed. By then, Saturday had also completed dinner. Perhaps due to the excessive meat consumption, the evening meal consisted entirely of vegetables, complemented by the leftover beef broth, creating a unique culinary experience. After a brief conversation, Yichuan retreated to his room and glanced at the messages in the public chat room. Breaking news. An SSS-class marine creature from the Life Forbidden Zone has inexplicably retreated. What does this mean? Has the battle concluded, and who emerged victorious? It is said that the bull provoked a terrifying island master, who annihilated it. Is that true? An SSS-class marine creature could be vanquished by an island master? Even the filmed island masters might not be capable of that. I only heard rumors. I do not know the specifics. The exchange left Yichuan furrowing his brow. As those individuals suggested, the facts aligned closely. Yet the origins of their information remained a mystery. It appeared that within 1,000 nautical miles, there was nothing to be seen, nor were there drones in the sky. Who, then, disseminated this information? Initially, he contemplated distributing the uneaten beef bones, but reconsidered to avoid attracting unwanted attention from the ancient beings of the Forbidden Sea. With these thoughts, Yichuan succumbed to slumber. Detection indicates the host has yet to check in. Would you like to check in? The system's voice soon filled Yichuan's ears. Check in, he declared as he rose from his bed. Check-in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 2,000 evolution points and an evolution point gift package. The system's voice followed. Another evolution point gift package. He had already amassed 177,500 evolution points, allowing him to upgrade 5 more levels. Contemplating, Yichuan departed from the villa, summoning the 3 little ones and the dolphin. He promptly allocated 40,000 evolution points to the sea turtle, thereafter examining its panel. Island Master. Yichuan type. Sea turtle level. 19,050,000. Skills. Water bomb. Advanced. Countercurrent. Advanced. Absolute gravity. 20,000 tons. Absolute claw. Beginner. Talents. Longevity. Rapid healing. Crawling. Floating. 200 centimeters for 20 minutes. The evolution points required for the next level had increased by an additional 10,000 points. However, the absolute gravity had also risen by 10,000 tons. The floating ability remained at 200 centimeters for 20 minutes. Though the changes were minimal, their significance was immense. Particularly, the augmentation of absolute gravity to 20,000 tons would undoubtedly enhance the sea turtle's prowess tremendously. What a delight. Subsequently, Yichuan allocated another 30,000 evolution points to the dolphin. Now approaching 10 meters in length, the dolphin began to grow steadily. Yichuan quickly accessed the dolphin's information panel. Name, dolphin level, 19 evolution points, 040,000 skills, sonic disruption, advanced, absolute impact, advanced, shared vision, 1 minute. Fateful horn, anesthesia duration, 10 seconds, talents, deep diving, 10,000 meters. Note, absolute impact entails the dolphin using its head to strike, with a mid-level impact equating to a force of 10 tons. Sonic disruption allows for an auditory attack on all entities within a 500-meter radius, thus disrupting their movements. What? Yichuan was taken aback. It seemed that aside from the level increase, nothing else had altered. Surely, this creature would not only gain levels with no other enhancements? He inquired of the system, is the dolphin at its limit? The dolphin's upgrade is complete. Congratulations to the host for advancing the contracted beast to level 19. Receiving an upgrade gift package. Would you like to open it? However, the system offered no further clarification, merely announcing the reward. Yichuan slightly pouted. Since the system withheld information, he resolved to wait until level 20 or 21 to investigate further. Not wishing to dwell on it any longer, Yichuan declared, open it. Opening upgrade gift package, please wait. Congratulations, host, for receiving 4,000 growth points, 20 liters of chilled pineapple beer, Super Defense 2, time limited, and 2 exclusive nutrient solutions for special tree species. Was it because he had acquired so much octopus and beef that meat rewards were no longer granted? Nonetheless, the growth points had surged from 2,000 to 4,000, which was indeed exhilarating. Contemplating, Yichuan produced 90,000 evolution points, distributing them among the 3 little companions. Subsequently, he opened their information panels. Name, Albatross level, 19, mature, evolution points, 40,000 skills, diving talents, capable of lifting objects weighing 3 tons, flame feather arrows, 19 arrows. Human launch, talents, diving, fishing, flying, long-distance navigation. Similar to dolphins, the albatross had not undergone much change. Albatross upgrade complete. Congratulations to the host. Your pet has leveled up to 19, and you have received an upgrade gift pack. Would you like to open it? Albatross upgrade complete. Congratulations to the host. Your pet has leveled up to 19, and you have received an upgrade gift pack. Would you like to open it? Yichuan then declared, open all. Congratulations to the host for acquiring 4,000 growth points, 333 wooden planks, 211 stones, and 2 island stabilization devices. Congratulations to the host for acquiring 4,000 growth points, 298 metal sheets, 173 glass, and 2 time-sensitive defenses. Congratulations to the host for acquiring 4,000 growth points, 312 stones, 179 metal sheets, and 1 lucky blind box. Yet another blind box. Yichuan promptly announced, open the blind box. Opening blind box. Congratulations to the host. You have acquired 1 super missile set. Chapter 392. The Secret of the 12th Tentacle Goodness. I thought it would be a double enhancement, yet it turned out to be a super missile set. Nevertheless, this is acceptable, at least if any island lord comes looking for trouble. A single super missile should suffice to conclude the confrontation. After breakfast, the sea turtle continued to sail at its utmost speed. Having leveled up, the sea turtle's speed had now reached 85 nautical miles per hour, allowing it to cover an additional 120 nautical miles in a day. If all went as expected, they would likely arrive several hours ahead of schedule. Time swiftly passed to the afternoon, where the group enjoyed pineapple beer while watching a movie. Suddenly, the dolphin's alarm sounded, prompting the group to rush towards the shore, where they discovered the dolphin accompanying the sea turtle, while a man over 3 meters tall lay on the beach. He appeared to be in his 50s and had been rescued by the dolphin. Dolphin, are you idle now, taking on the role of a rescuer? Yichuan gazed at the dolphin in astonishment before turning the man over. Liang Hongying immediately initiated chest compressions until the man expelled a significant amount of water, then abruptly coughed violently, leaping to a location and warily surveying the group, demanding, who are you, and what do you want? Good sir, we just saved your life. Is it necessary to regard us with such suspicion? The little dragon grumbled, noting that this was hardly the demeanor expected of a person saved from peril. You saved me? The burly man eyed the group with skepticism, as thoughts flooded his mind. He then sighed deeply and bowed profoundly to them, expressing his gratitude. Thank you for saving my life. I am immensely grateful. At the very least, you ought to introduce yourself, don't you think? The little dragon retorted with dissatisfaction. I am Zhou, a seasoned island lord who has roamed the Forbidden Sea for nearly 3 decades. The Han explained that I had collaborated with another veteran island lord to obtain the 12th tentacle of the enigmatic octopus. After a prolonged struggle with the creature, we discovered, to our dismay, that its 12th tentacle had vanished. In the midst of our combined naval forces, he seized the opportunity while I was injured, destroyed my flagship, commandeered my fleet, and cast me off my vessel. Contemplating these betrayals, Zhou's face was etched with fury. After nearly a decade of camaraderie, he dared to betray me at such a crucial moment. If given the chance, I would ensure he met a most gruesome end. What secrets lie within the 12th tentacle of the enigmatic octopus? At this juncture, Zhao Feiyu could not help but inquire. After all, a coalition of nations had nearly faced annihilation in pursuit of this very tentacle, and now this veteran island lord had the audacity to seek it out. Surely, this 12th tentacle must possess extraordinary significance. It serves as the key to the Dragon Palace of the Sea. Zhou responded without hesitation. The Dragon Palace of the Sea? At this revelation, everyone gazed at Zhou in disbelief. Blueberry Jam, astonished, asked, is there truly a dragon palace in the oceanic realm? Does it indeed house a dragon king? Within the Dragon Palace are many treasures, yet the most valuable of all pertains to the secret of ascendance. Zhou whispered. What is ascendance? Yichuan promptly inquired. Ascendance is the second realm of cultivation within the oceanic world, and explaining it to you would be futile, Zhou replied quietly. In any case, if one can enter the Dragon Palace and uncover the secret of ascendance, they may become an indomitable force within the Forbidden Sea. The group exchanged glances, each reflecting a shared astonishment. Even the mirror realm is known only to a select few, yet here he was, already contemplating ascendance. Could he truly be a master of the mirror realm? Yichuan could not help but ask softly, so, do you possess a map to the Dragon Palace? Naturally, otherwise. Why would we endeavor to seize the 12th tentacle of the enigmatic octopus? Zhou, appearing somewhat impatient, asserted, your island can even move. This is splendid. I hereby declare that I shall take control of this island, and you shall all serve as my subordinates until I defeat my former friend and reclaim all that is rightfully mine. This proclamation left everyone in a state of bewilderment. Liang Hongying regarded Zhou as though he were a fool, We saved your life, and now you intend to seize our island? Do you not feel any shame? Oh, dear sister, your ability to save me is a privilege for you. Follow me, and you shall enjoy a life of luxury, free from wandering. Zhozha laughed heartily. As for you three lovely ladies, you can become my wives and bear me robust sons. Would I ever treat you poorly? The crowd fell into a silence, rendered speechless. Yechwan chuckled and remarked, to repay kindness with enmity, it seems you are not a virtuous person either. In that case, let us cast you back into the sea. Zhozha coldly smirked, his figure flickering as he intended to strike first at Yechwan. However, Yechwan did not indulge him. He unleashed an absolute gravitational force. Nearly 20,000 tons of pressure colliding violently against Zhozha. Despite Zhozha being a master in his own right, he was momentarily disoriented and sent tumbling into the water. Zhozha's expression shifted dramatically. He had not anticipated that Yechwan was also a master. He had been careless. As he emerged from the water, sizing up Yechwan, he boldly declared, "You are a master, which is splendid. We can collaborate to reclaim all that is rightfully mine." At that point, silence. "You are nothing but an ungrateful wretch, destined to be treacherous and deceitful. This fate has already sealed your demise, so why utter further words?" Yechwan retorted, exasperated. "Come, defeat me, and this island shall be yours. Otherwise, you shall meet your end." Fuming, Zhozha's countenance darkened. Although he was a master, his combat prowess was evidently inferior to Yechwan's. The earlier collision had already inflicted internal injuries upon him. How could he possibly retaliate now? Glancing around, he contemplated fleeing. With a disdainful snort, Zhozha made a feint toward Yechwan, but just as Yechwan prepared to strike, he darted away toward the distant woods. Once within the forest, he believed he could leverage the terrain to his advantage, ensuring that everything here would remain his. However, despite the allure of his plan, he had scarcely entered the woods when a furious roar erupted from within, followed by a colossal ape charging forth, colliding forcefully with him. Chapter 393. Such a threat, as you must perish. By heavens! Zhozha's face paled at this sight. There was no time to react. Man and beast collided with a thunderous crash. Zhozha was sent hurtling away. Once capable of slaying SS-level creatures, he now found himself utterly despondent after Yechwan's earlier thrashing. Sitting helplessly on the ground, Zhozha was consumed by pain and despair. How could this be? I have roamed the Forbidden Sea as an island lord for over a decade, only to be bullied by an SS-level giant ape. It was intolerable. You think you can command us to bear your offspring? Blueberry Jam laughed heartily. Even my brother cannot best you. What a waste of such size. Liang Hongying glared at Zhozha, her expression grim. Brother, there's no need to waste words with him. Just kill him. Do not slay me. I can assist you in battle. I possess extensive survival experience in the Forbidden Sea. Zhozha trembled, shouting desperately. Killing you is the consensus of the masses. I have no choice. Yechwan shrugged, remarking, however, perhaps you could divulge the whereabouts of your companion, and I might consider sparing you. When I was cast down, he was heading south at a speed of approximately 50 nautical miles per hour, having now drifted at sea for a day and a night. Zhozha swiftly calculated and ultimately relayed a coordinate to Yechwan. Yechwan nodded slightly, producing the forbidden gun, but Zhozha's expression shifted dramatically. The forbidden gun? Yechwan now comprehended that this individual was indeed well informed. However, having such a person nearby posed an even greater danger, and he resolved to take action. Zhozha, however, shouted once more, "This gun is incomplete. It can only unleash half its potential. I know where the other half is. Spare my life, and I will lead you there." The notion of an incomplete long gun startled Yechwan, as he had not anticipated this. Yet, in the next moment, Yechwan swayed, thrusting the long gun directly into Zhozha's chest, instantly penetrating his body. Zhozha trembled, gazing at Yechwan in disbelief. I apologize, but while I find your information intriguing, I have little patience for threats," Yechwan replied, shrugging slightly before kicking him several meters away, resulting in his demise. Little Flying Dragon immediately approached and searched Zhozha's body, discovering a piece of exquisitely smooth milky white jade. Subsequently, he kicked Zhozha's corpse back into the Forbidden Sea. "Brother, look." Little Flying Dragon promptly presented the stone to Yechwan. "This fellow's super tablet is completely ruined. He shouldn't possess such a stone. It seems it does not belong to the category encompassed by the super tablet." The others gathered around, and Zhao Feiyu swiftly analyzed. "I'm just unclear about the purpose of this object. Look, it resembles a beetle," Blueberry Jam remarked, fixating on the item. There indeed appeared to be a semblance of a beetle, likely extracted from some location. Yechwan speculated, temporarily placing it into the system's item inventory. "Although we salvaged a treacherous wolf, we also acquired valuable information. After all, the Sea Dragon Palace could be considered a rare treasure. We are approximately 2,000 nautical miles from the coordinates Zhozha provided, and our speed exceeds theirs by about 35 nautical miles. We should be able to catch up to them in 2 days. Zhao Feiyu promptly assessed. I believe it would be prudent for us to eliminate that individual first. I concur. Liang Hongying immediately added. It would have been one thing if we were unaware, but now that we are informed, we must take a look. Opportunities like this do not come often. Very well. Since Liang Hongying agrees, Yechuan ceased to elaborate further and promptly instructed the sea turtle to swiftly advance towards the coordinates. That evening, under the exceptional culinary skills of Saturday, everyone enjoyed a delectable beef hot pot. It must be said that Saturday's homemade sesame sauce was truly exquisite. And the group indulged to the point of excess, still feeling unfulfilled late into the night, with blueberry jam, even unable to sleep from the indulgence. Yichuan glanced once more at the messages in the public chat room, where discussions persisted about 2 SSS-level marine creatures engaged in a duel, alongside the return of veteran island lords to the Forbidden Sea. Aside from that, there was little of significance to note. With that, Yichuan ceased his musings and retired for the night. At dawn the following day, awakened by the familiar sound of the system, Yichuan rose. Sign in. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 4,000 evolution points and a lucky blind box. The system's voice echoed once more. Another blind box. Yichuan exclaimed in delight. Open the blind box. Opening blind box. Congratulations, host. You have received a 1-day double amplification, pending use. Excellent. Yichuan snapped his fingers, eager to utilize it immediately. While others were either exercising or indulging in sleep, Yichuan approached the head of the sea turtle